Welcome to the Giant Overreaction Week 10 edition. I see the chat is already booming with a bunch of statements, man. The New York Giants took a loss to them Detroit Lions, 31-18, man. This was very frustrating. Let me keep it funky with y'all, man. I went and took a walk, and I recorded a video, like, in the fourth quarter of this game, and I was so frustrated in that video. I was like, bro, I cannot release this, man. So thank God I had a little bit of time to woo-saw, man, get my thoughts together, get my mind right and whatnot, man, and try to come to a decision on how I feel about this game, man. But very disheartening to see the Giants go out there, man, and pretty much get dominated in all three phases of the game, man. We know the 3 turnovers was a major deal for the New York Giants, man. 5 of 13 on third down, man. That's not a good vibe for us. And the Lions were 4-5 in the red zone. We already know that. That's a no-go. The New York Giants red zone defense has been fairly good this year, man. We're at the top of the league, top 3 entering this game. 8 penalties for 63 yards for the Giants. Jared Goff was only pressured 3 times, and I got to make a little joke with my homie, the Entertainer, one time. That's my brother, y'all already know. And he tweeted out 2 weeks ago, he said he had a feeling Kenny Golladay was going to have a game, and that was the game when Kenny Golladay dropped a couple of passes and whatnot. This week, he predicted that Kayvon Thibodeau was going to have a game, and I said, man, I hope this don't go like last week, man, with the Kenny Golladay prediction. And, man, as sure as shit stinks, it definitely did, man. His defensive line did not find a way to get any pressure on Jared Goff all day. He wasn't even sacked one time in this game, man. Jared Goff, 17 of 26 for 165 yards. His QBR was 65.4, man. And when you really ain't getting pressured like that, it's fairly easy for a good NFL quarterback. And that's what I would call Jared Goff that, man. He's a good NFL quarterback. Not great, but he's a good quarterback. And when you got time like that to throw the ball and the running game is clicking for you, man, it's going to make the job that much easier. I think I can't speak for the team, man, because I never speak upon effort or, if the team is falling into a trap game or underestimating another team. This is the NFL, and I'm sure y'all saw Saquon Barkley at the podium after the game. Every game is pretty much a must-win in the NFL, and you never know. That's why they have the saying, any given Sunday, because on any given Sunday, you can have the Colts come in and beat a team with a new coach who's never coached in the NFL. You can have the Colts go out here and compete with the Philadelphia Eagles after being undefeated. They had that one loss to Washington. Or you can have the Colts beat the Kansas City Chiefs, who are considered the best team in the NFL right now. So this is why they actually play the games, man. And before I go off into a bunch of details, in this game, I kind of wanted to just tap in with the chat, man, and, gauge. I wanted to gauge the temperature, man, and, just see how y'all feeling about this, and, highlight some of the stuff y'all are saying in the chat, man, because before I even went live, I saw a bunch of comments already in the chat, man, and a lot of stuff I'm seeing there I already agree with, for real, man. I mean, the New York Giants, it's a tough loss because that record, I feel like, is just a little bit deceptive, It makes us feel as if, we're a team that should be competing in every game. And then when you get a loss like this to a team that's, only has 3 victories on the season, you kind of feel like what went wrong there. But there was a lot of things that went wrong in this game. I'd say the Giants lost this one on, there's no blame to go to one person, really. You got to put the blame on the whole entire team, man. Wan'dale Robinson, we already know, man, he's out now with a knee injury for the entire year. He tore his ACL. But I thought he was probably the only player you could look at and go, man, this guy had a really good game. Darius Slayton had a pretty decent game too, but he had that drop too that was like, I want to say like an 8-yard comeback route that he dropped dead in the hands. So we can't call Darius Slayton, a perfect game, but he was trying. Darius Slayton and Wan'dale Robinson. The wide receiver corps, surprisingly, was my, the least beef I had with anybody on this team. But outside of that, man, we had a lot of problems on this team. Offensively, defensively, special teams, all of that, man. So I'm going to wheel this right back to the top of the chat, man. And just say what's up to a couple of folks, man, that I saw say some really good things here in the beginning, man. I see Stan, he beat Jameson in the building one time. Shout out to Stan. Shout out to Jameson one time in the building, man. I appreciate both of y'all pulling up, rocking with us on this Week 11 edition of the Giant Overreaction. The Giants fall to 7-3 on the season here. Michael Knight, man, pulled up one time and dropping bars right off the bat, man. He says, well, Awthentik, I hate to say it, but the season is over. Too many injuries, too hard of a schedule. Yeah, I mean, I got to agree with what Michael Knight is saying here about half of this. I don't know if the season is completely over because just like I was saying, you got to go out here and you got to play these games, man. I mean, we didn't even expect the New York Giants to be sitting at 7 wins. We had a lot of injuries early on in the year. You can't forget about that. And they found ways to battle and win games, with the whole next man up mantra. But I do agree with this second half of what you're saying here, 1,000%, man. Too many injuries. and too hard of a schedule. We've got 5 of our next 7 games coming up against the NFC East. We're going to get into this a little bit later in some of these giant overreactions, but we know the NFC East right now, the best division in football. That's why we named this show that, because the NFC East is that. I don't care what happened last year, the year before that. Y'all know what it is. But especially this year, man, the NFC East has been, a powerhouse division, and all 4 teams in the division have been playing extremely well. So this is going to be real tough. And I think that this week, the Washington Commanders really put the Giants fans on notice who aren't hip yet. I know a lot of us are, especially me, man. Y'all know I live down here in Washington, D.C., right on North Capitol, man. So I know the temperature was popping with the Washington Commanders. And, my brother from another, the Beard, who's in the chat right now, he's always giving me the details, man, and what's going on with the Commanders and whatnot. We know the Commanders are a team. Like, you cannot sleep on the Commanders. If you think people were sleeping on the Detroit Lions, man, people sleeping on the Commanders. I've seen it all up and down my Twitter timeline, all up and down the comments on some of these videos that the Giants are going to sweep the Commanders. This is early on in the season. But now when you see the way the Commanders went out there, they handled the Texans. And, yeah, you might look at the Texans and go, oh, that's a one-win team. That game really don't mean nothing. But look at how the Texans played the New York Giants, tight. Look at how the Texans played the Philadelphia Eagles, extremely tight. So you can gauge the way at least one matchup goes across the NFC East. And against the Texans, the Commanders, I think they put the rest of the NFC East on notice that they're not a bad team. Even when their quarterback is struggling and the running game's not going and offensively they're not putting out, the productivity that they would wish they could, their defense is keeping them in games, man. And they blew the socks off the Texans. That game was over by halftime. I looked up at that score. Washington had 20 points at the half, and I was just like, wow, this is crazy. And I'm looking at our team and I'm looking at our game and looking at the Giants struggling in a similar matchup, man, against a team that a lot of people in this league are overlooking in the Detroit Lions. So, Michael Knight, man, appreciate you pulling up, bro, first off. But what you're saying here is definitely facts, man. You got a lot of good points here just within this small statement here. So I definitely agree with you. Giants Mafia is definitely agreeing with you on this one, too. Shout out to Giants Mafia one time in the building. Injuries are killing our season, man. Yeah, they definitely are, man. And I think coaching has been a thing that has saved it throughout. And, I know that a lot of people are going to look, towards the one glaring mistake that I feel Brian Dable made on this season, which was putting Adoree Jackson back there on punt returns. And I talked about this on Thursday. I said, you putting Adoree Jackson back there, he's not a guy who's like a major playmaker. He's not known to be, a Deshaun Jackson or Odell Beckham. Those were the 2 players I compared that, you put these guys on offense, and when you move them to special teams, it's a risk that might be worth the reward, because a guy like Deshaun Jackson, he might take one to the house at any given moment. Guy like Odell Beckham, we already know what he can do once he gets the ball in his hands. You saw the Kansas City Chiefs trying out Kadarius Toney at punt returns because they know what kind of player he is. But look, he gets another hamstring injury, and he's out. He got knocked out for that game. Thank God I'm still going to be able to find a way to get the victory in this fantasy game against the Beard one time. I'm up by 0.2 points going into Monday night. He's got no more players. I've got George Kittle, so that should be a safe victory unless something crazy happens. But nonetheless, man, a guy like Adoree Jackson is not somebody that you want to have at punt return. He hasn't shown anything where he's a guy that you want to put out there making plays like that. And, man, when he got tackled, you could just see it right away. I mean, just grimacing in pain on the ground. He got crunched up. That's one of them hits where it's not just one guy on the tackle. There was like 2 or 3 people crunching him up as he was trying to get low and avoid, the big contact there. But unfortunately, he gets hurt. He's going to be out for 3 to 5 weeks. You had Fabian Moreau get hurt in this game. Safety Jason Pinnock, who was coming in, filling in, he got hurt in this game. We know about the Wan'Dale Robinson injury, out for the year now with a torn ACL. Tyree Phillips was out with a neck injury. John Feliciano was out with a knee and a neck, I believe that was, for him. You're already missing Azeez Ojulari, Xavier McKinney, Evan Neal. I mean, I don't know, man. This might be too many injuries. And this is why I understand why Michael Knight says, the season is over for us, because this is just like you're looking at some key injuries across the board to players that we expect to step up and be able to make plays for this defense and for this offense, but especially this defense. And this defense has been keeping us in a lot of games, man. But let me bring attention to this other one from Stan right here. Let me make this a little bit larger so I can see this a little better too here. Stan been DMing me, man. We've been talking pretty much since the game was over, man. And I feel a lot of the ways that Stan feels about this New York Giants team, just a little bit. It's so difficult, man. And I don't know how y'all are gauging this because I'm not in New York, okay? So I don't really get to talk to a lot of New York Giants fans outside of my market or within my market because I'm down here in D.C., man. So, most of the temperature that I get to gauge from the New York Giants fan base is either from YouTube, from you guys in the chat here, from the fam, or from Twitter. And when you go around on Twitter, man, it's like the opinions are so extreme. You know, you got negative, you got positive, and you got neutral. And I feel like the one position that is not represented properly on Twitter is people that are neutral and just critical of the team in a certain way. People are either extreme to the 1,000th degree about, oh man, we got the best players, blah, 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 our quarterbacks, franchise, all this. Or you got people that are completely extreme. Daniel Jones is garbage. Trade Saquon Barkley while you can. Kayvon Thibodeau's a bust. Xavier McKinney's an idiot for getting hurt on the four-wheeler in Cabo and whatnot. There's no balance within the fan base, which is, for me, it's extremely frustrating. And then to top it off with the disrespect that some of these younger people come with on these platforms is ridiculous. And me, man, I was raised by a mom who taught me, like, hey, if you want respect, you better give respect. And second, I'm not going to disrespect you if you don't disrespect me, but it just seems like there's no balance especially on Twitter. There's just no balance. And there's no respect for the people that have already seen this game pan out the way it has for so many years, man. You got people that have been watching football for 4 and 5 years trying to have the most boldest opinions out there. And then when somebody tries to refute that opinion, and then it becomes disrespectful. And I got a thick skin, but there are a lot of content creators out here, man, that are suffering from this. And I'm not saying that these people don't have thick skins, but we know that with Ron Effect, man, that's the homie. Ron Effect is a big reason why I came onto YouTube. He's one of the first people I was watching along with Entertainer. And, guys like Tim from Online Big Blue, who I was just in his stream the other day, and he told me, man, I'm not doing this channel no more. I'm done with this channel. And I asked him why, and he was just like, I'm just sick of the BS from this fan base. And I get it, man, but at the end of the day, it's like, for me, I came onto this platform to do one thing, and that one thing was to be able to share my thoughts about the New York Giants and be able to look back on that in some years. I always go back and I look at streams from 2 and 3 years ago and whatnot, and I look at especially the opening, the first season that we had, man. If you guys get a chance, go back and look at some of those episodes, man. For one, some of them are just like dead hilarious, and to just be able to assess how I felt at that time, because with an ever-changing opinion that we have on our sports teams from week to week, it's hard, or it's very easy to lose sight of like where you come from and where you were as far as your opinions. In 2019, man, after the preseason, I came into the year, I was just like, Daniel Jones is that guy, okay? A couple of, years later, I start to even out a little bit here, and I'm seeing the play. We're 4 years in now. I get to gauge this a little bit better, and I'm not as much of a homer as I once was for Daniel Jones, Now I'm a little bit more even keeled. But as far as what Stan is saying here, he says the Giants could lose 6 straight or 6 out of the next 7, to be honest. Giants must go 2-1 in the Washington games and versus Indy to have a playoff chance. I mean, this is facts. And if you watched any of the media coverage nationally this morning, a lot of them were talking about this. Dan Orlovsky was saying this. The Giants got to go 500 if they want to have a chance to get to the playoffs. Now, if you go back and you peel back just a couple of weeks, everybody was looking at those statistics about teams being, 5-1 or whatever our record was at the time, and our chances of getting into the playoffs. It was about an 85% chance. And I was even me, man, I was feeling myself feeling all swaggy about week 7, week 8 before the bye or whatever it was. And I was feeling great about it, And time passes, and now you get some reality checks here. And you get to really look at this with a key macro kind of an eye. I was looking at the grand scheme of things like, hey, they're saying 85% chance. ESPN rankings is telling us we pretty much is in the playoffs already. So that's how fans start to feel about it, without looking at what was happening across the league, especially in the NFC East. What Stan is saying right here, this is completely possible, man. We got big games against Philly. Big game on Thursday against Dallas, coming off a short week where we just got our asses kicked. 2 games against Washington within 3 weeks. If you ask me, that gives Washington the advantage, because if Washington comes out that first game on December 4th, I believe it is, and let's just say they lose that game, they get to go into their bye, game plan for the exact same team that they played a week before, while the New York Giants got to go out there and play another game and then come back to the drawing board and try to game plan against the Washington Commanders again. It's going to be extremely difficult, man. Some games down the stretch against the Philadelphia Eagles, we see what they can do. And I will say this. A lot of Giants fans been running with the statistic, right, about Daniel Jones and the game-winning drives and all that, right? And I want to ask y'all this, but I ask myself this as well. When it comes to those game-winning drives, right, what drive stands out? None of them look like that. Jalen Hurts only has 2 game-winning drives this season. They were down 13-3 in that game, man, and they literally got back in the game on the shoulders of their quarterback, 1,000%. I'm not taking anything away from Daniel Jones, but I'm just keeping it funky here, man. Like, we're not looking at no 2-minute Eli here. We're looking at a guy that's winning games, doing what he got to do, game managing, while the defense has been playing extremely well. Now, when all those things start to fall apart around him, then what happens? And I think that's what a lot of people are talking about today, man. And it's one of my biggest concerns now, you know. Michael Knight, one more time, he says, I agree. They could lose 6 straight. Yeah, I'm with you on this. And shout out to Jay Jean one time, last week's winner of the signed Jeremy Shockey card. That's on the way. I sent the address to the beard this morning, so that's going to be on the way. He says, all I'm going to say is that if the injuries keep piling up like this, the Giants going to have to start drafting dudes off the subway, for real. This is facts. And a lot of people, you know, I saw after the game, a lot of people were saying, you know, the medical staff, blaming it on the medical staff. A lot of people blaming it on the turf. Y'all just playing Madden way too much. Injuries happen in this league. Sometimes teams are fortunate to not deal with the big injuries. I looked at a statistic about the Minnesota Vikings coming into last week's game. They had only 1 injury to a starter all season long. That was the tight end, Irv Smith. He's the only one that got hurt all year long. But then you look at other teams. Look at the Tennessee Titans. They dealing with injuries too. Baltimore Ravens dealing with injuries. Washington Commanders dealing with injuries. You're going to have to deal with injuries in the NFL. It's a part of the game. The Giants, we've happened to just deal with more injuries as of late, but a lot of that also has to do with being, you know, outmatched. When you play a physical, tough game like you saw on Sunday in the cold like that, there's injuries that are bound to happen. And I'm not talking about the injuries like, you know, Wan'dale Robinson's knee injury, stepping off to the sideline, and then, you know, bam, you get reminded me of the Odell Beckham injury, to be honest, from the Super Bowl. It's like you just took kind of like a wrong step. Even though he was kind of getting tackled, he avoided it the proper way. As soon as I saw him on the ground grabbing his knee, I'm like, oh, this is a rap city for him, man. He's not coming back. That's an ACL. Whenever you see a player clench with both of their hands like that over the kneecap, you ought to know what's up, man. It's about a 75% chance they tore the ACL. The only time I've ever seen that happen and the player was not out for the year was Patrick Mahomes, and I believe it was on a Monday night game on a quarterback sneak where he came up, ended up being a dislocated kneecap, and he ended up coming back in he might have been back like the next week or 2 weeks or something. It was a very short period of time. But it's very, very rare that you see somebody clench their knee like that and they're not going to be out for an extended period of time. And Adoree Jackson, I mean, it was immediate. They told you 3 to 5 weeks during the game. So I know a lot of people looking at Brian Dable today off that. There's a lot of moving factors. I watched Talking Giants. They did their immediate recap after the game. I like to watch their stuff, especially right after the game, because I feel like Bobby and Justin both have a good gauge on what's going on with the New York Giants. And you know, Bobby was just making some really good points, man, about the injuries and stuff. And he talked about the Adoree Jackson situation. And he was like, man, I don't know one person that was saying Adoree Jackson at punt return is a good idea. Now, for me, a lot of people were already, you know, seeing this. They had the foresight to know, like, because of what happened with Jason Sehorn back in the day, they were like, yo, I think this guy's going to get hurt. There were a lot of people that were saying that. I was giving this coaching staff the benefit of the doubt. I never once thought that this was a good idea, but I was giving them the benefit of the doubt and just being like, hey, man, you know, it's easy to say that in hindsight after Jason Sehorn's career's ended, right? It is. And now after you see Adoree Jackson out for 3 to 5 weeks, it's clear as day. But he was not even a factor in the punt return. So it's a bonehead move by the coaching staff. They were Brian Dable was asked about it in the presser after the game, and he pretty much just said, hey, football, it's a tough game, you know, but it's not just that, man. You also got to make the right plays, the right position, put people in the right position to make the plays, man. That's really what it is. Like putting a guy like Adoree, who's been injured every year in his career. He's been injured he's been out for at least a week every year in his career. When you sign these guys that you know are injury prone, and I know that Brian Dable and Joe Shane did not sign Adoree Jackson or Kenny Galladay, but they did draft a Wan'dale Robinson. I think these are things you got to look at. You know, when you see that meme going around on the internet and like on Twitter and all that stuff, where you got the dog inside the X-ray on the bones, you kind of got to go looking for players like that. I hate to say it, you know, it's just really what it is. But blaming this on the coaching staff, I've seen a bunch of people trying to blame this on the coaching staff or the medical staff, and I'm just like, come on, man. All they can do is just try to prepare these people, get their bodies right to be able to go on the field. But that doesn't mean that people are not going to get hurt. I mean, things happen. That's just what it is. Shout out to Sean G one time in the building, man. I appreciate you pulling up. He said, not going to lie, Awthentik, the Giants are in a very tough spot right now. It's officially panic mode. I'm with you, man. And, you know, surprisingly, I slept pretty good last night. Usually when the Giants get a big loss like this, I'll be up all night just like looking for content and just looking for, you know, what was it? You know what I mean? And with this one, I slept pretty good because on Thursday, when we did the preview show, I picked the Giants to win the game, right? Because I'm just kind of, I was kind of just trying to like convince myself. I brought up a lot of key points, right? Where I was like, we got to be aware of these things, right? But then, and I've been telling the Beard I don't like doing this. The Beard's always like, well, you got on Sunday morning at least to make up your decision. You could change your mind. I haven't been doing it for the past couple of weeks, but on Sunday morning, I changed my mind. I said, yo, the Lions are going to win this game. There's no way the Giants are going to be able to compete with them, put up the amount of points they put up. And a lot of that position that I was standing on was from a lot of the conversations that I had on Twitter with people, right? Where I posted this stat on Twitter entering the game, and it got a lot of traction, a lot of people with a bunch of different opinions on it. I said the New York Giants haven't scored 30-plus points in 37 games. It's 38 now. Lions have scored 30-plus in 4 games this year, which is the most in the NFL. We have to go out here and win this game by any means. 5 of the Giants' final 7 games are against the NFC East. Now, I got a lot of pushback from a bunch of people, from content creators. Most of the people were giving me pushback, talking about, oh, the Giants can drag teams through the trenches. This defense, this offense can control the clock running the ball. This defense is going to be able to stop the run. I was worried about this, and when I talked about my keys to the victory, I talked about one of my main keys was you got to stop the run early. The Beard is my witness. I said it like 3 times on that episode. You got to stop the run early, because if you don't stop the run early, it's going to present that this defense is going to be unbalanced. And that's the last thing you want for a guy like Jared Goff, is to be able to just sit back there and when he's throwing it, things are open. Both quarterbacks had great opportunities in this game to throw the ball. With the Lions, it was just because the Giants weren't getting no pressure. But with the Giants, we had a lot of time to throw the ball because the Lions were pretty much stacking the box on every damn play, single high safety just about for the whole entire game. I haven't looked at 22-man film, but I looked at the game and the highlights over again. Almost on every down, you're looking at a 4-3 defense with 1 safety high, which would look like to me is a 4-3 defense, right? Now, that forces you to throw the ball. And that's why you saw Daniel Jones throw the ball. I think it was like 40-something times or whatever it was. I got the stat down there. We'll get to it. But that's why you saw us throwing the ball so much. And that's why you also saw Saquon Barkley struggling in this game. But I talked about that statistic about the 30-plus, right? On Thursday, I said the Giants are going to score over 30. I started looking into it in the next couple of days, and I was like, ain't no way in hell we scored 30. The Lions defense has been playing much better the last couple of games. And I know that Chicago Bears game looks a little bit sketchy. But when you look at the Green Bay game, man, they held the Green Bay Packers to 9 points, right? That, to me, that's, especially in a division game like that, that's a great accomplishment for the Detroit Lions, who had one of the worst defenses, coming into that game pretty much. And I told people, I brought up a bunch of points about this. And within that stat that I was saying about the 30-plus points for the Detroit Lions, 4 games, now 5 games, I was telling people, are you aware of who Amon-Ra St. Brown is, right? That was one thing I talked about. I talked about DeAndre Swift. People gave me pushback saying, oh, but on the road, this is what they were telling me. On the road, Jared Goff, man, he's so much better in a dome. When he's on the road, look at the road games, man. They brought up the game against the Patriots, and they brought up the game against the Cowboys, right? Against the Cowboys, the Detroit Lions scored 6 points. Against the Patriots, they scored 0. And they brought those up to lower the averages. I even saw people tweeting about this, saying, look at their average points on the road and look at their average points at home. Now, they only had one other road game besides those 2 road games against the Patriots and the Cowboys, right? And what my whole point was, in response to that, was, well, you're missing your 2 best players, St. Brown, and you're missing DeAndre Swift. Now, St. Brown was there for one of those games, but he was just coming back off the ankle injury. And we know for wide receivers, man, the ankle is pivotal. You need it. It's literally your Achilles heel, literally, right? Now, people gave me pushback. This one dude came into the thread and he told me that Amon-Ra St. Brown is not a top 32 wide receiver. And I really got in my feelings over that. I'm just like, are you only watching the New York Giants play on Sunday and just saying shit just because you got lips? Because Amon-Ra St. Brown has been doing damage since he came into this league in 2021. Now, I brought up a couple of these points. The internet is readily available for us. So, all you got to do is just go look it up. It's that simple. You can literally go digging through the damn computer to try to find out how players are playing. If you ever need a site to look up like how players are performing, go to Fantasy Pros, because I know it's a fantasy football driven website, but they give you all the game logs down to the details of every detail you possibly need for a player, news, how they feel about the player going into his game, all of that stuff. Amon-Ra St. Brown has the NFL record for most consecutive games with 8 receptions and a touchdown, okay? He just came into the league last year. Entering the game, he had 3 less receptions than Jalen Waddle for the most receptions of any wide receiver in that draft class. Let me remind you that Jamar Chase was in that draft class. Amon-Ra St. Brown got almost 20 more catches than Jamar Chase entering this game. 17 wide receivers were drafted above this kid. He made it a point to remember every one of those wide receivers. Dan Orlovsky, I think it was, is who was interviewing him like just a couple of days ago or something before the game, right? And he said when he asked him that about the 17 wide receivers, like, you could name them off, that Amon-Ra St. Brown like kind of mugged him. Like, what the hell you mean? Of course I can name them off. All these teams were sleeping on me. Amon-Ra, he finished the game, 7 receptions, 76 yards. So my thing is like this, man. It's okay to just say you don't know about something. There's no problem with that. Like, if I'm up here talking some college football with the beard, and, you know, we're talking about how this player performed in college. Let's say it's Jalen Hurts, and I don't know about it. I'm not going to sit up here and try and fake the funk and be like, man, Jalen Hurts is garbage, man. He sucks. You'd be a fool to do that. It's just not smart to do that. But for some reason on the internet, people love to do that. And I just don't understand it. And now a lot of people are saying, you know, oh, man, like, you know, that was a trap game. That was a trap game. That was a trap game. That was not a trap game, man. The Detroit Lions are coming off 2 major wins. A big win against the Chicago Bears where Justin Fields did everything he could possibly do to win that game. Put up over 150 rushing yards in that game. I don't know what the passing statistics were, but he was running all over the field trying to do everything. And they still end up losing that game. The Lions go on to take the victory on that one, 31-30. My whole thing is like, just like, be conscious of what you're putting out there, man. I try my best to do that. Like, I know in the past when I was younger, I made those same mistakes, and I learned from those mistakes. But I think people got to do the exact same thing and learn from those mistakes. Damn, Melvin Gordon just got waived by the Broncos. That boy, he been fumbling, so that's definitely rightfully so. He's on my fantasy squad too, but it's wild to me. So, but just back to this game a little bit, and you know, I'm going to try to scroll y'all comments as well and just keep my eye on some of this that y'all are saying in the chat as well. Sean G is just dropping bars. I see Sean G in here dropping bars. He says, year in and year out, we have those 2 or 3 games where it seems a guy is injured every play. And this was one of them. You could look back at 2017, the game with Odell Beckham, Sterling Shepard, Dwayne Harris, and Brandon Marshall all getting hurt in one game. I'll never forget it. Like, that game is embedded in my mind. We had that, you know, that same exact kind of, it's like it becomes contagious. Like, one guy gets hurt, the next guy gets hurt, the next guy gets hurt, the next guy gets hurt. You know, so I definitely agree with you on that, man. Let me just scroll. I got to catch up. The chat was definitely flying. Shout out to Texas boy. I see you in the building, man. Big win for your Dallas Cowboys. That was a very staple win for your Dallas Cowboys, man. Shout out to you. Let me see. Man, I gotta catch up big time, man. So I see all of y'all in the building. Lake Nona's in the building. Nick the Wicks in the building. Chris Peace in the building. Drunk Lawyers in the building, man. Fabian's in the building. J-Mo, Dominique. Yo, gang is in the building today. I'm glad y'all are here rocking with me, man, because this was definitely a very frustrating loss. We're going to dig deep into this game for sure, man. I'm just trying to catch up my StreamYard here one time. Shout out to Keith Wilson Jr. one time, too, man. Appreciate you donating to the channel, brother. That definitely means a lot, man. He says multiple injuries consistently every year at the worst time. Now the narrative is that we are terrible. We are never afforded the injury excuse. Yeah, I mean, that's just what it is, man. You know, the Tennessee Titans were the #1 seed last year, man, in the AFC, and they had just as many injuries as the New York Giants did last year. People aren't going to give excuses. That's just what it is, man. And, I mean, it sucks. It sucks. When you lose, Wan'Dale Robinson goes out there and puts up 100 yards. It's the first big game we've had from him, and then now he's out for the year. It's unfortunate, man, and I understand why fans feel like garbage about it. It's so disheartening that when you see these guys, you know, starting to catch a little bit of wind and starting to like put some plays on tape, they go out there and they get hurt. You know, and it's a young team. I think that has a lot to do with it too. There's not a lot of veteranship on this team. You know, not a lot of OGs out here, really guiding these young players and whatnot, and guys who know the game in and out, know how to protect their body and stuff like that. You got young players that sometimes the only way to learn is to go out there and get hurt. You know, so that's what it is, man. And I feel like shit about it today too, Keith. It's a bummer, man. It's a bummer. But in the NFL, that's why these guys are getting paid big money. If it was my high school team or something like that, I'd feel even worse about it. But these guys getting paid big money. They spend dollars to bring in talent that are depth pieces that should be able to come in here and step up. And, I think that's what the Giants are just going to have to do. There's nothing we can do about it. Whatever's out of our power right now, we kind of just got to deal with it, man, and just see what's up, and just go with the flow here. But I definitely appreciate you pulling up, rocking with us today, man, on this Monday afternoon, man. It's definitely going to be a lengthy show for sure. We definitely got a lot to talk about, man. Definitely appreciate that $4.99 super chat, man. That goes an extreme long way, man, for this channel. I definitely appreciate everybody who sends us super chats, whether it be $1 or if you on your Lucas vibes and you send it $200, whatever it is, man, that's amazing for us, man. We are blessed to be able to have a community like y'all supporting our channel, man. So shout out to Keith Wilson one time in the building. Let me just see right here real quick. Let me just catch up. Okay, so Giants Mafia's got a good point I want to bring up here as well. He says, all we need to do is win 2 more games. If we can't do that, we don't deserve a playoff spot. 100 next man up. Yeah, I agree with you on that. So right now the Giants sitting at 7-3. I mean, yeah, 9-8. 9-8 could possibly get us in there. It could possibly get us in there. You'd have to worry about teams like the Detroit Lions going on a run, the Packers going on a run. Washington Commanders are right there. Dallas Cowboys look like the way they played on Sunday, man, they look like they got us locked up right now. They got a spot locked up in the playoffs, straight up. I'm more confident about the Dallas Cowboys right now than I am the New York Giants. They're playing really good football. 2 games, 9, 2 games should give us a chance. I think 3 games will really get you in. 10-7 should really have us in a good position, man. But I do agree with a lot of what you're saying right there, Giants Mafia. Appreciate you pulling up, man. Rocking with us in the building one time. Shout out to Word, man. What's popping, fam? Hope all is well, man. Says he loves this show, man. I appreciate that, man. We put a lot of effort into this, man. And Word is a day one over here, man. Been rocking with us since we had 8 people in the stream back in the day, man. So definitely appreciate you rocking with us, man. Shout out to Word, man. Doing big things out here too. So let's go back into this breakdown a little bit because we got a lot to talk about, and I got 5 giant overreactions today that I want to talk about as well. See how y'all are feeling about those. But when I talked about these keys to victory, at the beginning of Thursday's show when we were doing the Giants Lions segment and whatnot, I said, 1, you got to control the clock. And the Lions beat us in time of possession, 31 minutes, 28 seconds to 28 minutes, 12 seconds. This broke a streak of 6 games that the New York Giants controlled the clock for at least 30 minutes. So that goes to show you a lot why we lost that game. That's been our whole thing. Run the rock, control the clock, keep quarterbacks on the sidelines. And in this game, it was unfortunate that we were unable to do that. I also said my number 2 key to victory was no turnovers. Giants had 3 turnovers. Detroit had 0. I said stop the run early, make golf predictable. The Detroit Lions ran for 160 yards on us, man, and it was easy. Most of that was done throughout the first 2.5 quarters of this game. I told people about DeAndre Swift, who didn't have a big game, but they have a second guy over there. Jamal Williams can definitely get things done. Jamal Williams and Swift, they combined for 4 touchdowns on the day, man. They had 26 rushes for 130 yards, total combined. First Lion to reach 12 rushing touchdowns since Barry Sanders. That go to show you what kind of damage Jamal Williams is doing on this season. And 4 rushing touchdowns is the most by a Giants opponent since 2014. So defensively, what did we talk about on Thursday? We talked about really the New York Giants. The biggest problem with the Giants is stopping the run. We saw it. It started around that Dallas Cowboys game where you really saw the Cowboys really gashed us, man. And it kind of continued throughout, man. A lot of rushing yards throughout, and also teams stopping the run, So it's like we know the whole old school mantra, you got to run the rock, you got to stop the run. And I think, with the Seattle Seahawks game, there was a lot of hints in that game for teams to look at. Okay, how you beat the New York Giants? If you can stop Saquon Barkley, you got a great shot at beating the New York Giants. And that's what teams are starting to look at. And they really capitalized on that. The Detroit Lions, man, using DeAndre Swift, Jamal Williams, and a third running back. I forget the homie's name. What's my homie's name? Justin Jackson. He also did a little bit of damage in the ground game as well, man. So, he had 9 for 66, man. They definitely torched us in the run, man. And I see the homie Steven Arce one time in the building. Shout out Steven Arce, man. Appreciate you pulling up one time. He says, Shepard and Wan'dale, we need to bubble wrap our players. 100. Wan'dale was already going out of bounds. Why did they have to push him? He tore it after getting his footing on the sideline. Yeah, I mean, it was like a freak tear, man. It was just, ain't no explanation for it, man. It was just crazy, man. And I know he was dealing with the hamstring injury as well coming into this game. and to then tear his ACL, you could just see him in pain on the ground. I wish Wan'dale Robinson a speedy recovery. This probably means he won't be here at the beginning of next season either. And then you got Sterling Shepard, who's, he's got the torn ACL as well. I don't know what the Giants are going to do with slot, man. It looks like it's probably going to be Richie James for the rest of the season. And, I am thinking about one of the overreactions we talked about a couple of weeks back, man, about not building around the quarterback. Like, we let the trade deadline pass, and we didn't make any moves. And I'm not saying, like, I have a real determining answer on this yet. I just think it's really interesting. Like, we're making a playoff run. You're sitting on, like, 6 wins, and you don't go out here and help the quarterback with some weapons when it's painfully obvious that we need wide receivers on this team. I just don't get it. I really just don't get it. I'm at a loss for words on it, but it's something that I've been thinking about lately. Like, what are they going to do next season? I've been seeing a lot of people saying, it's guaranteed Daniel Jones is going to be back, but a lot of things that the coaching staff is doing in game and, just in the front office. I don't know. I don't know if it I can't say it doesn't show that they have faith in him, but it's just got me questioning it, man. And these players are just getting hurt, man. So it's very interesting, Stephen R. I really don't know what to say about it. Players keep getting hurt. Got to have that next man up vibe. But if you keep having that next man up vibe, well, that's why you're going to have practice squad wide receivers out there catching passes from Daniel Jones, and it's very unfortunate. But let's recap some of these key moments in this game, man. This game in the first quarter, I was kind of feeling good about it. I was like, oh, man, we right here, man. And then when we scored that touchdown, I was kind of like, oh, yeah, this kind of looks like, regular old New York Giants football. We'll be here in the fourth quarter, and we'll come back, and we'll make things happen. But, I just wanted to go over, like, a brief synopsis of the game one time. And, the Giants started off 3-and-out in their first drive. I thought that was very interesting, man. We've been struggling on first drives of the year for sure. And the Lions marched down the field, and then the Giants held them to a field goal. And I'm like, this is perfect, man. That bend, don't break kind of vibe, man. You get in the red zone. That was the only red zone stop of the day for the New York Giants. I want to say that the Detroit Lions were 4-5 in the red zone. And the Lions go up 3-0. Daniel Jones answered. And I tweeted out, as soon as Daniel Jones answered with this drive, I said, man, that drive was all Daniel Jones. He looked fantastic on that second drive for the New York Giants, man. He was just moving up and down the field. Literally, the team was on his shoulders for that entire drive. And I was like, oh, man, the Detroit Lions might be in for a day. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe the Giants can get to 30 points. And then Graham Gano missed that extra point. It just seemed like things went extremely left after that. It's 6-3 at that point. And the next 2 drives for the Lions were 6 plays and a punt. And then the next one was a 3-and-out. And I'm like, man, defense doing their job. Now, this was the early window. Y'all know I always like to talk about the windows over here at Awthentik in the Beard, right? This was probably the one and only window of this game. The Giants get the ball now up 6-3 with 6:51 left in the first half. Second play of the drive, Daniel Jones drops back to pass, and he don't even see Aiden Hutchinson. He throws it right at his helmet pretty much. Hutchinson was looking like a wide receiver on that play too, man. Extended his whole body to make an incredible interception. But here's the thing. I see a lot of people, right? They want to deflect it off Daniel Jones and go, oh, man, it was an incredible play. I saw people comparing it to the T.J. Watt interception from, I believe that was 2020. I think that was the year Saquon tore his knee. This wasn't like that. T.J. Watt was like 2 yards away from Daniel Jones on that play. And he did make an incredible play. And I'm not saying this isn't a great play by Aiden Hutchinson, but this is on Daniel Jones, man. You threw the ball right at that man. Brian Dable in the presser said he just didn't see him. Okay, that's cool. But you got to understand that with every mistake that you make, it's going to be some consequences and repercussions, 1,000%. You give the Detroit Lions the ball in the red zone pretty much here, man. And then they go and they just score real quickly. They scored in 3 plays with a touchdown to Jamal Williams. That was his first of the day. They go up 10-6. Next drive for the New York Giants, 6 plays and a punt. Next Lions drive, Lions touchdown. And to me, this was one of their most impressive drives of the whole entire half. They go 7 plays, 68 yards in a minute 25. We can't say the defense was gashed at that point. We definitely can't say that. It's early in the, this is early in the game here in the, in the second quarter. Lions go up 17-6, and there's 55 seconds left before halftime. And this was another pivotal point for me too, where I looked at the coaching staff and I was kind of like, damn, y'all are really, really screwing this up over there on the sidelines. I don't think they called a bad game or they had a really bad game plan, but there were just a couple of mishaps in this game where I was just kind of like puzzled by it. Now, the goal here is to try to get Graham Gano as close as possible or get a touchdown within that 55 seconds. The wind was blowing. Didn't seem to bother their kicker that much, though. I thought that was pretty interesting. But Jones converts a 3rd and long to keep that drive going. I'm like, okay, here we go, man. The Giants about to get back in this game. And you got to understand what's at stake here. You're down 17-6, right? 2-score game here. Okay, you're down by 11. You can't go into the half down by 11 because the Detroit Lions are getting the ball at the half. And if you allow them to come out and score on that first drive, man, now you're looking at a 3-score game. Giants ain't coming back from no 3 scores. That's for damn sure. We're not built like that. But Jones converts that 3rd and long. He gets another throw to Wan'Dale Robinson. And now the clock is starting to run out. The clock is around 16 seconds. The Giants got no timeouts. They try to rush to the line, and they don't even try to spike the ball. They try to hurry up and run a play. By the time Daniel Jones gets the play off, you've now already burned hella time on an incompletion. Now you're stuck to do a Hail Mary. And then they got a delay a game penalty to back them up again. You're looking at like 3rd and 15. I think Daniel Jones was at his own like 40-yard line. He scrambled trying to throw the Hail Mary. He ends up getting sacked. I'm like, man, that is not how you want to end the half. So now you coming out. Halftime's over, and Detroit Lions are getting the ball. You hoping that they chopped it up at the half, man. They go to the drawing board, they make their adjustments, and they allow the Lions to just score right on us opening the second half, man. That's not the formula for success right there. And the Lions getting the ball at half was awful. The timing, the way things panned out with the way when Daniel threw the interception and then the Lions scoring, it just didn't pan out in our favor because we didn't have enough time to drive down the field and try to get some points, put up some points on the board. But even if you get it to like 17-9 at the half and you make it an 8-point game, you still got a chance in the second half, even if the Lions score, because you're still looking at a 2-score game. But because you get no points on the board, now the Lions come down, they score. It's 24-6. The game is pretty much done. I'm still like, I remember I was texting with Stan on Twitter. We was chopping it up, right? And he was like, this game's over. And I was like, yeah, it's pretty much over, man. But like, there's a lot of time left, man. And I'm not going to just, throw the chips in. There's a lot of time left. You never know what can happen. The Giants have pulled off some miraculous wins this year. But I didn't have much faith at that point, okay? And then this is the one that I see. The first one, okay, people were, trying to give Daniel Jones a pass on that one. I'm like, you are wild if you're trying to give him a pass on the first interception. The second interception, more people were trying to give him a pass on the second interception. And let me tell you what my beef is with the second interception, okay? You're in 4-down territory, okay? You cross midfield. You're in 4-down territory at this point. On 3rd and 5, we ran the rock. And a lot of people didn't like that decision. But it's 2-down territory there because you got to go. It's 3rd down. You can run the ball on 3rd down if you want to, if you know you're going to go for it on 4th down. And I actually love it when coaches have this kind of premeditated, couple of plays ready to go. But they run the ball to Saquon Barkley on 3rd down. He gets nothing. People are like, oh, the running game wasn't working all day. What do you just give up on it? Y'all know the beard definitely, he don't care what you down. You cannot give up on the running. Cannot. It's RTDB to the death. That's what it is. But then you get a 4th down, right? I forget. I think it might have been Darius Slayton on a little, it's kind of like a deep crossing route, like a post where you drag across the field a little bit more, right? He's open. Safety's behind him. It looks like he had man-to-man coverage. They were probably single high safety. I'm kind of just guessing just off how I remember the situation there. But the safety was like behind him, and he's cutting across the field going horizontal. Daniel Jones throws a ball that's just high. Listen, man, you can't be blaming 15-yard throws on the wind. I played quarterback. I don't care what the wind was. A 10-yard throw and a 15-yard throw, if you throw it with velocity, the wind is really not going to affect nothing about that throw. The wind will affect throws that go down the field. When you throwing it, you got to get a little bit of air underneath something. The ball get up high in the air, then the wind can maybe catch it and take on it. That's why the field goal, I'll give Graham Gano a bit of a pass with the field goals because you got to kick it up, trajectory and all that, right? But when you're throwing the ball 10 to 12 to 15 yards on a rope, especially with the kind of velocity the NFL quarterbacks throw with, the wind is not going to affect that, man. I hate to tell y'all that. Like, I know a lot of people was trying to cop for this second interception, saying the wind. And then the other excuse people were saying, and I'm going to call them excuses today. People were saying, You know, it's 4th down, so it's kind of like a punt. Do you realize that we're down 24-6? We're in Lions territory. It's the game at this point. If you throw an interception, I don't care if it's on 1st down or 4th down. If you throw an interception, that's it. That's game, set, match. There's no way you're going to come back from a 3-score lead after throwing an interception late in the 3rd quarter. It's just not going to happen. This is not a recipe for a winning meal for the New York Giants here, throwing the ball this much. But they were forced to do that because the Detroit Lions sold out and said, look, Saquon Barkley is not going to beat us. The one thing I will say, and I don't know if this is on Kafka. I don't know if this is on Kafka or if this is on Daniel Jones, but a lot of them read options early. Daniel Jones could have kept the ball. I also think they could have probably called a couple of more of those because they gave us the read option to the quarterback all damn day. And that's why Daniel Jones had that, 50 yards on the ground or whatever it was. And I hear people saying, oh, but Daniel Jones played, his best game of the year. What are y'all watching? That was not his best game of the year. Across the board, this was the worst game of the year for everybody outside of the wide receiver core. And the only reason why that wide receiver core was thriving was because you had 8 in the box for most of the game. Now, for me, when I see Daniel Jones throw that interception, that's when I was packing my shit up, putting on my jacket, took the camera outside, walked around for a little bit. I'm just like, man, this is so disheartening because it takes me back to a video clip that I shared a couple of weeks back that I want to show y'all again today. And this was Paul Schwartz asking Brian Daboll about what's going to happen literally the week of the Lions game. He asked him what's going to happen when you have to come back in a game and you have to throw the ball 35 to 40 times.
Here's a question I posed to Brian Daboll on Monday. If you can't run the ball, if there comes a time in the second half of the season where you have to throw it 35, 40 times to win the game, can you? Brian Daboll said, I don't know. He said, we practice for it. We practice every day for it, but I don't know. He didn't say we can do it. I'm confident in everything. He doesn't know. Look, Brian Daboll came to the Giants from Buffalo with a reputation of wanting to throw the ball. He's had some incredible games at calling the plays for Buffalo where they threw it almost all the time. And so he comes to the Giants. He sees what they have. Saquon Barkley's healthy. I think he looks at this offensive line as they're better run blockers than pass blockers. So this is a running team. Now, throwing the ball 17 times and winning is incredible. In the 4th quarter of this game against the Texans, the Giants did not attempt a pass. They had 14 plays, and they didn't. Not one of them was a pass. That is amazing. Can they do it? I don't think they can do it. And look, Seattle shut down Saquon Barkley, and the Giants struggled to score anything. So, that's the next frontier for this team. Can they do it? I think Daniel Jones can do it. I don't think the receivers and the offensive line can do it. We'll see. We'll see if the Giants can do it. It'll be very interesting.
All right, and these were Daniel Jones' numbers on the day. 345 yards, 27 of 44, 1 passing touchdown, 2 interceptions. The QBR lets you know all you need to know right there, 39.2. That's not good. And then he was sacked 2 times on the day. Now, I want to bring up a couple of comments from the family in the chat one time too, because I like the pushback. That's why we're here. We're here to disagree and agree on things and try to come to a conclusion. And maybe one or the other can convince the other. Now, I'm going to start with John Kim. Shout out to John Kim one time in the building. He says, what? Bro, I have to disagree. Wide receivers did not have a great day. They had a lot of drops. Slayton by himself had 2 drops. Cager had a drop, 2-point conversion. Wan'dale had a drop before his injury. Now, look, I didn't say the wide receivers had a great day. I said they had their best day, right? Big difference. Wan'dale Robinson, Darius Slayton, Cager. These are all people that we don't even expect to be making big plays. This was their best game of the year. The Giants had, let me see, you had one guy, you had Wan'dale Robinson go over 100. You had Darius Slayton go over 85 yards. Richie James had a touchdown, 3 receptions, 48 yards. Kenny Galladay even caught 2 passes in this game. Hodgins, he had the fumble. That was critical, but he had 3 receptions for 29 yards in this game. Cager had the 2 for 20. Now, the drops are going to happen with this team because these guys are not like bona fide wide receivers, but I just want to make that clear that, like, they had their best day. Wan'dale Robinson had his 9 for 100 yards on 13 targets. It's his best day. At the end of the day, they were forced to throw the ball. Couldn't run the rock. Imagine if we did have a little bit of balance with the running game, then this would have even looked even better. But for me, it's just, I'm just saying they had their best day. That's it. I don't want you to get it too misconstrued on that. And I saw another one from OG Knockout. Shout out to OG Knockout one time in the building. He says, I know it's not all Daniel Jones, but he's not that guy. I've been saying that. See, and me, I'm realistic enough, right? That when OG Knockout say something like this, I can be like, bro, I 100% respect that opinion, bro. Like, if you feel like Daniel Jones is not the guy, especially after a big loss like this, I'm like, that's cool. For me, I can't go one way or the other. You know, the evidence that's been presented to me about Daniel Jones, he's never shown me in his entire career that he can consistently throw the ball without turning it over. That's my biggest problem, right? But then he's also doing things late in games, converting on third downs. I mean, Daniel Jones on third and long has been fantastic this year, right? But there are things that are missing within his game. I love what he's also doing on the ground with his legs. You know, he can definitely run the ball. He runs that read option really well, play action real well, can boot and do things when he's rolling out of the pocket. He's such a good quarterback. Is he the guy that I'm going to pick if I had to pick 10 if I had my choice right now at 10 quarterbacks? He might be outside. I'll keep it funky with you. I'm probably picking 10 quarterbacks before I pick him. But I'm realistic enough to see an opinion like this where OG Knockout is set. OG's like, man, look, he ain't the guy. And I could be like, yo, I respect that opinion. I understand why you think like that. It's the evidence is there for us to think like that. There is no evidence there that says, man, he's 1,000% the guy. I see people's tunes changing on Twitter a lot this year. Oh, man, he's the guy. He's a franchise guy. He's a franchise guy. Like, what shows you that? The only difference between this Daniel Jones this year from the previous years is way less turnovers. He's taking care of the ball, and he's winning games. That's it. You factor in these interceptions from this game now. He had 1 touchdown. So what does that put him at? Nine touchdowns on the year, 4 interceptions. Man, if we end this season and Daniel Jones is sitting around like 14 touchdowns, man, again, there's a reason the Giants fans are going to have a problem. And you could say, hey, he's this the number one thing I'm hearing, and I've been saying it myself. He's doing what he's asked to do. Well, why are they asking him to do that? I'm sure it has a lot to do with the injuries on this team. This wide receiver core is banged up. But we have one of the best, if not the best running back in the NFL. Why can't we throw the ball? I see a lot of people saying, oh, these wide receivers don't get separation. Did y'all watch Sunday night game with the Kansas City Chiefs and the Chargers? Did you see how many times Patrick Mahomes' accuracy was the difference in why the big play happened? On all of the touchdowns to Travis Kelce, the windows are so tight, man. He's putting the ball in the perfect location. I forget I don't even know if he's a tight end or a wide receiver. I think he wears number 88. There was a fade route on the right side of the field where, my God, a pass cannot get more accurate. It cannot get more accurate. And that is the separation of the great quarterbacks and the good quarterbacks, or from the great and the good quarterbacks, and even those average and those below average quarterbacks. Man, we do see Daniel Jones time and time, a couple of times be able to throw a pass where you like, God damn, that accuracy was on point. And maybe the wind played a little bit of a factor with the accuracy and the weather. Man, I told y'all I played quarterback. When it got cold, that's just not fun, man. It's not fun throwing the football when it's cold. I don't care what nobody tell you. You take that snap, man, your hands is bricks. You got hand warmers. You got the hand warmer on your waist, all of that. It's not fun. I will much rather play a game in good weather. It's also not fun playing football when it's dead humid and hot outside either. I mean, I'm from Maryland, so I know what it's like when that humidity get to kicking, these early games in September, or when you're in August and you're doing scrimmages and, doing, what are they called? There's a term for football games in high school where you play, a quad, where you have 4 teams that just go against each other to practice to get ready for the year. Man, I can remember in some of these quad years, man, like where, it'd be so hot out there and so humid, like my hands is sweating when I get the snap. I can't even get the grip of the ball right. So you want that even weather. You want that nice fall weather, where it's just perfect outside. They call this cold weather football weather, but that's when they call it football weather, because that's when you find out who's the real deal out here. I know it's not easy to throw in the cold conditions, but at the same time, when it comes to accuracy, wind is not gonna really change that. But I gotta agree with when somebody like OG Knockout says this, man. You dropping facts, bro. That's just what it is. Like, more people can come to terms with people who have an opinion like about Daniel Jones like that. That's what it is for me. 1,000%. Oh, James Earl Mones brought up a good one right here, too. Shout out James Earl Mones in the building, man. Appreciate you pulling up my guy. He said, Lemieux is not that guy, and there is no guarantee that Jones will be back. Gotta agree with you on that. You can't, man, we can't guarantee tomorrow. We can't guarantee nothing out here, man. We can't guarantee nothing. And Lemieux had a horrible day. He was benched at the half, man. This coaching staff seems like they about that no-nonsense type of stuff, bro. Like, if you out here and you're not playing well, at halftime, you getting benched. We've seen it 2 weeks in a row here now, 2 players getting benched. 3 players got benched. I want to say McFadden got benched in this game, too. I saw Tate Crowder out there doing some things in one of them halves. So, you know, this coaching staff definitely not playing no games. I definitely agree with you on this. Shane Lemieux just getting back off IR. I'll give him a little bit of a pass, just a little bit of a pass. And, yeah, there's no guarantee that Jones is going to be back for sure. And Michael Knight, another good one for Michael Knight here. He says, I believe Jones can carry this team, but his offensive line I don't believe is good enough. Yeah, and those are the things I think, like, when you talk about the quarterback position, if you put them in a offensive scheme where the offensive line is just fantastic, most quarterbacks can thrive. They can thrive in that situation. It's when things got to go off script. And I will say this, when Daniel Jones on the last play before the first half, when he scrambled and he was trying to get that Hail Mary bomb out, I tweeted out, I was like, he looked comfortable because he was dancing back there, man. He was doing some things. He ended up getting sacked and getting tackled, but I saw a comfortable quarterback doing some things, and Daniel Jones is improving. I don't want people to get it twisted. He's playing better. He's definitely playing better. And I think it's easy to, try to, pretty much like rag on Daniel Jones after a performance like this because it was a bad game. But you're lying to yourself if you say Daniel Jones, he played a great game yesterday. It's just the interceptions. It wasn't that, man. There was a lot to it. There was a lot of inaccuracies. It was a lot of managing the game that we've been accustomed to seeing Daniel Jones do so well that wasn't happening in this game, and maybe some of that is on the game plan. I'm sure some of it is. But at the end of the day, he didn't have a good game. I can't sit back and say, man, people woke up today and said, This team has to help Daniel Jones. He accounted for over 400 yards. And all. Bro, this is why some people say stats don't matter. And I'll never say that. You ain't never going to hear me. I love stats. I love me some statistics. But that's why people say it. Daniel Jones can go out there and win a game where he throws for 71 yards, but he can throw for 345 and lose the game. That's when stats don't matter because you saw it. 8-man in the box all day, 1 safety high. They're daring you to throw the ball. It's why when you saw him throwing the ball, a lot of the time when we did get receptions, wide receivers running wide open. Wide open. So I got to go with that. Let me see. OG Knockout going crazy in the chat. I see you, fam. I see you. Let me see. And Stan's in here dropping some gems as well, too. He says, my pushback to you guys is, why does Daniel Jones get absolved when we lose, then get all the praise when we win? It's a team win when we win and a team loss when we lose. That's my disconnect with fans. One simple answer for this for you, Stan. That's what is about the quarterback position, bro. It's the quarterback position. It does that. Something about it is it's a polarizing position where people want to, the hero is always the quarterback. It's actually why I think Pete Carroll in the Super Bowl went to the pass to try to give the praise to Russell Wilson. You could have handed that ball off. The Seattle Seahawks were completely out of that game until Marshawn Lynch started throwing people off him and ripping defenders off him like T-shirts and got them in position to score, and then you get down there and you don't give them the ball. It's really ridiculous. I can't believe that a coach of that, high status, a guy who knows the game so well, fell for that BS and actually cost his team a Super Bowl because of that. But that's really what it is, Stan. It's just, the quarterback position, man, you know what it is. If you ask people around the league, hey, name a lineman from every team, there's no way in hell they're going to be able to do it, even though we know the trenches are one of the most important things of why teams win games. They're going to go to the quarterback, man. All the flashy stuff happens from the quarterback. Every receiving touchdown comes from the quarterback, and you get the passing. They're involved in every play. Pitcher, same thing in baseball. Point guard happens in basketball a lot. Not so much as it used to back in my day, back in the 90s, but point guards used to get a lot of praise back in the day. But the quarterback, man, is a polarizing position. And it's also why I don't dismiss the win-loss record as a quarterback stat. I always tell people, how are we going to do this? How are we going to remove wins and losses as a quarterback stat, but then you want to give the fourth quarter comebacks to the quarterback? Don't make no sense. It really makes no sense. No Mets, no Nets, no Jets. This is my day one in the building, man. Salute to you, fam. He says, call me crazy, but I think DJ has a pretty good clutch gene. for me, it hasn't been on display enough. I'd like to see him be put in more situations and circumstances. Clutch gene is not always at the end of the game. That's what I think a lot of people get a little bit misunderstood as well, too. Like, third quarter, you're going to have windows to be able to put a team away. And I think Daniel Jones, sometimes you see him get flustered. And not this year as much, though. This year, he's been doing a good job. And I think the coaches have been keeping him out of harm's way. But I want to see a bigger sample size, man. I think these last division games here, these last 5 division games, they're going to be extremely important. He seems to be on the up and up as far as the clutch gene goes. Last year, I was like, damn, this dude don't got a clutch gene in his body. But you know what else clutch you have to factor in when you're talking about a clutch gene? Primetime games. You think Kirk Cousins got a clutch gene? I know you would say no. Daniel Jones, Kirk Cousins, they're horrible in primetime games. Daniel Jones still don't got to win in primetime games. So for me, I can't go as far as to say, I like how you said pretty good. I think that's a good way to assess it, where I can't argue with it too much. When you say pretty good, I got to, give you a pass on that, no Mets. But I want to see a little bit more. I definitely want to see a little bit more from Daniel Jones. Just be put in those spots just a little bit more. Nick DeWick said, can I pull up his long message? And I definitely appreciate the super chat, fam. You ain't had to do that for me to pull it up. But you know how it is over here. When I ain't got the beard helping me out with production, it's chaotic, man. It's going crazy. Let me scroll back and see if I can't find Nick DeWick. So I think it's this one right here. Let me know if I'm wrong, Nick DeWick. Those are the type of stats some people want from Daniel Jones, minus the interceptions. We were sitting 7-2, and people were clowning on his stats, but we were winning. Play to your player strengths. That's 1,000%, man. And I think that a lot of people are learning that with this team. Most of the time, right, when you see a team dominate in games, the stats look good to match it. But at the same time, we don't see a lot of teams in this league where you have to cater to the personnel in such an acute way, With the New York Giants, it's pivotal. It's pivotal to do that because the personnel is not there. Offensive line, still struggling. We got to get you out there, Nick DeWick, straight up, because that offensive line is still struggling. We still struggling to stop the run. There's just weaknesses on this team, and then when you got guys going out left and right as far as injuries go, when Fabian Moreau went out, when Dory Jackson went out, they were able to run the ball on the edges on us so easy. Excuse me, so easy. And yeah, you're right about that. You got to play to your personnel strength. I think that's very important. But what do you do when those options are so limited? Because look, they completely nullified Saquon Barkley in this game. And I don't like calling people out, but I saw your man Kyle Pizzle. I saw his video this morning. Shout out to Pizzle. He pretty much blamed the loss on Saquon Barkley and questioned re-signing Saquon Barkley after this game. And I thought that was just so like a move that just deflected off Daniel Jones to me. And it's no beef or nothing like that. But everybody got their own opinions, right? But I definitely wanted to bring that one up because it's like, what do you do when a team is literally focusing in on you? I talked about the pattern about Saquon Barkley, right? And I could do this off the top for real, but I'm gonna pull them up just to be safe and be accurate about the statistics I talked about with Saquon. But every time Saquon has had a big 100-yard game, it's followed by his worst game of the year. I talked about that on Thursday, right? And it goes over 100 yards, 2 games under 100 yards. The game that comes after the 100 yards is always his worst game of the year. And I'm going to break that down for y'all here real quickly. This is going to be a long show. We might go 3 hours or something crazy. Y'all could go get lunch, come back, all that good stuff. We definitely going to be talking about this game for a little bit here. But he started off the year with his best game of the year, 164 yards on the ground against the Tennessee Titans. He came back 72 yards, 81 yards. That was against the Panthers and against the Cowboys. He got it back together. The game plan relied more on the run. We came back against the Bears. Saquon Barkley broke his highest amount of rushes on the season with 31. He had 146 yards in that game. Against the Packers, came back down to earth. And the Packers game was one of the best games from Daniel Jones for me because Saquon Barkley was not only having one of his worst games, he was banged up in that game. And on the key pivotal drive of that game, when Daniel Jones drove us down there, Saquon wasn't even in the game. But Saquon then rushed for 70 yards against the Packers. That was the worst game of the year at 70 yards. 83 against the Ravens. So that's another back-to-back games, no 100 yards. They come back against the Jaguars. They make an emphasis to give him the ball more. He had 13 carries against the Packers, 22 carries against the Ravens. Against the Jaguars, they upped it. 24 for 110. He was averaging 4.6 yards per carry. The thing about the Packers game is we were forced to pass because we got down so early in that game. Saquon was averaging 5.4 yards per carry, so a lot of that one was on the coaching staff. Now, the Jaguars won 10 on 24, followed by his worst game of the year again, Seahawks, 53 yards on 20 carries. Then we had the bye. Don't forget the bye, so that's 2 weeks in between that as well. We go against the Texans, most carries of the season, 35 carries for 152 yards. Now you go up against the Lions, 15 carries for 22 yards. I would expect another down game from Saquon Barkley against the Dallas Cowboys. Short week, not going to get much rest, right? They're probably not going to be able to ramp up the carries because the Cowboys are a high-powered offense. We're going to have to try to keep up with them. I'm looking probably at another down game. And then I think it's going to be the Washington Commanders after that, which expect Saquon Barkley to have a big game against the Commanders. But that pattern has been going on. I agree with you, Nick DeWick. You got to play to your strengths, right? But when they take the biggest strength away, where do we go to after that? You got to rely on Daniel Jones throwing the ball. And unfortunately, having Daniel Jones throw the ball 35, 40 times, that's not a recipe for this team to win. And I think a lot of that does have to do with the wide receiver core, because if you had a number one wide receiver out there who was really, really, really doing damage, safeties would not, or defenses would not be able to play one high safety on us. You'd have to have that other safety over the top to protect for that big play. But we really don't have that threat. And I did see at least like 1 or 2 times where it looked like Kenny Galladay had a one-on-one matchup. Just didn't throw him the ball. Daniel Jones has had a problem with that, and I don't even know if it's a problem, but he just doesn't like to, throw up the 50-50 ball. And maybe that's coming from the coaches, too. Like, hey, we need you to not turn this ball over. You can't just be throwing up 50-50 balls to Kenny Galladay. And maybe that's what it is. And I see that John Kim responded. I definitely want to get that up here because we definitely highlighted his first comment. He said, I get it, Awthentik. Wide receivers had their best game, but even if they aren't big-name wide receivers, they're paid to catch the ball. They're in the NFL, not the XFL. Just saying, DJ put it in their hands, and they were dropping it. Yeah, I mean, drops happen, man, in the league. The best of the best wide receivers. You know, Jamar Chase and Keenan Allen led the league in drops last year, right? The problem is when you're not supplementing the drops with big plays, fans are going to key in on that. And this wide receiver core, I mean, that's the difference between those kind of guys, you know? That's just it. And I did see the one big drop from Slayton. I don't remember the second. I think I know what they're saying is the second drop. That like, it was kind of like on his back shoulder down the field a little bit. It was kind of like, I thought there was a penalty on that play too, though. I don't think that one might not have counted, but I could be wrong. You know, I haven't really dug into all the statistics yet and dug into the tape yet and whatnot. I usually do that for tomorrow's show. You know, we do a deep dive into all the NFC East games. But, yeah, I mean, I think we're in agreement on that, John Kim. Like, yeah, they're paid, man. They got to make the plays. You want to see them make the catches. I also think that you have to account for, mistakes happening on the field. Every play is not going to, turn out the way it's supposed to. And look at some of the drops. The one Darius Slayton drop that I for surely know happened, it was on like a 6-yard route. You know, and the ball did hit him right in the hands. A little hot and a little high. But you got to catch those. It was about right here. You got to catch that. That's a good throw. You got to catch that. So I definitely agree with you on that. Shout out to Eric Cherry one time in the building. Let me tell you what's crazy about Eric Cherry. This looked like somebody that's related to me because I got a bunch of cousins with the last name Cherry, man. My cousins Jimmy and my cousin Greg and Wes, man. So that it kind of struck me a certain way when I first saw the name up there. But he says, I agree that Jones may not be the guy, but who can you upgrade the position with? Upgrade the wide receiver, linebacker, O-line position and keep him around a year or two more. I wouldn't be mad at that. You know, it's just how you do it. How you going to sign him? Like, what kind of deal you going to give him? I even saw somebody was saying go out there and get Mitchell Trubisky, and I think that's absolutely foolish. But Daniel Jones is doing enough to win games, so why ruin that? Why take his legs out from underneath of him? Unless you really have a guy you think you can mold and really bring in. I totally agree with you on this one. I think that would probably be smart. But what kind of deal? I don't think Daniel Jones is going to take a Jameis Winston-like deal, or a Mitchell Trubisky-like deal. But who knows? I mean, his numbers don't say he deserves a bigger contract than that. A lot of people talking $100 million 3 years. I don't know, man. I don't like to count people's pockets when it comes to salaries and whatnot. I'm going to just let the guys who get paid to do that, go out there and do that. But I think Daniel Jones is playing good enough football to be a starter in this league for sure, and he could be the starting quarterback for the Giants, and I wouldn't be too upset. But I also don't think that means don't draft a quarterback. There's a lot of guys out here, coming out of college. Shout out to Stan. Put me on to Anthony Richardson like about year ago, maybe now at this point, and he's playing some excellent football. He looks like to be the Josh Allen type of prospect, but you could go either way. I mean, you could bring in a rookie and start him, and history does say that, bringing in the rookie as of late bringing in the rookie and playing him right away is probably the move. You want to capitalize on the rookie contract. I really wish that we could have saw a little bit more out of Tyrod Taylor before he got hurt, because I think it would have gave us a good gauge on what Daniel Jones is capable of. Because right now we only have Mike Glennon and Jake Fromm to really compare what another quarterback looks like in the Giants system. So for me, it's kind of hard to really come to a conclusion on the quarterback. It's very difficult, to keep it real with you. And Mike K's in the building. Shout out to Mike K one time, man. Mike K says, better question is, if he's losing games for us, he's not, except maybe the 2 interceptions yesterday. I don't care if he's our franchise quarterback or not, to be honest. Jones throws 2 interceptions and wins. No one talks about replacing him. I agree with everything you said there, except the last statement. If he throws for 2 interceptions, well, I mean, it depends on how many touchdowns too, but let's just say he has this stat line he just had in this past game, the one that we're seeing on the screen, and we win the game. People going, yeah, you got people out there that's definitely going to be critical of that for sure. They're going to be like, could you imagine if, look at what's happening with Taylor Heineke right now with Washington. They're winning games, and all people are doing is highlighting the stats like, bro, this dude is not even throwing a touchdown in every game. This guy has an interception in every game. I don't know if he threw an interception this past week, but leading up to that, the first 4 games he was in, he had an interception in every game. And Washington fans can't stop talking about it. So people going to talk, man. That's what people do, man. People just going to talk about it. But I just, I just think that, like, the coaches, one, they do got to put them in a better position to win. But that also that's relying upon the personnel, 1,000%, man. It's just like, if you don't got the guys to throw the ball to, and you don't got the guys that can block up front to give Daniel Jones the time, which I can't blame shit on the offensive line too much no more, because I do think Daniel Jones is doing a really, really good job of, like, manipulating the pocket now. He looks a lot better. He's not that same quarterback that was just out there, blind side getting smacked and fumbling the ball. He's not that same guy. And he's learning now. He's becoming a better quarterback in the pocket. He's a little bit more decisive, and he's making Brian Dable and Mike Kafka are making the reads a little bit easier for him. If it's not there, get rid of the ball. There was one throw, man, where he, like, scrambled out the pocket, and he was buying time. Man, this man was buying so much time. Literally he's backpedaling towards that sideline, buying as much time as he can, and finally flung it out of bounds, man. And, like, those are things you just didn't see from Daniel Jones, in the rookie year and in the sophomore year. He'd do stuff like that and then throw an interception like he did in Pittsburgh, trying to throw it out the back of the end zone and whatnot. But I think Daniel Jones is improving. He's playing good football, man. It's just he's definitely coming off a bad game here. And a lot of people, I think, were waiting on a game where he threw a couple interceptions here. Maybe this is good for him, to be honest. Maybe this is good. Just get that, like, that whole monkey off your back as far as, like, I can't throw an interception type thing, man. Nah, like, go out here, man, play loose, keep doing you, man. Try to win the Giants games. You never know, man. We've beat some teams this year in a very unexpected way. The Ravens come to mind. The Packers come to mind. The Titans come to mind. I think he can go out there and surprise some teams. I think we can match up with the Philadelphia Eagles. You saw the Washington Commanders go out there and handle business against the Eagles. So who's to say the Giants can't do the same, especially with Daniel Jones when he's playing, at his top-notch type of football that we know he's capable of playing. I still have questions as far as the franchise quarterback thing goes, but I agree with Mike K. With what Mike K was saying. Like, I don't care if he's franchise quarterback or not. I'm worried about this year. That's why I'm not looking to the future, like, all year long, like, oh, I can't wait till this is over, man. Get Daniel Jones up out of here. No, I'm not looking at it like that. I'm looking at it like, man, the Giants were 7-2 entering this game. Daniel Jones is playing some pretty good football, and let's keep this momentum going. My whole goal as a fan is to watch the team win games, man. I'm not trying to watch the team lose games, but this is one that I really knew in my gut. I texted my shorty, man, like a couple hours, maybe like an hour before kickoff, and I was telling her about it. I was like, I just got a feeling. I don't know. Like, I don't think we're going to win this game, man. Like, that Detroit Lions offense is a little bit too high-powered for us right now, and we've had trouble stopping the run, and they've been eating off the run lately. So I thought it was going to be a problem for sure. Shout out to John Kim one time in the building, man. John Kim, yo. Salute to John Kim, man. Always supporting the channel, man, when he pulls up, when he can make it to streams. I definitely appreciate that, fam. He says, the people who are pure DJ haters, who in the free agent market is better? We won't be picking top 10, so no CJ Stroud, which that does make me feel a certain kind of way. Stroud he's a beast of a quarterback right now. No Bryce Young. When did DJ ever have a wide receiver 1? He hasn't had a wide receiver 1. Not a true wide receiver 1. I think you could have said that Golden Tate was like a knocking on the door of a wide receiver one at the time. He was coming off 1,000 yards with 2 teams in that one season. Golden Tate kind of gives me like Brandon Cooks vibes, a little bit worse than Brandon Cook was in that year. But really hasn't had a number one wide receiver. And we know, I've always complained about that too, man. It's very hard to thrive in this league without a number one wide receiver. I think Lamar Jackson did a really good job of it a couple years ago. Deshaun Watson did it, with the Houston Texans. Cooks was banged up a lot. Fuller was suspended for some games there. And Deshaun Watson did figure out a way to make it happen. And that's really about it. There ain't too many other quarterbacks that can thrive in this league without a wide receiver one. As far as the free agent market, who is better? I'd have to really look at who's going to be a free agent next year. Just some names that come to mind that could probably play the position kind of like Daniel Jones does. If Tyrod Taylor could stay healthy, I think he could do some of the similar things. I think Daniel Jones has a better arm, though, from seeing what I saw this year. Teddy Bridgewater's a guy that comes to mind. I don't know where Ryan Tannehill sits as far as his contract. I think he's got another year on his contract. But Ryan Tannehill's like the better version of Daniel Jones to me, and tougher, a bit tougher. And when I say tougher, I don't mean like not scared or nothing like that. I just mean like he could take the hits a little bit better than Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones got that more lanky frame. Every time he gets a little bit folded up, I'm always worried about him. Yeah, man, I mean, there's probably not many free agent quarterbacks out there, to be honest, man. And, if you're a good quarterback, you're probably not a free agent. So let's just keep it funky on that. But definitely appreciate you, John Kim, pulling up, man, and supporting the channel one time. Let me just scroll back here. There's so many good comments. Like, it's going to be hard for me to even get to the overreactions. I should have just did like a show where we did a Q&A and then maybe did a giant overreaction possibly, because we already, sitting an hour and 15 minutes in, man. But some great discussion going on here. I definitely like what y'all are presenting to the conversation here. Let me see. I see Fabian's in the building. Let me highlight this one. Fabian says, in all honesty, what's expected? An undefeated run to the playoffs, not guaranteed for any team. Yeah, that's facts, man. Not even the Philadelphia Eagles, who looked great this year. And Lou Mateo's in the building, too. Shout out Lou Mateo, man, in the building. He said, Daniel Jones will forever be a punching bag to these toxic-ass Giants fans, all because of being drafted first round. Shit sucks. Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate because with great power comes great responsibility. And that's really what it is. The quarterback, y'all know, even if you say in a flag, you could go to the park and go play football with your homies, right? And you be like, I got it, yo. I'm going to play quarterback. This was going to happen. Let's say your name is Lou, right? When you drop back the pass, all you're going to hear is Lou, because everybody's open. The pressure going to be on you right away. So when you talk about the highest level of football in the NFL, the pressure is going to be on it. And there are toxic fans, man. I saw some shit yesterday that had me like, dog, what's wrong with you people, man? Like, somebody was coming at, I believe her name is Darlene, man, and just saying the most craziest stuff, man, to females on, to women on Twitter that are like, they ain't even disrespecting you. I don't understand the disrespect when no one's throwing you any disrespect. It's like you just having a bad day or you got a bad life and you want to take it out on other fans. It's interesting to me. But, yeah, I do think all quarterbacks are going to be a punching bag. That's what it is. Look across the league at all the quarterbacks that aren't performing. Look at Baker Mayfield, man. Like, that dude's getting beat in Carolina. Even Dak Prescott is a punching bag, and he had a fantastic game on Sunday, man. He only had 3 passes that hit the ground. I think he had 275 yards, something like that, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Taylor Heineke's one that's getting punched, definitely being used as a punching bag. Jared Goff, he's been a guy who's played relatively well. Russell Wilson. There's so many quarterbacks, man, that are just out there. Aaron Rodgers, then it's not his fault. I tweeted out the other day, I said, man, Aaron Rodgers still a top 5 quarterback in this league. People was looking at me crazy. I'm just going off the skill set. I see what he does, man, with my eyes. And I'm like, yo, dude's balling. He just don't got help. Look at when Christian Watson is out there doing damage for him. Look how good they look. So for me, it's yeah, man, the quarterback, that's what comes with the territory. It's unfortunate, man, but that's definitely what comes with it, man. And Daniel Jones is going to be dealing with that forever, man, until he, Eli Manning started getting a pass after a couple Super Bowls, so you got to go out there and win some Super Bowls, man. Shout out to Sean G one time in the building. He says, Awthentik stay spitting bars, man. My top guy to listen to in the Giants community. You always been keeping 100, man. Thank you, man. I just try, man. Like, I don't, if I say something out loud and it just sounds silly to me, I'm like, come on, bro. Like, dial it back, bro. Like, you go by the name Awthentik, bro. Like, you can't be out here, like, having these fraudulent, takes and fraudulent opinions. You might see me on Twitter joking around and whatnot and saying some crazy stuff. I've said some crazy stuff on Twitter before, for sure, just like anybody else, because I don't take Twitter as like people will come after I say something on Twitter like, this is an awful take. And I'm just like, it's not a take, bro. I'm just saying some shit today. It ain't nothing. But on here, I try to at least keep it as real as I can, man. And have balance. Just have balance, man. Like if I have an opinion and I say something and you say something in the chat that, proves me wrong, I'm not gonna sit up here and try and die on some mountain, man. I'm gonna be like, yo, you right on that, man. Just like that conversation with John Kim just a second ago. It's like you have to have rationale here, man. Like have some common sense, man. If somebody says that, hey, man, your shirt today is this color and you disagree with it, like in this proof, just go with it, bro. Don't be dying on these mountains. That's just what it is, man. Let me see what Mobster Music is saying. Shout out to Mobster Music, man. New subscriber from like a couple of shows back. Salute to Mobster Music one time in the building. He says, I am stupidly pissed at Barkley. He kept running left when no one was going to stop him on the right side of the line. Yeah, I mean, you got to keep in mind, man, these plays are designed, and it's easy to look at it from the top view you see, from the broadcast of these NFL games and say, look at that hole. Same thing on the Daniel Jones interception. The great quarterbacks see those players there and they don't throw it at them, right? But like I said, I played quarterback, and I was undersized when I played in high school. I was like about 5'4" when I played quarterback on JV before they moved me to wide receiver. And I couldn't see shit, man. Like, throws across the middle, I was guessing like shit. I'll keep it real with you. I was just straight guessing like, man, hopefully he's there and no one's there. So I know. And when you go back and you look at the tape, yeah, you could look at it up top and go, man, dude's covered, man. Why you throwing the ball there? Or, the hole's over here on the right side. It's easy to say that. And especially when we're talking about greatness with a guy like Saquon Barkley, where you've seen him cut back and do things, but they bottled Saquon Barkley up all day, man. I got to give more credit to the Detroit Lions on that for stopping Saquon Barkley. And you could tell they game plan for it. Like, I can tell when Saquon Barkley's going to have a big day after the first couple of runs. I can see about 4 runs, 5 runs, and I'll be like, oh, today's not going to be the day. And I knew it in this game. I was like, this ain't going to be the day. This is not going to be the day. Detroit Lions were bailing out to stop him. Them defensive ends weren't even paying attention to Daniel Jones. They were just like, bro, I don't care. You fake it and you keep it. My safeties and cornerbacks will handle that. We got our eyes on Saquon Barkley. And early on in the game, I was like, are they just guessing or are they reading it? Like, are they really reading Daniel Jones handing the ball to him? And I was like, there's no damn way they're reading Daniel Jones. I think they were just coached to go, hey, screw it, man. Collapse on the run. The odds of Daniel Jones having a big run is probably less than Saquon Barkley having a big run if we try to, press up and stop the read option and go after the quarterback. So I feel you. And I like how you started it. You said, I am stupidly pissed. I feel you, man. Like, we fans at the end of the day, man, and we human. I get it, man. We look at players and we go, damn, I wish this guy could do well. But, man, when you look at a guy like Saquon Barkley and you see him having a bad day in 2022, you can't go and just, I can't say you can't. I would just suggest not looking at it like, oh, man, Saquon Barkley's falling off today. He decided to tiptoe. I see people saying that online. He's tiptoeing again. Like, dog, it's part of Saquon Barkley's style, man. He's trying to make people miss. When Saquon Barkley is at his best is when he's not touched in the backfield and when he can get to that second layer, without having to, shake and bake in the backfield and trying to rip defenders off of him and whatnot. So, I mean, I don't fault you, man. I understand where you're coming from for sure, but you got to – I think with Saquon Barkley being our best player on this offense very blatantly, very clearly this year, you kind of got to give him a little bit of benefit of the doubt on this one that the Detroit Lions schemed up to stop our best player, and that's 2-6, and they stopped him. For sure. And I see No Mets, No Net said he agrees with the primetime thing for sure. Let me see if I can't catch up a little bit, man, because I know we backed up. I'm trying to get everybody up on here, and share a lot of y'all thoughts today, man, because, I look at these, like when I come and I wrap up with y'all, these are a bit of a therapy session. But while we talking about Saquon Barkley a little bit, let's put his stats up on the screen here too, man, because, yeah, it's pitiful, man. Look at that. 1.4 yards per carry, a long of 4. Hey, golly. That is definitely not the vibes, man. And, he had a bad day. He definitely had a bad day. And it started off terrible. I've been asking, for the Giants to get Saquon Barkley some more carries in the first half. And I think I started to see why that's not a good idea for this team, because then if it doesn't work, then you got to go relying on that passing attack. And we're not built like that. We're just not built, especially with Bellinger out. If you noticed in this game, you didn't see a lot of those like little tight end, little out routes, those little chip blocks and then release kind of type things that we've been accustomed to seeing the first couple of weeks while we had Daniel Bellinger out there on the field. We saw none of that in this game, and it's unfortunate that injuries are forcing the offensive coordinator to be able to have to switch the game plan up a little bit. It's disheartening. I wish we could be healthy. But Saquon, man, just tough day across the board, man. I definitely feel for the dude, man. It's been tough all around for Saquon Barkley going up against them Detroit Lions yesterday. It was just bad. But that happens. That happens. And I hope he can get back to the drawing board. Now, I hope that pattern I was talking about earlier, doesn't persist throughout this next couple of games. We need Saquon Barkley to beat the Cowboys. We definitely do, man. Let me see who else is up in here. I'm definitely caught up. And OG Knockout says, bro, we got no division wins this year. If we lose to Dallas on Thursday, it's over. Yeah, I'm going to start feeling what Dallas is right now. What did Dallas improve to? Let me see the standings one time. That's a big game because, man, you can lose 2 games right there. You know, if Dallas sitting at 7-3 right now, Giants are in 3rd place at 7-3 because the Cowboys got the tiebreaker. So, this is a big must-win game coming up on Thursday, man. Dallas go up. If they can win that to go to 8-3 and the Giants fall to 7-4, and let's just say the Commanders win their game, you're looking at the Commanders right on your heels at 7-5. Yeah, it's getting dicey right now, man. I'm definitely worried about it. OG Knockout. Yeah, and a little bit of rest for the Giants. It's going to be super tough, man. And Sean G makes a good point here, too. He says Saquon will get 8-man boxes until we get a true wide receiver 1. Yeah, and I think now it's more apparent than ever. The way to beat us is you got to just stack that box, find a way to limit Saquon Barkley and force the Giants to pass the ball. I think that's the game plan. That's it, man. It's a huge, huge game coming up for the New York Giants, for sure, man. And I saw an opinion on Twitter that I didn't put in the Giant overreaction, but I did want to highlight it. And I've been talking about this homie for a little bit, man. I believe his Twitter handle is Queens Guy. His name is Sal, and he's on a podcast with I believe it's Broken Tackles. I always get it mixed up with Bookend Tackles here in the chat sometimes. Shout out to Bookend Tackles. I think I saw him in here earlier. But Sal was making some good points, man. And he was talking about Kafka, and he said it's comical to watch people bash Mike Kafka today. They've got a game plan that they have made work with the shitty personnel they inherited to a tune of 7-3 overall, but all of a sudden it's his fault. I think I agree with that as well, man. Mike Kafka's strapped, man, as far as personnel goes, man. And this is proof in this game against the Lions, who are not like a great defense. They're just all right. They're not a great defense. But if you bail out and you can stop Saquon Barkley, sometimes you could sell out and try and stop the run and still not stop the run. And shout out to Stan. Yeah, he was saying he confirmed that it is Breaking Tackles podcast. That's with the homie BT Giants on Twitter as well too. I've been telling Sal, man, like, yo, you should do a show like all about numbers. He's so engulfed in numbers, man, and he just got the proof. I see him in a lot of debates on Twitter, man, and he just debunking a lot of stuff that a lot of people say. I'm definitely a fan of what Sal's doing on Twitter, especially. And let me highlight this one from John Kim one more time, too. John Kim says, listen, no one, including our fan base, thought we would be 7-3. We are rebuilding mode. Shane clearly showed up during trade deadline. We are rebuilding. Or I'm sorry, Shane clearly showed that during trade deadline we are rebuilding. Just enjoy the wins and we will improve. Yeah, that's a good point. Definitely gonna enjoy the wins at all costs, man. That's the vibes. When we win, I'm up. I'm Kirk Cousins on a plane up when we win. But when we lose in this kind of fashion, it don't feel good because we're getting used to winning, man. This young team is learning how to win games, and I think the fan base is also starting to see, like, hey, how to handle winning games. And then when you lose games like this, it's super tough. It's super tough, man. It's very, very difficult. A lot of things came to an end in this game that were going so well for the Giants. The 6 straight games with no turnover, comes to an end here, man. The Giants had 3 turnovers in their last 5 games combined and had 3 against Detroit, so it's really tough, man. I talked about the streak earlier with the time of possession. We ended the 6-game streak of 30 minutes or more as far as time of possession goes. And, Jones had the streak of no interceptions, 153 attempts. Things were looking really, really, really good for this New York Giants team. And I'm not in the, I'm not on the bandwagon of it's over yet. I'm definitely not on that bandwagon yet. But I'm starting to feel a little bit, more like how I felt at the beginning of the season about the New York Giants, where I felt like, when we got like our 4th and 5th win, I kind of felt like, I wouldn't say I debated actually with the homie from Ref the District, the homie Smoker. He was like, man, the Giants are frauds, bro. He's a Washington Commanders fan. And I was like, no, it's not that we're frauds, bro. But I see where the statement comes from because you squeak out a couple of wins that, I won't call them lucky wins, right? Nah, you know what? I got just for the beard. This for you, the beard. We squeaked out some lucky wins. Let's keep it funky. All right. When you look at the Tennessee Titans game opening day, we caught them at the perfect time, and their field goal kicker missed like a 46-yarder to win that game. That's luck, right? You look at the Packers game, yeah, you get back in the game and you come back, but you're fortunate and lucky to get away with wins like that against a team, that's proven they can win games throughout the years. The Ravens game, we literally watched Lamar Jackson collapse and make 2 egregious turnover plays in that game. Kayvon Thibodeau, that was his coming out party for sure. He made a great play in that game. I won't call it all the way luck, but yeah, we're dealing with a little bit of luck here. If I'm gonna say that the Commanders got lucky against the Chicago Bears on Thursday Night Football, I got to say my Giants have got lucky a couple times themselves. And that record has just been a little bit, it's a little inflated. That whole, I was telling my homie Patrick, that whole you are what your record says you are. No, if that was the case, the Lions wouldn't have won that game. Bottom line. That's what it is. And no Mets, no Nets, no Jets says, but you can't say the Giants have also experienced bad luck. I think he's saying haven't. Yeah, with the injuries especially, man, it's been awful. Got a bunch of bad luck there, man, with the injuries. We've dealt with the injuries a lot. Thank God we haven't had to deal with no big injuries to the quarterback position because we know what the team can look like, when you remove this quarterback. Granted, the backup is supposed to be a little bit better this year. But yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm definitely with you on that. We've definitely had some bad luck for sure. Definitely, it's been tough, man. It's been a tough year. Bad luck started in training camp. Bad luck was Kadarius Toney getting hurt. Bad luck was Colin Johnson being out for the year. Colin Johnson would have been the perfect player to replace a guy like Kenny Galladay when he was hurt and when he was struggling. But some bad luck in the offseason, and that hurts you, and then some bad luck throughout the season as well, too. And shout out Gregory in the building one time, man, Dallas Cowboys fan. He says, Awthentik, what difference do you see against Dak Thursday than Cooper Rush the first game? I'll tell you the biggest difference. With Dak Prescott, you can open up the playbook. With Cooper Rush, I felt like you had to do 3-step drop, get rid of the ball quickly, because if the pressure get to Cooper Rush, is completely over. Dak Prescott know how to maneuver the pocket a little bit better. I think he's got the bigger arm, too. He can make the throws down the field better than Cooper Rush. But I liked Cooper Rush, man. I think he really kept y'all season alive, Gregory, like straight up. Like, I think he was, 4-1 when Dak Prescott was out. But he definitely held it down. And, the other thing, too, is I think that you just have another weapon when you got Dak Prescott out there. I don't look at Cooper Rush as a real weapon. Dak Prescott, man, yeah, fall asleep on Dak Prescott. He's going to make you pay. And a lot of people don't want to give Dak Prescott his props. I always give Dak Prescott his props, man. When Josh Allen was on the rise, I was saying the spot that he's taken in the top 10 is Dak Prescott's when he was, coming up. I'm talking about like after the first 2 years. Completion percentage for Josh Allen was extremely low. I think he was under 60% both years. 52% the first year, 58% the second year. They brought in Stephon Diggs. I still wasn't sold at the beginning of that third year for Josh Allen. And I was saying the guy's spot he got to take is Dak Prescott. So I think that says enough right there. Dak Prescott can do a lot, man. He can get those little sneaky runs, a la like a Patrick Mahomes can do, where it's like you're not that fast, but you can definitely, make teams pay if they turn around and try to cover your wide receivers. And he just makes your offense that much more potent, that much more powerful. And now you guys got Tony Pollard like really looking like a dog right now. So I'm worried about the Dallas Cowboys, Gregory. Y'all are looking really, really, really good this year. I thought I saw another one. Oh, and I knew I'd get some pushback on that. I never said they were like lucky games. You're just getting a little bit of luck. But shout out to Deedon Shelton one time. He says, those are not lucky games. Making missing field goals are part of the game. Lamar Jackson is a known fumbler. He did it again against us at the wrong time. Packers was just a great comeback. Let me tell you why I think the Lamar Jackson one especially is a bit of luck. He was coming into that game with 3 fourth-quarter collapses. It should be a point of emphasis. Hey, when we get down here late, and I always put some of this on coaching because, like, when your quarterback gets into a spot where you know he can't make a mistake, you need to reiterate that to the quarterback. You got to let him know in this spot, bro, if the snap goes over your head, don't forget the snap. It literally like went over his head. He picked it up. He made a Great play. Now, let me show you the difference between Taylor Heineke and Lamar Jackson. When that happened to Taylor Heineke in that game, I believe that was against, it might have been against the Eagles where the snap went over his head, or was the game before that? I can't remember. His whole thought process was pick this ball up and throw it out of bounds. Lamar Jackson's thinking, man, I can pick this up and still make a play because of the athleticism. And again, I'm not saying that they're lucky games like, oh, man, you flipped the coin and got lucky and won a game. I'm not saying that. But just like how no Mets, no Nets, no Jets was saying like, hey, you've had some bad luck go your way. Well, we've had some good luck go our way too. And I think, yeah, that's a little bit of luck when a guy like Lamar Jackson, who's known to make plays, goes out there and tries to pick up a lost fumble from a high snap from his center. He's not throwing it to Mark Andrews in double coverage. He's throwing it to the backup tight end in double coverage. That's a little bit of luck for me. And the way I like to be fair. So if I'm going to tell my co-host, hey, your Washington Commanders got a little bit lucky, then I got to make it fair for my New York Giants. Football, a little bit of luck has to happen in football. That's just what it is, man. A little bit of luck got to happen. But we're relying on putting the best players in position to make the plays, so we don't got to rely on luck for the most part. But, hey, some things got to go your way here or there. That's just how it is in football. And let me see, no Mets, no Nets respond to that too. He says, so if good luck and bad luck happens, it's a wash, so we can't say the team got lucky. To each his own on that one. I see what you're presenting there. If the good luck and the bad luck is equal in the game, then yeah. But I just think, man, like, there's times where you're looking at the Giants, man, they're dodging bullets. But at the same time, like you said, I agree with you on what you said. I do think that luck plays into football a little bit there, when things go your way. Like, what was the one? There was an interception that got popped up on Sunday. I forget the game it was in. Like, it just falls in dude's lap. Like, things like that, man. But, Aiden Hutchinson going out here and getting an interception like the way he did, that's not luck, And Daniel Jones driving his team down the field on the first drive, all on his shoulders, that's not luck either. I think it plays for both parts. But Washington, the beard ain't going to like me for this. Washington, for the Chicago Bears to get within the 3-yard line 3 times in that game and come away with 0 points, there's a little bit of luck that happens there. I got to stick to that. But I definitely hear y'all points on that for sure. Shout out to Oozing Toxicity. Oh, yeah, you changed your name. Shout out to Marquez one time in the building, man. Changed his name. I'm definitely digging. He says, salute Awthentik. Peace to my brother, always speaking with logic and common sense. Big ups to my Giants brother from a Dallas Cowboys fan. Salute to you, man, and big win for y'all, man, this week. That was a very staple win for y'all because a lot of people were definitely picking the Vikings. I can't remember. I think I picked the Cowboys in that game on Thursday, and then I might have picked I might have switched it when we did the rapid fire picks on Sunday. I'm not too sure, man, but big salute to y'all, man. That was a huge win for y'all, man. And yeah, y'all put the Giants on notice. We're gonna be doing some extra work, some extra homework this week before we take on the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. I appreciate you pulling up, man, and rocking with us on this Monday too, man. This depressing Monday for my New York Giants. Just catching up a little bit here, man. Jameson said he don't feel hungry right now. He thinks something's wrong with him, man. You better go eat something, bro. You probably getting dizzy over there, man. Hope everything's going all good with my man Jameson, Coach J-Mo in the building. All right, so I think we're kind of caught up here. And we've recapped the game a good bit, I think it's time we go into some of these overreactions and see how y'all feeling about these. I got a couple today, man. I think I got about 4 or 5 of these. For those of y'all that don't know how we do the overreaction over here, any new faces in the building and whatnot, what we do is we present statements on the screen or clips from the national media. And if you agree with the statement on the screen, you put a U in the chat to represent your vote, which will say you're taking the under, which means you're agreeing with the statement that's on the screen. If you think indeed the statement on the screen is an overreaction, you put an O in the chat. And if you need a little bit more time to kind of get your wits together, a couple more weeks, whatever it may be, maybe next week, you can put a P in the chat to represent. You're going to be taking a push on this one, and your answer will be saved for next week's voting box. All right? And I'm just kind of looking at these overreactions, seeing which one I want to start with. A lot of people are talking about this one, so we're going to talk about this one first. Ooh, and this one has a clip to go with it. This was Rex Ryan, Ryan Clark, and Mike Greenberg this morning on the Get Up.
They got absolutely bullied.
First time.
And here's the thing. This team was leading the NFL in third down defense and leading the team in red zone defense. How'd that red zone look? You gave up 4 rushing touchdowns.
Did it all come apart on them yesterday?
No, I don't think it came apart. I think sometimes you have these games, but the Giants have a very small margin for error.
Yeah.
Saquon Barkley has to be the Saquon Barkley
Yeah.
we've seen throughout the year. That red zone defense and third down defense has to step up in those critical moments. And when they don't, you can see this, and this can look like a bottom half team.
All right, so Ryan Clark was saying how this could look like a bottom half team if Saquon Barkley is not going, and he kind of relied on the defense. I figured I would start this off and put myself on the spot here one time. I tweeted this one out after the game. I said, stop Saquon, beat the Giants. It's that simple. So, I've been putting a lot of other people on blast this year. Let me know what y'all thinking about this one. Do you think this is an overreaction, or do you think that the Giants can actually win games if you stop Saquon? And when I mean stop Saquon, I'm talking about like how the Detroit Lions stop Saquon, how the Seattle Seahawks stop Saquon, 50 yards and under type of vibe. Let me know what y'all thinking in the chat, man. We'll get a couple of y'all answers populated here one time, man, and bring a couple of these votes up on the screen and see what y'all are thinking. And let me know why you think that too. Let me, if there's a explanation or some reasoning behind your vote, let me know what you think on that. And you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna give y'all a little bit of time to get your answers populated. I want to go refill this water, man. I'm feeling a little bit under the weather here. I definitely got to get some water here one time. So let the votes roll in. Give me about a good 30 seconds. I'll be right back. Not too bad, man. That 40 time wasn't too bad, man. Made it upstairs real quick one time. All right, yo. So when I left off here, man, I saw a lot of y'all coming in hot with the U's, man. A lot of taking the unders on this one, agreeing with the statement on the screen. J-Mo said it. Michael Knight said it. OG Knockout said it. Robert said it. Shout out to Robert Gregory one time in the building. Flemdog said you for sure. Shout out to Flemdog too, man. Another musician from around the way. We've been chopping it up, man. We're going to get up in the studio here real soon. Hyphen Wade also took the under on this one too. My man Marquez said Saquon is the lifeblood of the Giants offense. That's big facts right there. World Cup update from the homie The Beard one time says USA is on the board 1-0 over Wales at the 40-minute mark, man. I heard here in D.C., man, the bars are going to be staying open for 24 hours, man. I definitely want to try to get that World Cup experience, man. I might have to step out here one of these days, especially if USA gets that win one time. Shout out to The Beard in the building. Jameson wants to change his vote to an O for the overreaction. Shout out to Bubs one time in the building. Bubs been rocking with us for a minute here now. He says he's taking the under on this one. He agrees with the statement on the screen. I'm praying we can get Odell to sign. Man, I almost had a couple Odell overreactions I was going to use today too, man. It's not looking good for Odell coming to the Giants, man. But we'll see. You never know. I think right now it might not be a good idea to sign Odell, man, after the injury to Wan'Dale Robinson. I don't know if we'd be able to really stretch the field. There's not enough weaponry out there. But with that 100-yard game from Wan'Dale Robinson, I was feeling kind of good about it. But now he's out for the year, so that's going to be tough. Let me see what we got here. The Moore family. Shout out to the Moore family. Been rocking with us the last couple of episodes, too. The Moore family has taken a push one time. Both of those games, the turnovers were the biggest issues. I think we actually moved the ball. Penalties have killed so many drives. I haven't brought that up enough. The penalties, man, were critical in this game, too, man. I think it was like 8 for like 80 or 7 for 75 yards. Definitely agree with you on that one, man. Thank you for rocking with us, too, the Moore family. And Zach's in the building. Shout out Zach. He says he's taking the under because looking back, Dable's comments saying he doesn't know if he can win games throwing 35 a game. Look, man, people were trying to clown me when I put that Paul Schwartz quote up on Twitter like, oh, man, whatever, why would you want to throw it 35 times a game? I'm like, bro, he simply just asked a question. What's going to happen when you have to throw the ball 35 times a game? And he had the foresight to know that it was probably going to happen against the Detroit Lions. And look, sure as shit stinks, it definitely did happen. So I agree with you on this one, Zach. John Kim's taking the push on this one. My man Havoc says it's an overreaction. Thinks that the Giants could probably do things if you stop the running game. Shout out to Havoc in the building. Another musician from around the way, too, man. We definitely going to link up soon, fam. Steven Arts is taking the under as well. Steven Arts says, but we should be able to rely on DJ throwing the ball no matter the wide receivers because not every game will be a filet mignon. I like how you said that right there. You might have to cook with scraps. That's facts right there. That's facts, man. They got to get him some help, but I definitely agree with you on that, Steven Arts. That's a good point you bring up. Let me see what's going on here. Havoc says, nah, I'm rethinking it because I'm thinking back to the number. So he's taking the under on this one. Stan taking the under. I already knew that was facts right there. Shout out to homie Stan one time in the building. OG Knockout says Daniel Jones isn't that guy. So if you stop the run, the Giants are just a mediocre team, homie. Yeah, and I'm a little bit unsure about this, OG Knockout. I want to see more spots where he can try to get it done, but the past, if we're going off the past, I got to agree with you on that too, man. No lie about that. The Moore family also taking a push against the best. We need Saquon, but we could have beat the Seahawks and Lions without the turnovers and the bad penalties. Yeah, the Richie James fumbles, those were critical against the Seahawks. And penalties have kicked our butt, man, most definitely. I got to agree with you on that too. Kareem Yee's taking the under. The Giants have not proved they can compete in a shootout. That's a big problem. Any team that's putting up a lot of points, I'm worried about it. I got to agree with you on that too, Kareem. James Earl Moans taking the under as well. John Kim says our defense is definitely missing Xavier, who is good against the run, and it doesn't help that all of our linebackers are bad. Yeah, that's true, man. Our linebackers been struggling this year against the run and in coverage. McFadden was struggling crazy in coverage, man. I think that's why he ended up getting benched too. Let me see here. Any other votes on this one time? James Ramon says, with these receivers and pass blocking, come on, man. I'll agree with you on the receivers. The pass blocking has been good enough for us to be able to do some things. I mean, what did Daniel Jones get sacked twice in this game? He did have 19 pressures, but this is why I think Daniel Jones is like getting better in that pocket. 19 pressures, you only got sacked twice on the day. He's been able to just maneuver that pocket, man, and he's doing things that I would have never been able to call he'd be doing at the beginning of the year. I thought Daniel Jones' pocket presence was god-awful. It was one of the key points we talked about a lot last year, not only on this podcast, but on a lot of different podcasts, man. So, yeah, I definitely agree with you with the receivers, but, man, like you just got to find a way, man. I hate to say it. You just got to find a way. The great quarterbacks do. Look at Justin Herbert, what he was doing with Mike Williams and Keenan Allen out the lineup. And I know I'm comparing Daniel Jones to guys like Justin Herbert, which is really not fair. Even Patrick Mahomes, man, there's not really many wide receivers over there, but he's relying on the guys that are good. Travis Kelce's definitely a weapon. That's for damn sure. And I would never say that the Kansas City Chiefs have as bad of a you got to say a pass catcher situation. You can't say wide receiver because the wide receivers over there aren't that good. But even a guy like MVS, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, he's pretty decent. But he reminds me of Darius Slayton as far as the skill set, but he's got a couple better things going on for him over there. But you saw what they did in this game on a Sunday night, man. They were running a lot of 2 tight end packages not to run the ball. They were putting tight ends out there at the X position, throwing them fade routes, post routes, all of that stuff, just trying to get the size matchup with one-on-ones. And some of that has to do with coaching as well, too. But, yeah, I think you make a good point, James Earl Moans. Like, it's tough, man. The wide receiver situation and the pass blocking situation don't make it easier, I see my man Chris Peace in the building. Shout out Chris Peace in the building. Taking the under. Simply put, without a wide receiver one to draw attention away from Saquon and a interior offensive lineman to help clear the way, you put 8 in the box, he's pretty much done. Yeah. That's real, man. We saw that on Sunday. And I don't think it's a guaranteed thing if you put 8 in the box, you're going to stop Saquon, because the week before that, against the Texans, I think it was either the Texans game or the game before that. I think it was the Texans game. They had stacked the box on 30% of Saquon's runs, and he was still managing to go crazy, man. So, not every team's going to be able to stack the box and stop you, but the Detroit Lions definitely had some success with that. But as far as how I'm feeling about this, I mean, I tweeted it, so y'all know what it is. I think that's facts right there. Like, if you can stop Saquon, odds are I'd say 9 times out of 10, you're going to be able to beat the Giants. And it's going to be tough sledding for us, man, if we can't find ways to get Saquon going, man. A lot of people are calling for more carries from Matt Breida, and I'm just like, nah, man, we got a bell cow back there, man. Like, let Saquon do what he does, Let him do what he does and try to find ways to put him in the best position to win. Shout out to the homie John Kim one time in the building, man, dropping that $5 super chat, man. Definitely appreciate you supporting the channel one time. John Kim says, DJ needs Bellinger back. It's his security blanket. Yeah, you're right about that. And we need Evan Neal back at right tackle. He opens up wide lanes for Barkley on the right. Her disease is coming off IR. Yeah, you dropping some gems right there, man. Some good points you make. And since Evan Neal has been out the lineup, the run blocking has suffered on the right side. And we're struggling at that left guard position, man. Shane Lemieux struggled on Sunday. And Joshua Ezidu has not been, he's learning on the job. So I give him a little bit of a pass, but he hasn't been stout for us in the running attack either, man. So, yeah, I mean, those are great points, man. We got to get healthy, man, and it doesn't seem like we're going to get that healthy in this final stretch of the season. So it's going to have to be next man up, man. But definitely appreciate you pulling up today, John Kim. Thank you for the super chat too, man. And let me see. The Moore family says, bro, but we have a bunch of practice squad receivers and Slayton a 5th-round pick. DJ has never had a consistent, healthy group. It sucks. It does. It does. Slayton and Golden Tate were like the most consistent core he had. But then, like, do we look at the coaching staff because of that? Do we look at it like, and this is why I told y'all at the beginning of the show, I don't know if you were here for this, the Moore family, but I was saying that this is the most puzzling part about leading up to the trade deadline, that they didn't get him help. Like, I understand we're in a rebuild, right? But we're winning games, and we got a shot here, man. You never know. This could be the best run that this coaching staff ever gets, right? And think about it like when Joe Judge and them were here in the first year, 2020, and we were a 6-10 team, right? I know we weren't winning a lot of games early, but could you imagine if let's say that team was sitting at, before the trade deadline, I think we were 5-2, 5-1, something like that, right? But a great positive record, way over 500, right? And they don't go out there and get Daniel Jones help when you know this kid is on his last leg. He's on his last leg. To me, it says one of two things. Either you don't have the faith in him and you don't want to build around him, so you want to just wait it out, see what you can do with this team, similar to what they did with the 2017 Buffalo Bills team. Shout out to Stan, who's always bringing that up to me, that this team is very similar to the 27 Bills team. Or it's that you're going to sign him. And you're like, you know what? We're not going to press. We're not going to press to go get a wide receiver this year and waste money. We're going to try to develop a couple of wide receivers from the draft and bring in some young talent on a young team. And we'll build around Daniel Jones and these new wide receivers. It's one of two things. It's got to be one of those two things. And I definitely feel you, man. There's a bunch of practice squad wide receivers out there, but a lot of that has to do with injuries and guys not being able to put out no productivity on the field. Like Kenny Galladay is not a practice squad wide receiver. Darius Slayton is not a practice squad wide receiver. Wan'Dale Robinson is not a practice squad wide receiver. I'm going to keep it real with you, and people might disagree with this one. Crazy might disagree with this one. Richie James, to me, is not a practice squad wide receiver. Richie James was holding us down for like the first 5 games. He was the only thing clicking in this whole passing attack for this offense. I think you got 4 guys out there that really aren't practice squad wide receivers. Now, I will say guys like David Sills, yeah, you're a practice squad wide receiver. And Bobby brought up a really good point about, putting Adoree Jackson back there at punt return. Why do you put Adoree Jackson back there at punt return when you got David Sills is a healthy scratch every damn week? Why don't you go out there and go get somebody that can return punts? There's got to be somebody out there that can return punts. Got to be. Even if they're just going back there and they're just fair catching a damn ball. Or you put faith back in Richie James, man. Players make mistakes. It's bound to happen on the football field. Sometimes you got to put that faith back in that player. And I know Richie James is not proven enough, to have that faith instilled in him. So I do get that point too. But at the same time, like, just go get some players. Like, why do you have a guy like David Sills as a healthy scratch? That doesn't make any sense. Go out here and go, what's up with Will Fuller? There's free agents out here, man. There's got to be man, if we're this is going to sound wild too, right? But if we're falling victim to having practice squad wide receivers out there, right? Go sign T.O. Like, dude, go find somebody. There's got to be somebody out there that can catch a damn punt and catch a football. That's not a practice squad wide receiver. And if you're going to go out there and get a practice squad wide receiver, why don't you bring back Alex Bachman? Alex Bachman has not been a guy who's dropping passes. He had that game in preseason where he looked like he could be a guy. Why didn't you go out there and sign Cole Beasley when he was a free agent? This is why it's not all peaches and cream with this coaching staff. There are things that are blemishes with this coaching staff as well. Nobody's perfect. That's what it is. And shout out to the homie Zach one time, man. Me and Zach be chopping it up a lot, man. This fam right here. And Zach says, the biggest mistake was putting Adoree Jackson back to return punts because of Wink's blitz-heavy defense. You need cover corners, and it showed in quarter two. Yeah. Second half, man, there was that the drive where they came out opening the second half, man, it just looked so easy. And you could see the safety that ended up getting hurt, what's homie's name? Pinnock. Man, there were times where he would go in there to try to make the tackle, and, man, Jamal Williams, DeAndre Swift lowered a shoulder, and they lowered a boom on that dude, man. He got hurt twice in that game. And it ends up he has a broken jaw. That go to show you what's going on with the physicality of football on the NFL level, man. And, yeah, you're right, man. You need a cover corner like Adoree Jackson. Why would you put your best – let me pump the brakes on that. Why would you put your second best defensive player in harm's way like that? Maybe your most valuable. I heard somebody say that on one of the content creators' channels. That might have been Bobby as well. Might have been Entertainer, I think, too. One of them said that. They were like, why would you put your most valuable – I think it was Entertainer, actually. I think he said, why would you put your most valuable player out there to return punts? It don't make sense. You got to understand that why would you want your best corner getting tackled? It really makes no sense. And I think desperation is what made Brian Daboll do that. You know, maybe looking for a spark, because if Adoree Jackson starts returning punts, and let's say he takes one to the house or breaks one for 50, people are going to be like, God damn, man, look at Brian Daboll. He's a mastermind. You know, it's hindsight is 2020. We do know that. But I do think now, especially now, that it was a stupid move to put Adoree Jackson back there at punt return. I know Brian Daboll probably feels like shit about it too. You know, it was just one of the few mistakes that he's made this year, man. But shout out to Zach, man. Definitely appreciate you supporting this channel, man. That super chat definitely goes a long way, my guy. I've been talking to the Beard about this, and he'll vouch for it in the chat. I've been like, bro, it's mid-season, and I'm so ready to just like revamp and upgrade. Y'all know the saying at the end of every show is raise that bar. And I'm trying to raise the bar mid-season. Like, I'm just like trying to find ways to make this content better, not only for myself, but make it better for y'all. I'm the kind of person that I go in and I critique my content. And, you know, I want it to be high-value stuff, man. I'm not trying to come over here and just, you know, be talking in front of a mic because I got lips. I'm trying to, you know, give y'all some high-quality content here at the same time, you know, leave a mark with my legacy and what I'm doing here when it comes to the content creation game in the New York Giants, you know. And I'm trying to rise in the ranks myself, man. Like, I'm looking at everything that everybody's doing across the community, man, and I'm trying to be at the cream of the crop and be at the top of that, man. So shout out to Zach for supporting the channel, man, and Zach's been supporting us for a long time over here, man. Big salute to Zach one time. And we got another super chat before we get to this next overreaction one time. This one comes from the homie Zeke Anderson. Zeke Anderson's another big supporter of this channel as well. He says, if we believe Stop SB stops the Giants, then why do we at every turn try to big up this quarterback? That's what I think he's trying to say there. Yep. I don't know, bro. You know, our fan base is all over the place. I will say that. And I talked about it earlier. I don't know if you were here for that one. You know, there's just no balance within the Giants fan base outside of our chat. I will say that. And, like, that's why I love our moderators. It's a very no-nonsense type of community over here, man. Like, yeah, Will Fuller is retired. I see that. Yo, what's good, man? Bring him out of retirement, man. Pay him a little bit of bread. I'm sure he'd come out. But I'm sure even if it's not Will Fuller, there's some other wide receivers out there. But, you know, what I was saying about here is, like, I'm trying to build a community with the Beard here that's, like, it's fair and it's rational. You know, those are the things I like to think about, you know, and people using their common sense and no disrespect coming from the chat. And, you know, you don't got to worry about popping up to an Awthentik in the Beard stream and getting in some crazy beef with somebody, whether they be a Cowboys fan, Eagles fan, Washington fan, whatever. We're trying to build, like, a community that's comfortable, for people. And when I'm on Twitter, we don't have that kind of control over what's going on over there. And it's toxic over there, and it's terrible. And I just think that's why a lot of people are trying to big up the quarterback a lot of time, because you do have a lot of youthful fans, a lot of people that, they haven't gotten chances to see multiple quarterbacks. You got to understand that some of these Giants fans have only seen Eli Manning and Daniel Jones. That's it. So they're going to relay it on the past that they've seen. And they're like, well, Eli Manning was struggling back in 2004 and 2005 and whatnot. And he turned around and won 2 Super Bowls. He was never at the top of the, cream of the crop of quarterbacks in the league and whatnot. He was never a top 2, 3 guy. Daniel Jones should be able to do the same thing. I don't fault them, but at the same time, the collective opinions that then get tossed into our community, into the pool of thoughts, we're outnumbered. More people there's probably more youth watching football right now than there are more OGs that are like, pushing 40 or above, like how I am. So in return, you get this strange dynamic, and it is very mob mentality. People trying to ratio people on Twitter and stuff like that. So if you get 500 people that say that like one tweet saying, hey, Daniel Jones is a franchise quarterback, and then let's say I come up and say, hey, I still got questions about Daniel Jones, and no one likes it, and all I'm getting is pushback. Well, people are going to probably go, young people especially, are going to go with that general consensus of, hey, then Daniel Jones is a franchise quarterback. There's no balance in our community. It's either extreme, he's a franchise quarterback, Kayvon Thibodeau's a bust, or it's, completely the opposite. There's no balance. And I'm trying to be that balance, to be honest. I'm trying to be as realistic as possible. Y'all know there's a saying over here on Awthentik in the Beard. We're not going to be pessimistic. We're not going to be optimistic. We're going to be realistic. We're going to keep it real out here as much as we can, man. And I love doing shows with the Beard because we're here for that, to check each other, and the family in the chat as well. Like, if I say something egregiously just wild on a stream here, the chat's going to be like, bruh, and then I got to address it. That's what it is. But I think across the internet and along with in New York, we don't have that. We really don't have that. And we've been losing for so long that people don't know how to win. It's a toxic fan base. So I don't know why, I really can't tell you why. But I know that this roster needs to be upgraded. That's the one thing that is so clear to me. This roster needs to be upgraded. You need to get people out here that can produce at the wide receiver position. But then I also start to think about this. Look at all the swings and misses that have happened here while we've had Daniel Jones as the quarterback. So it's like, I can't just keep blaming every wide receiver that they bring in here, because they paid Golden Tate $33 million, they paid Golden Tate 33 M's, right? It didn't work out. They paid Kenny Golladay 72 M's. It didn't work out. They drafted Kadarius Toney. It didn't work out. Drafted Wan'Dale Robinson in the second round last year. He's hurt. Can't put that one on Daniel Jones. He got hurt. He's out for the year. That's a wrap. He's going to be out for at least half of next season, right? But there's something about it, about the dynamic of, like, we haven't seen real chemistry with this quarterback and any wide receiver outside of Darius Slayton in the first year of Daniel Jones' career in 2019. I'm puzzled by it. I don't got no answer, to be honest. I really couldn't tell you. Like, I don't know why people want to always big up the quarterback. Maybe it goes back to what I was saying earlier about, the polarizing position. It's interesting, man. But wins can solve this. I do know that. Like, wins solve the negative portions of it, because the people that like to call others Daniel Jones haters, those haters have, like, now kind of bowed out a little bit as we've been winning games, and you're starting to get those negative extremes leaning more towards being neutral. Like, hey, I'm down to win games. I'm only seeing like 1 or 2 people on Twitter that are just like, yo, I'm mad we won the game. And I won't sit here and say, hey, you're a fake fan because you're mad we won the game. I know some of y'all might disagree with that, right? But I don't tell people how to root for their team. If you are so, like, invested in change at the quarterback position and you don't want wins, that's on you, bro. I'm not going to sit here and say, if you wear a Giants hat out in public, then you're probably a Giants fan. Are you a fan of the team? It's like saying, hey, when Jay-Z drops 444 or whatever, I don't like that album, and I can't wait till the whole steam behind this album is over and Jay-Z gets to working on the next album. I can't say you're not a Jay-Z fan, So I'm not here to tell people who's a fan or who's not, but right now that's what it seems to be. And honestly, this team wouldn't have no wins if this coaching staff didn't figure out a way to get Saquon Barkley in position to do what he does, and also the chip that's on Saquon Barkley's shoulder. I think that has a lot to do with it too, because, man, could you imagine this team without the running game right now? That's what it was last year when Saquon Barkley had 500 and I believe 92 rushing yards on the year. Couldn't generate the run at all, and that's why we stunk. That's why we stunk. The only reason why we're not terrible this year is because our defense has been definitely reignited with Wink Martindale. Saquon Barkley has been playing outstanding football, and Daniel Jones hasn't been turning the ball over. And coaching, obviously, coaching is putting them all in position to do those things. So, yeah, I'm a little bit, I can say all of that, and with all that said, I'm still a little bit baffled about all of that. Like, I don't know why people are putting the quarterback on a pedestal. I saw it a lot this morning. I almost had to just stay off Twitter. And shout out to Stan. Stan's like, yo, dog, I'm not even coming back on Twitter because it feels like it's polluting my opinion. I respect that, bro. I definitely respect that for sure. And shout out to Jonathan Studios one time in the building. I see you just pulled up, man. Big salute to you, brother. He says, bruh, this regime is hell-bent on signing culture guys. That's why no help came at the trade deadline and no help is coming in free agency. Yeah, I mean, that could be a thing. But, it's like, this is the NFL, man. You got to be able to breed puppies that fit in the culture. Right? Like, bring guys over that fit the culture. When you look at the Philadelphia Eagles right now, do you look at them like they're building a culture? I mean, they just signed Ndamukong Suh. This dude was stomping people out and stomping helmets, all kind of stuff a couple of years ago. I don't know, man. Like, I think that culture thing might be a little bit overrated because a good leader can breed a good culture. I do think we got a really good leader. I really do think about that. I mean, I do think that. Like, Brian Dable's doing a really, really, really good job, man. I'm happy with the coaching staff so far. But I did say the same thing after the first year with Joe Judge, 6-10. I was like, man, I'm happy with the coach. He's doing a good job. And then that second year completely fell apart. Now, if the Giants weren't winning games, would I still be saying, yo, I think this coach has, a great grip on his locker room and the culture is great? I don't know. I mean, dude, I saw Wink Martindale turning up in the locker room after a win just a couple of weeks ago. Some people would say that's toxic culture, man. Why are you celebrating with your team like that? You need to be the face that represents the leadership on this team. A lot of people say Odell Beckham was bad for the culture back in the day. I never once agreed with that. And no one who's been a Giant has said that. No one has said that. So for me, I do think the whole culture thing is overrated. Build a winning locker room. People will buy in. And that's what's happening with the Giants, man. You're sitting at 7-3 and people are buying in. You see Kenny Galladay's demeanor after Kadarius Toney got traded. So I think you can go both ways. You want the culture to be right, but you also you got to breed it, man. You got to breed that culture so when you bring a player over, they're on your schedule, not you on their schedule. And then you give them a couple of strikes, and once they strike out, you up out of here. Seems like that's what happened with Kadarius Toney, but I can only speculate. Right? But that's my thoughts on that, man. Maybe that is why. I did say when I talked about the trade deadline, I had my two reasonings why I thought they might have, not made a move. One of them being not invested in the quarterback. The second one being, they know they're going to sign the quarterback, and they're like, hey, let's not go out here and waste no money. And this is a good third option, I think, man. Getting the right guys. Maybe they're just not finding the right people that fit within their culture, and only they know that, until said or proven otherwise. Only they know that. But I definitely appreciate that. That's a good thought to bring into this discussion that we really haven't talked about. I definitely appreciate that, fam. Let me see what Stephen R. is talking about here one time. Stephen R. said, I said that in a comment on YouTube. Why not Sills or Brightwell on punt return? Some players can't handle more on their plate. He was our number one option for sure. That should have been his main concern. As far as David Sills at punt return, I would never do that. He just don't got the skill set for it. Brightwell could have been a guy, but I think maybe they're a little bit unsure with his hands too. I don't know if you saw the kickoff that he bobbled. He damn near fumbled that kickoff, but he did get his hands back on the ball. But Brightwell seems like he could do it. But yeah, I agree with you on that part of it. If it's not Sills, if it's not Brightwell, you can find a guy. You come on, don't put your number one corner back there. That's probably not the vibe. And shout out Michael Knight. Michael Knight said, bro, all of your content is high quality. Like I've told you before, your production's top notch. Thank you, man. I've dedicated a life to music that has now morphed into production. So, if the takes are shitty over here, that's cool with me. As long as the production is high, man, y'all enjoying yourselves, I'm good with it, man. Shout out to Michael Knight in the building one time, man. And let me see. Oh, we got ENA. We got time in the building, man. Shout out to ENA. We got time, man. Another one who's always supporting this channel, man. I appreciate that. $4.99 super chat. Said, what up? Sorry I'm late. But when do we get Bellinger back? And I'm really nervous for this game Thursday. So many injuries, such a short week. I'm not 100% sure when we're going to get Bellinger back. I wouldn't expect him here this week, especially on a short week going up against Dallas. And, yeah, we've all, you know, I know you missed it, but we've all expressed our concerns about Thursday, bro. Thursday's going to be tough, man. Thursday's going to be tough. And I think this is a really good way to lead into our next giant overreaction real quick. And we'll keep doing that. We'll do an overreaction, and we'll do a little bit of a, you know, back and forth and some conversing as well in between. So we got some time to talk about some other topics. Y'all could drop some questions in the chat and whatnot. And shout out to ENA. We got time one more time, man. That was a blessing for you to send that $4.99 super chat, bro. Thank you again. And Gregory says you're doing a great job, Awthentik. Thank you, man. Salute to Gregory, man. I think Gregory came over from William Steele's channel, man, A to Z Dallas Sports, who I look up to William Steele a lot, man. He's got an awesome channel over there. And from the way y'all be clowning him with the age jokes, I would imagine he's at least around my age bracket, somewhere around 39, 40 years old or something like that. But he's one of the channels that I think has the full package. Like, the production is high quality. The takes are really good, man. And he's consistent. That's what's most important, I feel like, about content creation. Shout out to Stan before we get to this one overreaction. He says Adoree had some punt returns at USC, but nothing special to take that chance. Yeah, and that's what they said. He did return at USC, and he returned some punts when he was with Tennessee as well. But yeah, it's just high risk and not high reward. That's the part that bothered me about it. You know, that's what was really tough about it. And I know Stan agrees with that, but that's a good point you bring up that he returned some punts at USC for sure. Kevin the PRF in the building. Shout out Kevin, man. That's my guy right there. Day one. He said Will Fuller was a classic Porsche. Powerful, but always in the shop. I know that's right, man. And when he wasn't in the shop, man, he was getting into trouble off the field, man. He had a suspension a couple times and whatnot. Yeah, man. So Will Fuller, man, tough. And then Stan says Eli was top 3 in 2011. I'll go back and dig into that. I never once felt that Eli Manning was a top quarterback in the NFL. Like, I think in hindsight, a lot of people started to spread that narrative. Even in 2011, when we won that Super Bowl, man, that Super Bowl was so out of left field for me. And I think that, like, a big reason why he was having a big year was Victor Cruz, man. Victor Cruz was just, like, off the charts, man. He was just – it's so unfortunate, like, that the downfall of the New York Giants around 2014, you know, Victor Cruz is coming off the Super Bowl. He's the man. And they still went out there and drafted Odell Beckham. And I just always think about the potential of Victor Cruz and Odell Beckham, man, like what that could have been if Victor Cruz would have never torn the patella tendon, you know, in that primetime game, man, like that. We were so set up. Eli could have probably had another 5-6 years of greatness, man. And instead, you know, you had Odell Beckham pretty much trying to carry the team, you know, after 2014. I believe it was 2014 that Victor Cruz got hurt in October, like week 4 or something like that. And then Odell Beckham pretty much, you know, as far as wide receivers go, had to carry the team throughout the rest of the year, man. And it just, you know, that was never a recipe to really put up a lot of wins. And a lot of people say this. I saw, man, somebody posted a bar in a debate about Daniel Jones on Twitter. You know, somebody was talking about he needs OBJ. Get OBJ out there for him. And they were like, no, I don't want to bring OBJ back. He's a locker room cancer. And OBJ never won anything for the New York Giants. And homie chimed in and said, well, Daniel Jones hasn't won anything for the New York Giants either, so it'd probably be a perfect match. And I thought that was just such a bar, yo. That's such a great line because it's facts, man. Like, I thought that team with Saquon Barkley and Odell Beckham in 2018 was like, yeah, they were on their way. You know, they just needed a couple things. Offensive line was garbage. Defense wasn't that good. You know, didn't have too much help in that wide receiver room, but it was a foundation to build upon. You know, 2 superstars, Saquon Barkley and Odell Beckham, and then they drafted Jones in 2019, and you trade away your best weapon. I thought it was the most silliest thing that Dave Gettleman could have done. But thank God we got Dexter Lawrence out of that. You know, he is one, asterisk you can put next to that to say, hey, you kind of got something back in return for that trade. But now with Jabril Peppers, I think he's in New England right now, and I think the other pick was was that Lorenzo Carter or O'Shane Ximines? I always forget. Those 2 dudes are like one and the same to me. I think it was O'Shane Ximines, and he's coming around the corner. He's doing all right nowadays. But let's go with another giant overreaction here one time, man. Y'all showing up, man. Salute to everybody in the chat, man. This It's been a good discussion thus far, man, and a lot of good points from y'all, man. I wish one of these days I'm going to do like a 24-hour stream like my homie Bad Dog be doing, man, and we could literally go through everything, yo. So none of these comments get overlooked, but I'm sure y'all are having some good conversations in between time with each other in the chat, man. Salute to all of y'all in the building again, man. It means a lot to see Giants Nation show up after a big loss like that, man. That means a lot, though. All right, so let's get into this. Let's get into this next overreaction one time, man. This one's going to be very interesting. I'm definitely curious to see y'all thoughts on this one. So we were talking about playoffs, and this one came from a homie on Twitter, man, and a good point I thought he brought up, something that we could talk about on the show and whatnot. And I asked him, I was like, yo, can I use this for my show, bro? He was like, totally, man. So he says, I told him I would keep him anonymous. I'm sure he wouldn't have cared, but I was like, I'll keep you anonymous, bro. He said the Texans game denied the inevitable. The losses to the Lions and Seahawks combined with what will happen on Thanksgiving are the wheels coming off the car. Chat, y'all let me know what y'all thinking about this one. I'm about to cue up some beats here one time. This one's off the Color of Us, my last project. I played it during the intro. It's one of my favorite tracks, man. But let me know what y'all thinking. Do y'all think this is an overreaction? Let me see some O's in the chat if you think it's an overreaction. And let me see some U's in the chat if you agree with the statement on the screen. And if you need a little bit more time, maybe this Dallas game is not enough. Or I don't even know if I give y'all the option on the push. But if you want to take the push, go ahead and take the push one time, man. I'll let y'all get a little time to populate your thoughts, man. And we'll join in on this next discussion on this wheels falling off type of vibe one time. Yo, big shout out to Captain Joe King one time in the building, man. It's a new face in the building. Welcome to the fam, my brother. He said, hi, loving the stream. Quick question. My team, quarterback, Daniel Jones, running backs, Austin Eckler, Derrick Henry, and Rashad White. Wide receivers, Devontae and D-Hop. Tight end is Taysom Hill. That's funny as hell. Should I trade Eckler and D-Hop for Kelsey, Fields, and Kenneth Walker? Beard, where you at for this one, too? I want to know your thoughts on this one, too, Beard. I'm going to say, let me see. So we're talking, he's got Daniel Jones, Austin Eckler, Derrick Henry, and Rashad White. They're talking about trading Eckler and D-Hop for Kelsey, Justin Fields. Damn, I would definitely consider that, bro. I would definitely consider that. Damn, giving up D-Hop. See, the thing about Eckler, right? Eckler doesn't get a lot of rushing yards. I'm always clowning the Beard for this. I'm like, yo, Eckler is like literally redefining PPR fantasy, man. And it's a reason why I don't want to play fantasy leagues that are PPR, because this dude doesn't even rush for a lot of yards, man, but he gets it in the passing game for the Chargers. Man, look, I'm going to say I would pull the trigger. D-Hop is dealing with the quarterback play over there, the quarterback injuries over there with them. So I'm sure he's suffering. You know Kelsey is going to go crazy. You know that, right? You still got Derrick Henry over there, and you would pair him with Kenneth Walker. I think I make the trade, bro. I think I make the trade, man. I appreciate you pulling up, man. And for those of y'all that don't know, we do a fantasy show on Sunday mornings. It's called The Parlay, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time every Sunday, man. And we literally just go through lineups. We go through every game, man, and try to get everybody on a good page to be able to win some fantasy games. I played against my co-host on Sunday, and I'm up 0.2 points right now. So barring a miracle, like some fumbles from my tight end who's playing tonight, George Kittle, I'm probably going to get the W on that one, man. So definitely pull up to that show, Captain Joe King. I appreciate you pulling up. And if you dig in the vibes, man, hit that subscribe button, man. It'll go a long way for this channel. I definitely appreciate that, fam. All right, so back to this overreaction one time here, man. Texans game denied the inevitable. The losses to the Lions and Seahawks combined with what will happen on Thanksgiving are the wheels coming off the car. All right, so shout out my guy Mike Gorga in the building one time, man. Salute to you, brother. I'm trying, man. I'm trying. We're doing a pretty good job over here, man. It's been a lengthy session, man. This is gonna be one that folks gonna have to catch up on, man. We're gonna rock out for the day. I ain't got too much on the plate, man, so it ain't nothing. But appreciate you pulling up, Mike. Let me see. So Stan said, when the album coming? The album coming soon, bro. I'm just trying to iron out the next couple of tracks, man, get things right for it. Appreciate you, checking out for that and whatnot. Look at Zeke, man. Look at Zeke, boy. My man Zeke know his music, man. Yes. So listen, allegedly too, because I don't want the sample police to, pull up and try to take my tracks down. But so this is a new birth sample, allegedly. And it's been sampled by a bunch of people, man. There was a 90s group that sampled this joint for an R&B record. It was called My Love Is the Bomb. Only my OGs really gonna know about that record. But Zeke pulled the new birth sample, bro. Y'all, like, I got goosebumps that you know that sample off the top, because this is the crazy part about when I produced that record. Shout out to my homie Kingpin Slim from DC, one of the illest rappers in this whole area. Definitely check him out. It's Kingpin, like a pen you write with, Kingpin Slim. And I featured him on this record. But when I was producing this record, my girl was talking about the sample, and I heard this part at the end of the sample where I was like, damn, if I could get just that vocal, this will be so fire. And this gonna get a little nerdy, so football fans, just hang tight with me for a second. But so I use this software called Isotope Ozone RX, right? And what RX does is it allows you to kind of try to like pull instruments out from a sample. So it tries to separate a sample by using like phase detection to like put the vocals on one track, put the drums on one track, and then put the bass on one track and put the other instruments on one track. So I separated it with that software, pulled the vocal, replayed the bass line myself on the keyboard using a contact player. And yeah, man, it just came together. That track, and I called it All or Nothing after the name of my studio, because for one, I felt like it had that vibe. It had a vibe of like, give it your all or don't give nothing, right? And then it also was the track that sparked the album. It's the track that literally I was like, yo, I got one. I sent it off to the homie. He sent me his verse back in like 2 days, man. Kingpin Slim sent me that verse back. I was like, yeah, this was going to launch pad the whole album. So it sparked the whole album, man. I'm glad you recognized that sample, man. Been used a bunch in hip hop, man. It's been used a bunch, man. And yeah, I was excited about it, man. Like, I love when I can flip a sample, give it a kind of a new vibe. And I gave it some kind of some modern drums. I'm more on like some golden era hip hop stuff with an updated kind of a vibe. And I wanted to give that one like kind of a little bit of a southern kind of like, I wanted to hit like a trap beat a little bit. And that's why I use like mostly 808 sounds and a rim shot for the snare, man. So salute to you, Zeke. I'm you know your music, brother. Salute to you for that one. All right, so with this one, man, a lot of people saying it's an overreaction. We'll get to this one. We'll kind of get off into some more talking here about, some Thanksgiving kind of predictions here as far as going up against the Dallas Cowboys. Stephen Art says he taking overreaction. Only thing making the wheels fall off are injuries. This is the only game we weren't in on. Seattle and Dallas, we had a chance. This game is a wake-up call. Treat it as it is. Move on to Dallas. Yeah, man, I'm extremely worried about the Dallas game because of how they performed against the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, you saw how the Minnesota Vikings have been playing this whole entire year. They had one loss entering that Dallas Cowboys game, and that was to the Philadelphia Eagles, where they pretty much got beat in the first half. Pretty much. They got beat in the first half. It was 24-7 at halftime in that game. Philadelphia Eagles were up, and no one scored in the second half. The Eagles defense pretty much, held, the Kirk Cousins and the Vikings offense in check, and that game was over. So for me, the Vikings are a pretty impressive team. Me and the Beard are always talking about the Vikings. He's not sold. I'm kind of sold. I think they're gonna win the division. And at the beginning of the year, I thought they were gonna win the division. And that is what it's looking like one time. But I definitely feel you on this. You got to go into this one with like one game at a time. You can't really be looking at last week going, hey, the Detroit Lions put up over 30 points on this Giants defense, and looking at, the way that the Minnesota Vikings and, the Dallas Cowboys game panned out. And Dallas Cowboys, I think they put up 40 in that game. I think it was 40-3, man. I just looked up, and they just kept putting up points, man. That Cowboys offense was rolling. Tony Pollard is, man, he's looking crazy right now. He's looking like a real deal running back. So I'm worried, but, I agree. You gotta just, like, put all that to the side, fresh game plan, go into this one with a clean slate, and just try to go out there and get that W, man. That's what's most important for sure, man. So I definitely agree with you on that. The homie Duke one time in the building, Duke says this is an overreaction. Most Giants games have not gone as expected, good or bad. That's very true. The Detroit Lion game went as expected for me. I know a lot of Giants fans, they didn't they didn't think that Detroit was as serious as they was. Detroit was on my radar, man, because, even dating back to last season, man, the Beard is always hipping me up to a lot of players that come from college that he thinks are going to be, the transition to the NFL is going to be a bit easier for them. And Swift was a guy, and I don't know if y'all remember, Swift dropped like this easy gimme touchdown last season that could have won the Detroit Lions the game. Now, entering this year, they were the team that was on Hard Knocks. And you saw Swift was just a whole different guy. He was crying in the locker room on Hard Knocks in the preseason. Like, we're better than this. And it's unfortunate for that team that they've had such a slow start. I really hope that they can go on a run. I didn't want them to beat us, obviously, but I hope they can go on a run and, get in the mix, man, because I think the Detroit Lions are a good team as long as that defense can start to hold them down. And that's why they emphasized it in the draft, man. They went out there and they got Aiden Hutchinson. But I do agree with you on this. The games have not gone as expected, man. Like the Packers game, the Ravens game, both of those games to me were just like, whoa, what the hell? The Texans game went a little bit like I expected. But still, the Giants have not dominated one game all season. Shout out to Stan, who was showing me this. I think the Giants' point differential right now is +1. You know how fortunate we are to be sitting at 7-3 with a point differential of +1? That's ridiculous. That's like unheard of. It's very unheard of. But definitely agree with you, Duke, man. Shout out to Duke one time. I don't remember seeing Duke in the chat too much. I think Duke is a new face, man. So salute to you, brother. We definitely appreciate you pulling up, man, and welcome to the family. If you've been here for a while, we appreciate you rocking with us, man. And my man Deedon Shelton said, man, the sample is mean. Yeah, it's funny, man. Check it out, man. It's man, you know what? I'm gonna see if I can do a quick search on my drive real quick to tell you the song that I allegedly sampled for that one, because the vibe of the sample ain't nothing like the vibe of that beat. It's nothing like that vibe. Let me see here. It is I see the stems. I remember it had a really long title. I don't got the exact name of the sample. It's one of their most popular songs too. It's one of their most popular songs. That one ain't it. I got a bunch of New Birth on here. Nah, I can't. I don't got it. Damn, I thought I might have had it here with the name on it, but I don't got it. But if you just check out like a New Birth playlist, you'll see it. It'll be at the top. Like it's one of their biggest hits for real, man. So shout out to them. I thought it had a long title. I got so much New Birth on here. Yeah, I can't get the sample, man, but I appreciate the good words right there from you, man. Appreciate it. And Mike Gorga said where I'm getting the vocals is from the record. I used Ozone RX to rip that. And then shout out Steven Arts one time. He said you could tell Awthentik been working with Dreamville. This beat is definitely a beat Dreamville would eat on this. Yeah, I did a little bit of work with Dreamville. Studio sessions with Jid, with Boz. And then obviously the one that I use is anytime somebody's trying to flex on me on Twitter, I'm like, yo, you don't even know what I do for a living, bro. I had the session with J. Cole, and one of those records ended up making it to the offseason. So, man, shout out to the whole Dreamville. They're doing big things, man. Shout out to my homie Chaz French, too, man. He's a Dallas Cowboys fan. He's put me in a lot of rooms with a lot of people. And shout out to my homegirl Paris, who actually lined up that whole thing, man. It's wild how, like, things comes full circle. Like, Paris, I'd put her on to a studio with one of my students, and it came full circle, and she's the one that got me to J. Cole sessions and whatnot. It was super awesome, man. So shout out to all of them. Great folks from D.C. doing big things. Let me see what else. Let me see what y'all saying about this, too. Shout out No Mets, No Nets, No Jets one time in the building. He says, let's hope Dallas blew their load on the Vikings. Like, sub, and ring that bell. Yeah, man, we hope that, bro. We definitely hope that, man. Salute to No Mets, No Nets, No Jets in the building one time, man. I appreciate you supporting the channel, my guy. You always here rocking with us damn near every episode, man, and also supporting this channel with your wallet. That's major for us, bro. Thank you again, man. We definitely appreciate that, fam. And I definitely agree with what you're saying there, too. I'm just trying to see anybody. Jameson says he's going with the overreaction one time. Let me see what else y'all saying up in here. J-Mo, you've been in here for a minute, man. He said you're going to chill out in the bed and watch this right now. That's what's up, man. Rest up, man. He said you was feeling a little bit under the weather or something like that, too. Let me see. Alvaro's in the building, too. Shout out Alvaro, man. He's been rocking with us for a while. As the weeks go by, I think that the win versus the Titans was great. Oh, man, great way to start the season. If you don't get that win week one, man, the whole landscape of the season might have changed, for real. That win against the Titans week one was major. And I don't like to always be like, I told you so, but like I called that win simply off the fact that the Tennessee Titans normally start slow. That's the thing. If you look back at the season before this, they got blown out by the Cardinals on opening day by like 25 points or something like that. So I knew we had a chance. I tweeted out, I ain't scared of no Derrick Henry. And a lot of Titans fans, they didn't like that one too much. They were like, you going to see after this game. I even had a homie who he was like, yeah, I do a podcast. I bet you won't show face on the podcast after we beat y'all. I was like, bro, I'll subscribe right now. He sent me all the information. He subscribed to the channel. I subscribed to his channel. Straight crickets after that, dog. I ain't hear from that man from nothing. Unsubscribed from the channel and all that, I bet. But y'all know what it is. Breaking news from Chris Peace, too. Chase Young has been activated. That's awesome for Washington. Not so awesome for us, man. We got to see them twice later on this season, man, coming up real soon. And then Steven R. says, every game is different. Giants have been a second-half team all year. We can't wait till after halftime to get life. We need to get going in the first half. I would like the first quarter established. I would like the first quarter established run. Okay, so I get what you're saying there. You would like to establish the run and the pass in the first quarter. All year long, we've had problems establishing the run, especially in the first half. And, just putting up points on the board in the first half. I mean, like, it seems like the Giants just like to put up 7 points in the first half every game. Always a slow start. I do commend the coaching staff for their in-game adjustments and quarter-to-quarter adjustments, drive-to-drive adjustments for the most part this season. They do a good job of that. And it just seems like I bet you Brian Dable is going to go back to the same formula that he's had all year long, which is saving Saquon Barkley's gas for the second half. I bet you, because this game, they look like they tried to establish the run early and often, and it backfired on them. And then in return, you were forced to have Daniel Jones pretty much throwing the ball all the way from the second quarter to the end of the game. It's not the recipe for this personnel to be able to win games. I just don't agree with it. But sometimes you got to try things out, and you live and you learn. I don't know if there was some pressure from the fan base, but you know what a lot of people were saying last week? I'm sure y'all saw it. They were like, we need to throw the ball more down the field. 17 throws for Daniel Jones is not enough and all this stuff. Well, at the end of the day, we're winning games when Daniel Jones is not throwing the ball a lot, and he's doing a great job of game managing and using his legs to be able to put himself in position to make plays. So, for me, man, I'm right there with you, Steven. Like, we got to get out here, find a way to get early leads. I said that as far as one of my keys to the victory here for the Giants against the Detroit Lions was you got to get out to an early lead, man. You cannot allow these teams to get up on you at the half like that and think that that's going to be a winning success or a formula for success, coming back in the third and fourth quarter every damn game. It's not going to continue to work. It's just not going to work, and that's just what it is, man. So I definitely agree with what you're saying here, Stephen R. It's a good point. Shout out Nova Nebula in the building one time. Appreciate you rocking with us, fam. They could have very well blown their load, but by that logic, 4 days is more than enough time to get bricked up again and go for another round and beat it up again. Yo, that's crazy. That's mad funny right there. But that's a good point. And momentum. The momentum is riding with the Dallas Cowboys right now. Just imagine how you feel after you beat an 8-1 team like that. You on cloud 9 right now, man, which could backfire. It could very well backfire. I won't dismiss that. But at the same time, I think the Dallas Cowboys are like they're striding now, and they with Cooper Rush at quarterback throughout those games. Going 4-1, it saved them. It really saved their season, man, because if they would have been in a situation like how the New York Giants were in a situation last year where, quarterback goes down, Daniel Jones goes down, and you can't even get past midfield. Let's say the Cowboys don't go 4-1. Let's say they go 1-4. That record's going to be looking crazy right now. They're sitting at 7-3, just like the Giants. If you were sitting at 4 wins, 5 wins right now after getting Dak Prescott back, no, sir. You're not going. That's not the formula to be able to get to the playoffs. So I definitely agree with what you're saying here. Shout out to Nova for dropping some gems right there, man. And, bringing a little humor to the stream. That was hilarious. You said it's enough time to get bricked up again and go for another round. I know that's right. Yeah, the Sean G's digging that too. Gregory in the building, he said Dallas will be playing their third game in 12 days Thursday. Wow. Yeah, see, so that's something to think about too. And Gregory's a Dallas Cowboys fan, so he definitely keeping it funky, keeping it real here on Awthentik and the Beard, man. I definitely appreciate Gregory bringing that, that true knowledge from the Dallas Cowboys community, man, because I cover, the whole NFC East as best as we can. But y'all know, man, I have a keen eye for the New York Giants. I'm not really, that invested in the Dallas Cowboys. I kept peeking over at that game on Sunday, and I was just like, God damn, they running that scoreboard up. It was like 20, then 30, then 40. I'm just like, man. And then Washington doing the same thing. I'm just like, man, this is not the week for the Giants to be blowing a game. And the Philadelphia Eagles, man, you know, they were right there on the cusp of a loss. And then that man, Jalen Hurts, was just like, no, sir, it's not going to happen. So it was a tough week, man, where all the teams in the NFC East won except our New York Giants. So that's definitely going to make us feel like shit. And, you know, got to get up out this doghouse one time against these Dallas Cowboys and at least make it a game, man. I trust the coaches. I do think they're going to do a good job of preparing this team and getting them ready. But the injuries, like everybody been talking about, that's going to be a problem. It's definitely going to be a problem. And shout out No Mets, No Nets, No Jets one more time with that $4.99 super chat one time, man. I appreciate you, fam, rocking with us. He says, thoughts on how we get better at stopping the run. Maybe we should have signed Linval Joseph for depth. And depending on age, 4 days ain't enough. He said, depending on age, I know that's right. You're going to need some supplements or something like that. Get that mojo popping, man. Get your Austin Powers going. But as far as what we can do to get better at stopping the run, man, we're pretty strapped right now. It's tough. I mean, we have two great interior linemen, so it's kind of weird. Getting Azeez Ojulari back is definitely going to help. Kayvon Thibodeau, I think, has struggled a little bit in the run, you know, sealing the edge at times against teams who do like to run, you know, RPO or read option. And, you know, just sealing that edge, man, has been a little bit tough for him. But he's been decent at pass rushing, and he's doing some dirty work out there. He's trying to get, you know, more pressure on the quarterback. He's been doing a pretty good job of that this year. I know, like, when you look at the statistics as far as the sacks, it hasn't been showing up on the stat box and whatnot. But Thibodeau's doing a pretty decent job. And our linebackers, man, we're tough. You know, we need guys like Jalen Smith to step up, you know, and McFadden and Tate Crowder. All these guys got to step up, man, and just, you know, play better. And hopefully our coaching staff, you know, starting with Wink Martindale can, you know, do some things to adjust. I think Wink Martindale's been doing a really good job of that all year long. But we have been getting gashed against the run, man. It's been tough sledding to stop the run for the Giants. So, and these injuries definitely don't help. So I don't know, man. We'll see what they can do, man. You know, that's why Wink's getting paid the money and I'm over here chilling on YouTube, man, taking these super chats from my bro, No Mets, No Nets, No Jets one time, man. Salute to the gang. Y'all know what it is. All right, so let's see, man. I think we're a little bit caught up here. Let's go into this next overreaction. A lot of y'all said that this one was an overreaction. I feel you on that because still a lot of football left to be played, man. You know, but I'm gonna start to panic a little bit. I saw somebody say earlier that, you know, they're in panic mode right now. I'm not in panic mode yet. I told y'all I slept pretty good last night. I kind of expected this to be a loss. You know, you get a little bit fortunate in some of these other games earlier on in the year, and that fortune has to run out eventually, you know, and we saw a run out against the Detroit Lions on Sunday. We got to go back to the drawing board, find a way to win some games here, man. But let's get off into this this next overreaction one time, man. Let me see how many more I got here. I got one, two more. Oh, this one. I really want to see what y'all think about this one. Let's get into this next overreaction. This one came from YouTube right here. And it says, anyone watching football knows the Giants are playing the worst football in the division. When I saw this, I was just like, it got me real heated, right? Because we're like playing really good and we have a good record. But it's unfortunate that the NFC East everyone is playing better right now. What's y'all thoughts on this one? Do y'all think this is an overreaction? Let me see some O's in the chat if you think this is an overreaction. If you think this is an accurate statement, let me see some U's in the chat. And if you need the push, I'll give you the push on this one. Until maybe the end of the season, you need to see a little bit more out of the Giants or whatever. You can put the P in the chat. Let me know what y'all thinking on this one, man. We're going to cue up this latest vibe. This vibe kind of reminds me of the New Birth vibe a little bit. All right, so Gregory started off right off the bat, said this is way overreaction. That's coming from a Dallas Cowboys fan. That makes me feel a little bit better, Gregory. I'm going to keep it funky with you. I was entering this overreaction statement here on the screen, kind of leaning towards it a little bit. You know, like, Giants have been playing pretty decent, you know, but when I think about teams that have glaring weaknesses, right now the Giants, the run defense has been a problem, but the Dallas Cowboys have also been dealing with some run defense problems. The Washington Commanders offensively have not been playing great football like that, but neither have the New York Giants. Defensively, Washington right now, man, they looking like it's the Eagles defense and the Washington Commanders defense for me playing the best football. Now, Washington on offense also has some really good weapons when they're healthy. I think that's why they're starting to play a little bit better too. You're starting to see that the injuries are starting to, not catch up, and people are starting to get more healthy now, and they're finding ways. Dallas Cowboys, man, they on the up and up. They get Dak Prescott back, and they're looking really good too. I knew this one was going to be the kind of statement that might split the room. That's why I really wanted to bring this one up and see what y'all thoughts were. Chris Peace said, man, he don't know. He going to have to take the push on this one time. Shout out to homie Chris Peace, man. I love his profile pic, man. That look he giving right there in that profile pic, big salute, man. That's how I'm looking at the Giants this morning. Like, bro, what the hell's y'all doing? Shout out to Chris Peace, man. No Mets, no Nets, no Jets. He taking the overreaction on this one. What are we talking about? The last 2 weeks? That's not really a fair statement. That's a good point. Is it the last 2 weeks? Because if it's the entire season, I mean, Daniel Jones been playing really clean football the whole entire year, not turning the ball over, making plays with his legs. Saquon Barkley leading the NFL in rushing. Our pass attack, we already know, has been some garbage. That is what it is. Defensively, the Giants have been playing some good football. So I think that is a good point. Is it the last 2 weeks? Because I kind of read it and thought like, the last couple of weeks is what I felt like. I wasn't really going to take this back to like week 3, week 4. I'm thinking, probably the last couple of weeks. But I'll let y'all determine the factors, on it and how y'all want to judge it, to be honest. I do think that's a good point he brought up there. And for people who haven't voted yet, you could take that into consideration for sure. Shout out to Sam Costanzo one time in the building. That's a gangster name. I see the guitar. Hopefully you in the music as well, man. Sam is taking the under on this one, mostly due to injuries and no wide receiver talent. That's facts right there. Like, you brought up a really good point here that made me think of something too. When you think about the worst position group in the NFC East right now, the Giants wide receiver core is the worst group of any group across the whole division. That's facts right there. Bub said he taking the push one time. Let me see. Chris P said push. Worst play in division, but the best division in football. That's true. That's a good point. Even the worst playing team in our division is still pretty damn good because this division is doing fairly well. Stephen R. said he's taking the push. We have to see after these divisional games to determine that we are 0-1, but still 7-3. That's a good point too, man. The Giants have only played one divisional game the entire season. So the sample size is extremely small here as far as how many divisional games we've had. So I definitely feel you on that. James Ramon says the Cowboys have the same record. How dare they think they are any better? Yeah. I'd say, they had the same record, right? And this is why I really thought about that, what no Mets, no Nets, no Jets said. Like, are we talking the whole season? Are we talking right now? Because we don't got no impressive blowout wins. I mean, the Cowboys' blowout win on Sunday was the biggest blowout win of the season. No one has lost like that. So they're riding high right now off that 40-3 victory. And the Giants, we talked about this earlier, the point differentials +1. Wins and losses are the most important stat, for sure. But I think got to factor in some other things here about how we're winning and things like that. But I think this is a really good point. They do have the same record. Washington, on the other hand, has a worse record than us right now. And they've really only been playing well for like the last couple of games. Taylor Heineke comes into the lineup, man, and they are winning games right now. Last week's game, this Sunday, that one was won on the back of this defense, making big plays, forcing turnovers, man, and doing a lot to you wouldn't even have to worry about what the offense is doing. And I haven't done like a deep dive into that Washington game. I'm going to do that a little bit later today. But, I think, that would be what would make me say that this statement is an overreaction on the screen, is that Washington has not played football, hasn't played better football than the New York Giants throughout the year, but as of recent, they probably are. I see Bubs taking the push, J-Mo taking the push. Gregory said that the Eagles are running out of steam. It kind of looks like that, but the Indianapolis Colts, man, are such a very hard team to gauge, bro. Like, they're in games. It's so weird. They'll go out there and tie a team like the Texans, but then they'll beat a team like the Chiefs, and then they'll go out there and compete against a team like the Philadelphia Eagles. But I will say this, the whole entire NFC East is a little bit inflated because the schedules that we have been fairly favorable, So I will say that, like, the Eagles sitting at, 8-1 now? Maybe, are they 8-1 or 9-1? They're 9-1 now. Eagles sitting at 9-1. Giants, Cowboys at 7-3. Commanders at 6-5. though all those records feel a little bit inflated. Each of those teams got to play Chicago, who's, not playing that great of football. I won't call it quite a cupcake schedule like I have in the past. I'll adjust that a little bit and just say that it's been a bit of a favorable schedule. And I do think that the Eagles are like coming back down to earth here a little bit. Where teams are starting to study the tape, starting to see what they're doing. And they're not the powerhouse that I think that everybody thought when they were sitting at, an undefeated record. John Kim said he taking the O for this one. Hell no. Stan says he's taking the push. It seems we peaked early while the rest of the division heating up. Best way to sum it up. Stan, you a smart brother, man. You a real smart dude, bro. Like, yeah, that's the best way to sum it up. And whether we think it's an overreaction, a push, or we taking the under, I think that's still the best way to sum it up. And you've got to come to the determination of, are you factoring in the whole year? So, like, no Mets, no Nets, no Jets. Stan, take those two comments, put them together. I think we got some gems there right there. We got some gold. Kevin the PRF says, Awthentik, we still got the worst interior O-line in the league, much less in the division. I did overlook that, but we got the best left tackle in the whole damn game. That's probably why I overlooked it. But that's another great point too, man. Our offensive line is definitely struggling. Washington was struggling with some offensive line problems as well too. They're getting a little bit healthy, and they've looked a little bit better in the last couple of games, but their offensive line's not looking that great either. Let me see something here. Oh, okay, so we got 1-1 World Cup, 83-minute mark. Shout out to the Beard one time, sending out some tweets out there. Caden Wade says it's an overreaction for sure. The Moore family says it's an overreaction as well. I don't think we're playing the worst. Our run game has been great, and the defense has been opportunistic. I think we have the least talent of all the teams, though. That's facts too. Another great thing to factor in. Our roster is not the best roster in the division. Offensively, we definitely do not have the best weapons in the division. We got the best running back in the division. That's about it. But outside of that, yeah, I feel you. The personnel's tough. Let me see what else we got up in here. I want to see what this one is from No Mets. He said we could have had a solid wide receiver group, but the new regime came in and clipped Kenny's balls. Shout out to No Mets, man. Yeah, that whole thing about, like, you got to prove, to this coaching staff, like, you deserve playing time and all that shit. That was real JV like. That reminded me of some Joe Judge shit, to be honest. But at the end of the day, I think, they're doing a fairly decent job, but, like, they're trying to – I think they looked at Kenny Galladay and was like, that's not the fit of what is supposed to be the perennial number one on our offense. And it's showing, like they kind of showed you that, like, they're not invested in Kenny Galladay. Kenny Galladay will probably be out of here next season. That's definitely not going to surprise me. Let me see. I'm just scrolling here, man. My man Stan says NFC gets a rude awakening playing the NFC West and AFC East next year. Yeah, that's going to be tough. That's definitely going to be tough. This year, man, that schedule, especially for the Giants, who finished in, I believe we finished 4th place last year. That schedule was definitely favorable for sure. Let me see what else. Just scrolling, catching up with y'all. My man SHU Carter in the building one time. Salute to the gang. What's going on, fam? He said, looking at the rest of the schedule, how do you see the record playing out? This is a great question. And if y'all want to, chime in on this one in the chat as well, you guys can do that as well, man, and let us know what y'all think. I'm going to take a look at all the games. I know we got 2 against the Commanders. You got 2 against the Eagles, 1 against the Cowboys on Thursday, and Minnesota Vikings and the Colts, I believe. Is that what it is? Yeah, and the Colts. All right, so I hate doing these because I'm always wrong on these, but I'll try. So I'm going to say that this is going to let the cat out. I'm going to save the Cowboys Thursday game. I'm going to say that one. We'll do all the other games because then y'all don't have no reason to tune in on Thursday. Make sure y'all pull up on Thursday for the preview show, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And tomorrow we're going to be recapping every NFC East game. So I'll save the Cowboys Thursday game. But outside of that one, I think we can split with the Commanders. So that'll be 1 win, 1 loss. I just think the Eagles are going to beat us. So that'll be 2 losses. We match up well against the Vikings if we can run the ball. I'll go split between the Vikings and the Lions. I mean, not the Lions, the Colts, between the Vikings and the Colts. Yeah, so that's 5 games right there, right? And there's 6 left, right? There's 7 left. So I'm missing 1 other game. Split with the Commanders. Oh, yeah, the Cowboys. The Cowboys is the one I left out, right? So split with the Commanders. Eagles beat us. Vikings beat us. We'll beat the Colts. Y'all are going to hate me. I think the Eagles are going to sweep us. So we're looking at 4 losses, 2 wins for me. God damn, it's going to come down to that Cowboys game on Thursday so bad. We got to win that game. All right, for the sake of argument, I'll say we beat the Cowboys on Thursday. Oh God, that don't even sound right. I'm going to do more research on that Cowboys game. I can't say that indefinitely, but just for the sake of the argument, I'll say 3 wins, 4 losses. And that would put the Giants at, what, 10-6? 10-7, sorry, 17-game season. So 10-7, yeah. I'm more leaning towards that 9-8, though. I got to keep it real with y'all. Gregory says, I disagree with you, Awthentik. Giants will split the Eagles, maybe sweep the Eagles. Damn, for real, man? Dude, I don't know how we're going to stop that offense, man. And their defense is really good. They have been having trouble stopping the run, so Saquon Barkley should be able to eat. I don't know, man. I'm worried about the Cowboys. I'm worried about the Eagles. I'm worried about the Vikings. Hopefully we can get 2 wins against the Commanders. I'm going to be at probably both of those games, too. Shout out to Yam in the building one time. Yam repping us all the way from Japan in the building. How did the Vikes get beat so bad but Vanilla Butter Mike McCarthy or bye? Makes no sense other than Kirk. Yeah, that game was interesting, man. I want to say it was a 4 o'clock game. Was it a 4? Yeah, I think it was a 4 o'clock game. If it was a 4 o'clock game, that explains it all. Kirk Cousins, man, outside of that 1 o'clock window is just not the same quarterback. And they just, man, the pressure that they were putting on Kirk Cousins early on in that game, he had no time, man. I don't know where and how Dallas Cowboys front got so vicious overnight like that. Maybe one of our Cowboy homies can fill me in on that. Maybe the homie Gregory. Like, their front just, I saw like the first quarter of that game and just pretty much tuned out. Their front was just all over the place, man. It was crazy. Dang, and Sean G with a great update there saying that Richie James did not practice today with a knee injury. Wide receiver room, man. Might need you to tell your fam you're going to be in Dallas for Thanksgiving playing wide receiver. I know that's right, but this is the thing. If I played wide receiver, I would never run no slants, no digs, no comebacks, no hook routes, no post. All I'm running is the 7 route and the 9 route. And I'll run a stop route. I'll run a little stop route. That's it. The goal, if I'm playing wide receiver, is do not get tackled, yo. Do not get tackled. I'm like 6'1", 160 something. I can't be out there taking no NFL hits, bro. Hell no. Hell no. But I definitely feel you, man. With Richie James out, it's definitely gonna be tough. But yeah, man, I'm gonna dig into that game, man. So if you're available tomorrow, pull up, man. 7 p.m. we'll be here. We're gonna be breaking down the NFC East. I'm gonna deep dive into that game and really look at where it went wrong. But right off the bat, the pressure that was on Kirk Cousins in the beginning of that game was just ridiculous, man. He had no time to do nothing. And the Vikings were coming off a really big win, man, against the Bills, man. So they're no slouch. Cowboys went out there and they beat a good team. And they were on the road, I believe. So that's important to me, and it's really why I'm really worried about this game. Shout out to the homie Stan. He says, shout out to Mikey said 66 on Twitter. He said, Giants fans who think Philly is resting their starters week 18 with a chance to ruin the Giants season forget how deep this rivalry is. Yeah, that's real. The rivalry is deep. And the Eagles are going to need some wins, man. Like the race is getting a little bit closer. So I think it really all depends. If there's nothing on the line, I don't know. I feel like resting players is not smart. Like, it just seems like, I remember the Packers did it as the number 1 seed last year, went out there, got beat first round, second round technically because they got to bye. But you just can't do that. Like, I'd play players, man. I go off that Tom Coughlin, kind of model of like, yeah, man, we don't care if we're already in the playoffs and this game is meaningless. It's just a week to get better, man. Go out there and play. And if guys get hurt, man, that's what it is. It's a tough sport, man. You got to go out there. You just hope to not lose your quarterback. And, especially if the game starts to get a little out of reach or you got a good lead, then maybe you can start taking some players out. But I kind of agree with you, Stan. I think they're going to come out there and they're going to try to win that game for sure. All right, so as far as anyone watching football knows, the Giants are playing the worst football in the entire division. Yeah, I'm going to say it's a push. I'm going to take a push on this one because I think y'all brought up some really good points in the chat. like, if you're talking about like the whole season, then yeah, that's not the case. Ain't it funny when somebody says like you know, like you don't know football, and then they say some dumb shit? It's kind of funny. I think it's like you can't really say that about the Giants. We've been playing some really good football. That's why we're sitting at 7-3 right now. Yeah, we had a bad game. We've had a couple of bad games. 2 out of our last 3 games have been pretty bad. But you know, I think that they're going to be able to find a way to kind of finish out this season. And we did that little prediction on, you know, finishing out the year. I got the Giants probably at 9-8, 10-7 maybe. But somebody said this earlier. I forget who it was, but the Giants games have not gone according to schedule of like what we thought they would go like. And I'm hoping that, you know, we get some more of that in a positive manner, and the Giants can go out here and win a couple games. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to SHU Carter. One time he says, if there is a path of victory against the Cowboys, what do you think it could be? I don't see a victory. I'm going to keep it real. I feel you on that. I'm kind of right there with you, Carter. Like, the path is going to be Saquon Barkley. You got to find a way to get him going. And I think, like, you know what we didn't see? We didn't see Saquon Barkley utilized in the passing attack. What's up with the screens, man? That's the one thing I'll say about Mike Kafka. No screen plays for real for Saquon Barkley. And no short passing attack, man. Like, I want to see a little bit more, you know, some stop routes with some wide receiver screens, some screens for Saquon Barkley. You know, try to get Saquon out there on some one-on-one matchups. And Darius Slayton, I like what Darius Slayton is doing in the receiving game. He's doing a really good job, man, stepping up, doing some things. But I'd like to see him, you know, involved in the caliber of stretching the field, man. Like, yo, let's get some deep shots, man. We were seeing single high safety all day long. It's extremely easy to scheme up for single high safety and at least try to take some shots, man. You'll at least get some one-on-one matchups, man. Like, you can literally run like 4 vertical concepts, 3 vertical concepts. You can run like, concepts where you have like a post from the slot and a fly from the outside when you have single high safety. And you'll get a chance at some one-on-ones. I'd like to see a little bit more of that. But the screen game has been non-existent, and that's kind of bothering me. That's the one thing that is kind of bothering me. Where was Saquon Barkley in this passing attack? Yeah, they were stopping him in the running department there, but like, find a way to get that man the ball, you know? And Yam says, this is a dumb statement. Where is this from? I mean, the Giants would be in first place in most other divisions right now. It depends, man, you know, because other divisions have different schedules. You know, but this statement was from, let me double check real quick because I always screenshot them. This one was from Twitter. So if you want to like search the keywords, you can find out who it was and you can go jump in their mentions, you know, and bring that smoke for them one time. But shout out to Yams one time in the building, man. All the way from Japan. Salute to you, fam. My man Bub's in the building. He said at this point they need to just let Galladay do his thing and throw something up to him. Yeah, I mean, so Galladay in this game on Sunday, he only had the 2 targets. Like, I just don't understand that. Like, you've been trying to get Galladay going the whole damn season, and we're getting blown out in the 4th quarter, right? Why isn't that time to just test some shit? Like, try something. Like, go out there and just sling it. Like, that game was completely out of reach in the 4th quarter late there. As soon as, what's my man's name? Isaiah Hodgins. When Isaiah Hodgins fumbled it, that game's done. When you get the ball back, man, take some shots to my guy, man. It's like they don't want to get him involved in the offense. I've been talking about this forever, right? Like, let me go to Kenny Galladay real quick. Take a look at his career stats real quick, because when he was in Detroit, man, when he was thriving, it was all about targets, man. I don't understand why this guy's not getting targets. So when Kenny Galladay had the back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, he was over 115 targets in both of those years. He had 70 receptions in 15 games on 119 targets in 2018 with 1,063 yards and 5 touchdowns. Then he had, in 2019, 65 receptions on 116 targets for 1,190 yards and 11 touchdowns. That was the year he led the league in receiving touchdowns, right? Excuse me. And, then he comes back. He's hurt the next year in Detroit in 2020, but the first year that the Giants signed him, his targets go down damn near in half. He's at 76 targets, man. He's not going to thrive like that. He had 37 receptions, 521 yards, and 0 touchdowns. Like, it's going to be a damn shame if Kenny Galladay doesn't finish off this season and he doesn't have 1 touchdown in his whole entire tenure with the New York Giants. This year, he's got 10 damn, man. That's so just disheartening, man. And yeah, he's been dropping passes and all that shit, but like, man, like, the dude, like, you got to get him into a rhythm, man. You got to get him into a rhythm. And I will say this, man. I put this on my Twitter, right, when Kenny Galladay was playing, what was that, 2 weeks ago against the Texans, right? And he had that drop. First, he had the one that I wouldn't even call a drop, but everybody was calling it a drop. It was like his arms were kind of stretched out, and it was like way out on his right hand, on his fingertips, right? And people called it a drop. And the whole damn stadium started booing. So I tweeted out right then. I said, man, yo, MetLife needs to support this dude, not just be booing him at any damn chance they get to boo him. And I know it, like, when you're looking at the game from being at the game, you can't see those details. You just see the ball hit him. You're like, he dropped it. I get it, right? But one thing I got to commend the fan base at MetLife. When he caught that pass on Sunday against the Detroit Lions, the whole damn stadium erupted. I felt great about that, man. I was like, that's what I'm talking about, man. You know, people always like, you know, they always say, you know, I had somebody tell me today, you're a Tyrod Taylor stan. And I didn't even respond, but in my head, I was like, yeah, he's a player on my team, bro. I'm a stand for everybody on my team. I want all these players to excel and do well. Why would I be like, I want Daniel Jones to play like absolute dog shit? Like, why would I do that? It just doesn't make any sense to do that. My whole thing is like, I want our players to do well while they're here. If Kenny Galladay's not here next year, so be it. That's cool. But while he's here, I want him to ball out. He got 10 targets on the season, man. He's been dressed for 6 games. That's like 2 targets a game, bro. How is he supposed to get into a rhythm? His longest reception of the year is 15 yards. To me, it's like, it's unfortunate and it's unfair a little bit too that he's having to deal with that. You know, like, this dude comes from a culture where he was getting the ball, man, and now he's not getting the ball at all. What he thrived on in Detroit, those catches where he would go up vertical, man, to get the ball. Go look at Kenny Galladay's 2019 highlights. It's like you're looking at a totally different damn receiver. They're not giving him those opportunities now because, and I get it, they're dealing with a quarterback that they do not want him to turn the ball over. I get it. The Giants are in no position to be able to just be throwing Kenny Galladay the ball. So I get it. It is fair. I do get it, right? And it's just not a match made in heaven. It's an awful matchup, and it just didn't work out. Like, when I look at it in hindsight, Dave Gettleman probably should have never signed Kenny Galladay because they see Daniel Jones every day, and they know what's going on with Jason Garrett and with Joe Judge and the emphasis on trying not to turn the ball over. I know that now, but in 2020, I didn't know that. In 2021, I really didn't know that. I'm just thinking, man, go get my guy, number 1 wide receiver. Daniel Jones going to thrive. And we see it's just not a good match. It's really not a good match because you're trying to save a quarterback's career at the same time winning games. And Kenny Galladay's just been, you know, definitely not the beneficiary of this situation, man. If anything, he's been on the opposite end of that. It's been awful for him. I feel for him. And he said it in the presser a couple weeks back, like, it's the most trying time of his entire career. I hate it. I hate it for him. It's so difficult. And I know a lot of people look at these players like, man, they Madden characters created in a video game. Man, these are humans, man. I really feel for Kenny Galladay. I'm like, God damn, it was great to see him get 2 catches, but I really want to see this guy get into a rhythm like how we saw Wan'Dale Robinson get into a rhythm this past week. Like, that was great. It was so good to see Wan'Dale really get it. And then I see people today like saying like, oh, we should have never drafted. We should have never drafted a wide receiver who's 5'8" or 5'7", whatever Wan'Dale is. And I'm just like, damn, like, y'all wait till the dude gets injured to confirm your fake take on a guy like Wan'Dale Robinson. Well, he had a 100-yard game. Who's the last wide receiver to have a 100-yard game for the New York Giants? Probably Darius Slayton. I couldn't even tell you. Like, just seeing 100 yards in the stat box is just crazy to me. But let me see what y'all are saying on this too as well. Because I think that's a really, it's just an unfortunate situation, man, for the Giants. Like, I get it, man. Daniel Jones comes out, rookie year, he's slinging that ball, but he's turning it over left and right. The next 2 years, you're trying to clean it up. It seems like Kenny Galladay was tailor fit for Jason Garrett's offense, but that was in a time when Saquon Barkley's coming off the knee injury, and we didn't have a running game clicking. So it's definitely tough. But let me see. Stephen R. said, They have thrown more jump balls to wan'dale than to Kenny Galladay. We are talking about a 5'8" wide receiver versus 6'4" wide receiver. Is Kenny Galladay not catching in practice after 2 seasons? You still don't have chemistry? I know, that's weird. And I think if he was like, dropping a lot of passes in practice, they wouldn't give him chances out there on the field, I don't think. They're seeing things in practice where they're like, okay, let's put him out there. And he's been hurt. He's definitely been hurt. That's the thing. Shout out to Perry Mack one time. Perry Mack says, is it fair to say if you don't expect the ball, it's a surprise when it comes? A little bit, but they are professionals where, like, man, you should be expecting it every time. I want to make a good point on that, too. We've been rapping for a little bit, and I'm definitely like, a little parched. But, you can look at it as a good example of that, like not being ready for the ball. Look at Christian Watson for the Green Bay Packers, right? 2 times in his he had 2 back-to-back big games. Shout out to the Beard. He called the first one. He had the first game where he had 4 receptions for 3 touchdowns. He almost had another touchdown. The one that he didn't catch, because I think he had 4 receptions on 5 targets, right? The one that he didn't catch, he was running the fly route, and it looked like he thought he was just like a decoy kind of, right? So when he got to the top of the fly route where you would normally like get ready to get the ball and look back, he looked back, and he almost thought he wasn't getting the ball, and the ball kind of got lost in the lights, and you saw him kind of like have a hiccup moment where he like stopped and then tried to turn the burners back on, and then the ball kind of hit off his arm, and it was like just a little bit out of his reach. Same thing happened to him last week in his big game as well when they beat the Dallas Cowboys. Same exact thing happens. You got to be prepared and be ready as a wide receiver in this league at all moments. You have to be. Otherwise, you shouldn't be out there. So I will say, like, I feel where you're coming from a little bit on that, Perry Mack, but at the same time, you got to find a way to just be prepared and be ready. The crosser route that he dropped 2 weeks ago, you cannot be dropping passes like that in the NFL. You cannot. I know he's in a little bit of a slump. I think a lot of it is mental, and I'm hoping that KG can, get it together for these last games, because if the Giants want to win a couple of these games, especially versus the NFC East, 5 of these games coming up against the NFC East, 5 of the last 7, Kenny Galladay's got to find a way to get in the mix. Got to find a way to get in the mix. Oh, my God, the Beard just dropped a nugget on us. That's the last 100-yard game from a wide receiver before Wan'Dale Robinson was Kadarius Toney against Dallas, where he broke the rookie record. He had 189 yards in that game. That's wild. If that's the truth, that is so wild, yo. Bubs in the building one time says, Galladay will never be open. That's not his game, LOL. Facts right there. He says he's a contested catch guy. Put the ball in a spot where only he can get it and watch him work. That's how he does. He's the kind of guy that'll shield off defenders with his body, man, and sometimes that's why he gets hurt. Man, I seen Kenny Galladay jump up for passes where he looked like he's laying on a couch when he midair. He's literally horizontal in the air making catches. He was a straight dog when he was with the Detroit Lions, and now it just looks like he's just a shell of himself right now, and that's unfortunate. I know it's not just Kenny Galladay. It's a circumstantial type thing. It's the quarterback. It's the offensive line not being able to give the quarterback the type of time that a guy like Kenny Galladay needs to get down the field to run those skinny post routes, those big fly routes, and they're just not working them. It looks like they're not trying to get him the ball. But now you got Wan'Dale Robinson out for the year. You already got Sterling Shepard out for the year. Bunch of injuries. My man just told me that Richie James did not practice today. Yo, Galladay, this your window, man. Go out here. Yo, I will be in Daniel Jones' ear, bro. Like, bro, anytime you need something, I'm right there. I would try to be Daniel Jones' best friend because you need to get the ball from this kid. That's the bottom line. And I know Kenny Galladay is very, very capable of doing this, man, definitely. And then Stephen R. says, really, it isn't Kenny Galladay's fault. It's more of DJ turnover woes before Galladay got here. That's why he can't trust Galladay. So he thinks I can't afford a turnover than trust him with the ball. That's really it, or with jump balls. It's definitely a portion of it is that. I won't say it's all that, right? Because at the end of the day, you got to make the throws you got to make. Sometimes people are not open, and you got to just make those throws. I've seen Daniel Jones do that. I've seen him try to fit the ball in a tight window. Man, he had that 3rd down and 15 in this game where Wan'Dale Robinson caught it right at the sticks. I was like, golly, tight window, extremely tight window. And he figures out a way to get that ball there, man. Like, I really can't pinpoint it exactly, but I know a portion of Kenny Galladay suffering in this offense. It definitely has a lot to do with the turnovers. I think Stephen R. you definitely reiterating a great point right there. Yeah, and real people says sad because we lost them to ACLs. Yeah, and that means they're not going to be here at the beginning of the year. You know, you got Sterling Shepard and now Wan'Dale Robinson both out with big injuries. Sean G adding to the Kenny Galladay talk. He says, I believe was the last 100-yard game week 4 against the Saints. Oh, Kenny Galladay. Yeah. Did Kenny Galladay have 100? Kenny Galladay might have had 100. He definitely might have had 100 that game. You're right about that. You're definitely right about that. Let me see. I want to double check that. Because it's probably the Kenny Galladay game, and then before that is probably Kadarius Toney. That is probably correct. Let me see. I got to go to Pro Football for that one. And we chilling. I appreciate y'all rocking with me today, man. We gonna get everything we gotta get out today, man. We gonna talk about it all, man. I still got one more reaction before we get up out of here. So I'd say we probably got about another good 20 minutes at least of the show left, man. And again, man, I definitely appreciate Giants Nation pulling up, man, rocking with me today, man. We get to, blow off a little bit of steam, man, and just, vent a little bit, man, because that loss on Sunday was extremely tough, man, and just difficult to watch, man. Very difficult to watch. Let me see here. So we here, and we are scroll down here a little bit. Galladay. Okay, here we go. Game logs. That's going to be from 2020. God damn you, ads. What is that? Come on. Get rid of this ad. What's going on? There we go. All right, so 2021 game logs by Kenny Galladay. Yup, that Saints game, 116 yards. That's probably the last 100-yard game from a wide receiver. That's wild, man. One a year, that's what we looking like, or 2 a year, I guess. That's just not the vibes, man. Yo, he said, make sure y'all remind Awthentik to stay hydrated. I'm trying, man. I've done gone through 2 cups already, man. Definitely been doing a lot of rapping up here, man, for 3 hours already, man. Salute to y'all. And salute to the beer for rocking with us too, man. We trying to lean him over to this blue a little bit, man. Turn him into a Giants fan. Y'all know what it is. And make sure to pull up tomorrow, man. We're going to be doing the recap of the whole entire NFC East, man, for all 4 games that happened this past weekend. Let me see. Stephen R. says they want crossers and drags with him, which is not his game. He isn't a speed wide receiver. Down the field jump balls, fades, post corners, and stop routes. Those are my favorite routes too, man. I love that post corner. I used to dog people on that post corner. I'll give them 2 and 3 jab steps as I'm leading up to the route. I swear to God, you couldn't cover me on the post corner. You could not cover me on the post corner. That was one of my favorite routes, man. And the fly route, I used to like a good down, out, and up too, man. Good little double route, double move on the route, man. People fall for that all the time too, man. But you're right about this, Stephen Arts. That's nothing but facts right here. Yeah, and ENA Got Time is reiterating that one too, man, giving us the stats on that. 6 catches, 116 yards, man. I appreciate y'all pulling up these stats and whatnot. John B in the building, man. Shout out to the legend Tupac right over here over my left. Y'all can't see it, but I got Tupac right here. I got my man Kendrick and my homie Chaz French right here. We got Nipsey Hussle right here. We got Bob Marley right here. 3 images. We got Jay Dilla right here. We got Biggie right over there, man. One day I'm gonna give y'all a tour of the studio, man. But nothing but legends in here one time. But I definitely agree with you on this, John B, man. A lot of people been talking about Marvin Harrison Jr., man, balling out, doing big things right now in college, man. So we definitely need a wide receiver. That's going to be very, very important moving forward, man, for the Giants. And we're right back to square one, man. This is where we were. I was crossing my fingers with the 11th pick that the Giants were going to be able to get Devonta Smith. And, the Eagles and the Cowboys decided to jump us. And yeah, they, teamed up. And we had to trade out of that spot, man. And we definitely missed out on a couple players. I mean, Michael Parsons was right there for us. And we ended up drafting Kadarius Toney, and that didn't work out. I actually had I was filming when we drafted Kadarius Toney during that draft. I never released the video. I went back and I looked at it the other day, and my reaction was kind of like, yeah, I'm cool with it. Like, oh, that's a good pick. I was kind of like, I'm with that. And, man, it just did not pan out. And, Kadarius Toney, a lot of people were thinking that might have been a mistake to trade him away this year, but it seems like at least they got some value back from him. And Kadarius Toney right back injured, man, with that hamstring injury, still giving him problems, man. It's unfortunate because the Kansas City Chiefs really could use some help at wide receiver. That's for damn sure. Yeah, you already know, John B. You already know, bro. You already know. That's what it is, man. Shout out John B, man, for showing up, showing some love to the stream too, man, bringing some value to this joint one time, man. That's what's up. So let's see, man. All right, so we got one more overreaction, man, and then I'll get y'all up out of here, man. It's been a good vibe. I'm definitely feeling a lot better about this game. Like I told y'all, I slept pretty decent yesterday too, man. I kind of expected, this game to go a little bit like this when I woke up on Sunday morning because, that Detroit offense, man, they're nothing to mess around with, man. They got a lot of weapons over there, and I think a lot of people just be sleeping on Jared Goff, man. Like Jared Goff, he's a decent quarterback, man. He can get things done. And, I think not enough people are talking about the matchup. Like, it was a very similar matchup, Jared Goff, Daniel Jones. They both have very similar skill sets. Daniel Jones definitely has the mobility advantage. But I like Jared Goff as a quarterback, man. He gets rid of the ball quick. He made some throws, man, where I was like, dang, dude was like scrambling to his left, flipped his hips, man, made this little 10-yard throw on the outside on the sideline. I was like, this guy's really slinging the ball. I like Jared Goff as a quarterback. I think it's a bad rap, just like we were talking about earlier about quarterbacks, getting like not like too much pressure, but catching too much flack, when things go wrong. But then when things go right, they're the beneficiary, which is strange with Jared Goff because all the time through all what the Rams were doing when he was, taking them to a Super Bowl, whether you think it was on his shoulders or not, winning games and whatnot, people were actually discrediting Jared Goff throughout that whole time. And then when he got traded and Matthew Stafford comes in there and he wins the Super Bowl, it looks like Jared Goff, that was like the wrong move to draft him and probably the right move to trade him. But I still think Jared Goff's a pretty solid quarterback, man. I like what he brings to the table. He's the kind of guy that we were talking about free agent quarterbacks earlier. If he was a free agent, he'd be the kind of guy that I'd be like, he could challenge. He could definitely challenge a guy like Daniel Jones. I wouldn't be very likely to bring him in just because he's too similar to that kind of skill set. And you want to raise the bar for what the ceiling could be at the quarterback position if you're going to try to strip away Daniel Jones' legs from him and bring in another quarterback. So but I do like Jared Goff, man. I think he catches a bad rap. I'm definitely a big fan of his, man. And I hope the Lions can make a run. They're that team that I want to see make a little bit of a run. And I'm still kind of invested in the Packers a little bit too. I haven't counted out Aaron Rodgers. I like what I'm seeing with Christian Watson. Aaron Jones is still doing damage on the ground. They haven't really had much success getting things going with A.J. Dillon. He's definitely he's regressed this year a little bit, and I don't know why that is. Could be because their passing attack is not as prominent as it once was, but I definitely like to see the Green Bay Packers get back in the mix. It won't yield well for the Giants like that, but I'm just a fan of Aaron Rodgers, man. He's another one that I feel like people give him a little too much shit, and I like his style of play. Deserves another run. He's representing for them OGs too, man, and I represent for them OGs crazy. Chris P says, "Dear KC, thanks for taking Tony. We will give you KG for a 4th and a 6th. That's a good one right there. We'll see how that all pans out, man. There's a lot of football left for Kadarius Toney, and I always tell people I wish him well, man. I hope Kadarius Toney goes off in Kansas City. He's in an ideal situation. He just got to get healthy, man. Just definitely got to get healthy. But let's get to this next giant overreaction, man, and then I'll make sure to get y'all up out of here. Again, appreciate y'all rocking with us, man, for today, man. It's been a good show, man. Getting a lot off our shoulders today. Great conversation from the chat. I want to do that a little bit more often on these giant overreactions. Sometimes we get so caught up in trying to present a good show and bring overreactions and whatnot that we're missing out what's going on in the chat, and the chat be booming on these shows. So, man, big salute to y'all for pulling up, man. The parlay show that was on Sunday was a very similar vibe, and I talked to the Beard about that too. I was telling the Beard, I was like, man, I really like the way we started off that parlay show, man. Like, we did a lot of questions, a lot of people's lineups. We were just talking about different scenarios, different situations, what player over what player, and it was just a really good, informative show, not only for the fan base or for the fam in the chat, but for me and the Beard, man, on the panel. Like, it was really cool, man. I had a good time on that show, and I'm definitely having a good time today. Talking this Giants L to the Detroit Lions, man. So let's get into this last one. It's only fitting we talk about this to round off the show. This will be a good one to go into. All right, so this one. The Giants' start to the season was just too good to be true, and this comes from a Giants fan on Twitter. He said, the Giants' start to the season was just too good to be true. I don't see my Giants in the playoffs. Let me know if y'all think this is an overreaction one time, man. I'm going to give y'all just a little bit of time to get your mind right and whatnot, man, and come in with these votes. Y'all let me know what y'all thinking. Y'all think the Giants going to be in the playoffs? If you think the Giants are going to be in the playoffs, let me see some O's in the chat. If you agree with this statement on the screen from what sounds to be like a disheartened Giants fan, I feel for you, brother. I know it was a big loss. If you agree with this statement on the screen, let me see some U's in the chat, man. We'll get this one out the way, man, and then we'll try to wrap this up and get y'all up out of here. Let me know what y'all thinking one time. All right, let's see what we talking here real quick, man. I'm doing the most multitasking right now. Y'all know what it is. All right, so let's go. We got a lot of overreactions today, man. I like it, man. I like it. So, yeah, 4 to 5 weeks, no Adoree. That's going to be a big problem for sure, man. SHU Carter said should do a after dark or after hours talk episode would be some solid content. You can, the Beard will vouch for this too. I definitely been thinking about doing like a late night show. I like to do a lot of gaming at night and whatnot. And I think it'd be a good time for me to maybe just like do more like a radio slot kind of type thing where we really just kind of focus in on like Q&A and just talk, talk with the fam in the chat, man, and really just see how people are feeling about things. So who knows, man? Y'all keep your eyes peeled. You might see one of those tonight, man. I got a fairly open schedule here, and it might be a good time to start something like that tonight. But as you can already hear, I'm kind of getting a little bit hoarse, man. I've been talking already for like 3 hours solo with no beard here on the channel, so it's definitely gonna be a little bit tough. But we'll see, man. We'll see. Let me see what we're looking like here. Lot of O's. Hang tight, y'all. Hold on. Yeah, we got a lot of overreactions in the chat, man. Shout out Giants Mafia, overreaction. Steven Arce, overreaction. John Kim, overreaction. John Kim been rocking with us for like 3 hours already. Shout out to all y'all that been rocking the whole show, man. Bubs, overreaction. My man Gregory taking the under one time. He agrees with that statement on the screen. I know that's because it's Cowboys. He think them Cowboys about to take our slot one time. Flem Dog in the building. Shout out Flem. He's taking overreaction as well. We got Lesnar in the building, man. Shout out to Lesnar one time. He's taking an overreaction as well. Giants Mafia taking the overreaction. No Mets, no Nets, no Jets. Bringing a little bit of different vibes one time. He's taking a push. Says it's still too early to call. I feel you on that. This Thursday game is really going to be a deciding factor for me, man. Like, we got to go out here and win this game. That's a very important game. Michael Knight taking the under as well. Can't see it anymore. I feel you. Yam says, as a Commanders fan, any given Sunday, but I mean, you really only need 3 more wins. I think they can get it done. Salute the Yams one time in the building. John B says, oh, with the Omarion singing voice one time in the building. Chris Peace is taking a push on this one. We have had a lot of injuries on and off the field. The injuries, we got to take that into account. And shout out to Stan. Stan is also taking a push. That divisional stretch tells all I'm going. I'm going P. But slightly leaning you if the trend continues. I feel you on that. And Bubs agrees, real talk. This game Thursday night, or Thursday might tell us everything we need to know. Shout out to the homie one time. I don't want to butcher your name. Aidenism. That's what I'm going to go with right now. You let me know if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Aidenism one time with the push one time in the building. I feel you on that. That's a safe play right there. Jonathan Studios going with the Jim Mora playoffs. Yeah, I feel you on that. And Perry Mack says, only if we win out. Whew, that's a lot of games to win out, man. That's going to be tough. I'll tell you that much. I think we could probably, if we go 500, I think we could make our way up there. Texas boy, who's, you already know he a Cowboys fan, he said the Giants season is ending on Thanksgiving, man. That's going to be tough. I'm going to be eating. What's y'all favorite Thanksgiving dish? For me, it's macaroni and cheese, man. I love some baked mac. That's my vibe. Some baked mac and some turkey. That's definitely the vibe. But let me know what y'all thinking one time. Real People says it's an overreaction. Stan says, Awthentik, you and Sal should collab. I've been already thinking about that, yo. 1,000% I'm going to make that happen, Stan. You already know. And Aidenism says, connect with Cobb Pizzle. I've done a couple of shows with Cobb Pizzle, man. I'm sure I'll have Cobb Pizzle on the channel soon. I don't think I've had Cobb Pizzle on a Giant Overreaction. Last year I was doing only Giant Overreactions with guests. This year it just so happens like I just haven't been able to bring guests on. But I had Big Pat and shout out to Cobb Pizzle, man, because Cobb Pizzle, when me and the Beard first started the channel, Cobb Pizzle just hit me up out of nowhere. This is how me and Cobb Pizzle met. He just reached out to me on Twitter, and he was like, yo, bro, I like what you're doing, man. You want to come on my show, talk some Giants football? I was like, hell yeah. And we gained a lot of subscribers and support for our channel from Cobb Pizzle holding it down. It's tough to collab with Pizzle these days. I know he's been doing a lot of collabs with other people and whatnot, but me and Pizzle are due for, like, something like that. I think, like, once we get down to this like real playoff push, I'm gonna reach out to Pizzle, man. Me and Pizzle still talk through text a lot, man, and whatnot. I'm gonna reach out to Pizzle, and we gonna try and do some. I do think that'll make some good content for sure, and I think the people will definitely get down with that for sure. Bub says that Texas boy, you been hiding, bro. I know Texas boy will pop up, when the Cowboys get the big win. But I give Texas boy a lot of respect, man. Last time they lost to the Packers, he definitely popped up, showed face and whatnot. So salute the Texas boys, salute the Bubs in the building too. And you damn right, we definitely didn't forget that L. They took the Green Bay. You already know what it is. Stephen R. says, we are a playoff team, but this string of games are going to tell what kind of team we are. It's our trial by fire. Ooh, that's a great way to put that. I might have to steal that for a caption for a stream or something like that. After this stretch, we will be the team that truly earned our spot. That's facts right there. Shout out to Real People. I seen you in here just a little while ago, Real People. Salute to you, fam. He says, this Thursday night is going to decide whether we're in or not. Damn, and it's starting to feel like that, and I don't want that to be the case. But if we lose to the Cowboys, I think we're gonna have to definitely sweep the Commanders. I think that'll be the way to get in, and then maybe split against the Eagles. We'll see, man. We're gonna have to win some unexpected games. We've done that this year, so I'm not doubting the Giants. I think it's possible. I think we can do it. Yam says stuffing is his favorite Thanksgiving dish. Michael Knight says, me too. My mom makes it from scratch. Shout out to y'all. I'm not super big on the stuffing. I'm like I said, man, I'm baked mac. Like I'm going back for 2, 3, 4 rounds of the baked mac. That's my vibe. Gregory said baked beans and sweet potatoes. I like that. Where you from, the South? Are you from the South, Gregory? You from Texas? Man, that sounds like some Texas vibes right there. Nova Nebula says, can they win 3 more games though? Yeah, it's gonna be the question, man. It's gonna be tough, man. It's gonna be tough. Stephen Arch says, mac and cheese, definitely with crumbs on top, and garlic mashed potatoes with turkey. Sounds like a vibe right there, man. We're going to be grubbing on Thanksgiving. And me and the Beard haven't quite figured out our Thanksgiving schedule, but I would say probably expect us to do our preview show. I've been saying 7 p.m. because that's normally our time. But I would expect our preview show for Thursday for week 12 to probably be in the morning, actually. It'll probably be around 11 a.m. in the morning. So keep your eyes peeled for that if you want like some vibes before the games. Pull up. We'll definitely be talking some football for sure. Aidenism, I hope I'm saying it right again. He also says your level-headed style mixed with him could be tight. Yeah, man. When me and Cop Pizzle get together, it's always a great conversation, man. I think we kind of lean each other a little bit towards, one another's opinions, because Cop Pizzle's like very extreme, super extreme, and I'm like more like a little bit more down to earth. And a little bit more reserved with my opinions, especially now because I've, saying the wrong shit on YouTube has definitely bit me in my ass before. Like my first year, I was just all about Daniel Jones is going to be the best quarterback in this division. Daniel Jones is going to be better than Josh Allen. Daniel Jones, and that didn't happen, So I always thought the Giants were going to do well. I'm always picking us to have a winning record and all that. And this year, I kind of like stepped down off that pedestal a little bit, man, because we've been losing for 5 years, but finally Giants getting back, to winning some games. Let me see. Perry Mack said, put that red hot on the mac and cheese. So good. I got a little bit split on that because I really like my mac and cheese just straight up. The crumbs was a good addition. I like that. But I like my mac and cheese baked straight up normally, right? And I could do a little hot sauce, but like I'm the kind of person that like I don't like the plate to get too mixed up, right? My girl's the opposite. My girl's like, she'll get the whole plate, and by the time she's done, like the whole plate mixed up. Everything is all over the place. I kind of like to keep it all separate, but maybe I'm going to try that hot sauce vibe, man. I like that. Let me see what else everybody else talking in here. Oxtail and jerk pork. Yo, SHU Carter, where you from, man? Are you Jamaican, bro? That's a vibe right there. Listen, there's some dope Jamaican spots here in D.C., and if you ever, one of my best homies, he has a Jamaican jerk spot in Hawaii. It's called Rick's Jerk. So if you're ever out in Hawaii, go check out Rick's Jerk. I want to say they're in Waikiki. I want to say that's the vibes. But out here in D.C., we got Andreens. Every time I eat Andreens, I'm in a coma. It is straight up itis vibes, straight up sleep. Straight up sleep. The Beard says, I love me some oxtail and jerk, bro. That's facts, man. Like, Jamaican food is so bomb, That's some of the best food, man. DC's got some really, really good spots for that too, man. And Bub says, nah, leave the mac and cheese as is, fresh out the oven, nothing extra. Let the seasonings do its work. I'm right there with you, dog. That's normally my vibe too, man. I'm straight up just like, keep that mac how it is, man. Yeah, and the beard know what's up, man. Andreens, Kennedy Street, best food. Yo, every time when we first moved to this particular house, the beard used to live with me here. And when we first moved here, when we were like moving our stuff in, we would get like Jamaican, from Andreens over there, man. And like we'd move a bunch of shit into the crib, and then ultimately everybody's just passed out on the couch, man. Like straight up. It's bomb food, man. But I wonder if the homie is Jamaican. I wonder if SHU Carter's Jamaican. Shout out to Real People. He said, I'm Puerto Rican, so my favorite thing on Thanksgiving is that pork shoulder. That's pernil, right? My shorty is Puerto Rican. I think that's what it's called. I might be wrong on that. But my shorty's Puerto Rican, so I know a little bit about some Puerto Rican dishes, a little something like that. Kareem Yee says collard greens, sweet potato, stuffing mix, get that sweet and savory. Yeah, that's a real deal right there, man. I definitely feel you on that too. And you sound like you might be from the South too. Anytime I hear collard greens, yeah, that pork shoulder. I'm not a huge fan of pork outside of bacon, but I know we're gonna have some pork shoulder probably, so I'm gonna try some this Thanksgiving. Yeah, pernil. Yeah, Michael Knight said I'm right. No Mets, no Nets. No, what's up? Yeah, definitely, yo. I'm getting hungry just thinking about some of this stuff right now, man. Like, yo, I could definitely use some macaroni and cheese right now, man. Definitely. But yeah, as far as this the Giants start to the season was just too good to be true. I don't see my Giants in the playoffs. We're gonna lift the homie up, man. I think this one's an overreaction right now, man. We talked about this earlier in the show. 85%, man, when we were sitting around week 6, week 7. So there's a shot here. I know the schedule gets tough. It's going to take like a complete collapse for the Giants to not make the playoffs here, man. They got to just win a couple of games, man. Just try to get to that 500 with these last couple of games or over 500, and we'll have a shot, man. We'll definitely have a shot. And I think the Giants, we're in a good position here at 7-3. And me and the beard, man, like our biggest wish is that all the teams from the NFC East get into the playoffs. It will make this show booming in the playoffs, man. I cannot wait, man. That'll be really dope. It looks like at least 2-3 teams are probably going to get in from the East, but we'll see, man. I see the beard still talking about that grub too. He said, bruh, I had some cornbread stuffing the other day. It was dank. Yeah, man, that sounds fire right there. I haven't had cornbread in a minute too, man. That sounds fire though. Yeah, we got a lot of fam in the building one time. Pernil. I'm half black, half Rican. My fam cooks all types of dishes. Yeah, man. See, I'm Haitian. My shorty is Puerto Rican, half Puerto. She was born in Puerto Rico, but she's half Bolivian as well. So we get a good mixture of all kind of vibes over here, man. But yeah, I definitely feel y'all on that, man. This one's an overreaction for sure, man. But again, man, salute to all of y'all, man, for rocking with us, man. We got the little Thanksgiving vibes going on, man. Salute to all of y'all for rocking with us. Y'all know what it is, man. Awthentik and the beard here, man. 4 days a week we be rocking over here doing content for everybody that popped in, that's new faces and whatnot. Make sure on your way out you hit that subscribe button. That'll really go a long way for this channel. And if you're not digging the vibes, hit the subscribe button anyway, man, and then just put us on mute or something like that. Give us that extra number. We need that. I think we deserve that. We've been putting our foot in this content game for an extremely long time, man. And what are we going on now? This is our fourth football season, man, doing content over here. And it's really good because the Giants are finally winning. And my buddy, the beard, he's a Commanders fan. And they're doing pretty decent now, too, man, sitting over 500 now. I think they're, what they sitting at now? 6-5 right now, the beard? I think y'all sitting at 6-5. I'm not 100% sure, but I think they're sitting at maybe they 5-5. I can't remember. Somebody in the chat, let me know. But Commanders definitely on the up and up one time, man. I already see y'all already dropping a couple of biceps in the building one time. I got to put a highlight on the homie Yams right now. He said, I'm purebred white boy. Give me that green bean casserole too. Yo, that's so funny. We be clowning that all day, man. Yeah. So the beard did confirm the Washington Commanders are sitting at 6-5. They haven't had their bye yet, so that's why they've already had the 11 games. I did forget about that. But, man, salute to all of y'all, man. I see Aidenism says, yeah, your channel definitely get the stamp, no doubt. I appreciate that, brother, man. Big salute to you, man, and welcome to the fam. I think this is your first time in the building. I'm not too sure I've seen your name in the building. Steven Art's got one quick question before we get up out of here. He says, do you think some scouts were right about Kayvon being a one-trick pony coming out of college? Maybe that's why he fell right into our laps. Could be the case right now. But I do think Kayvon is doing a good job getting pressure on the quarterback. I think he has the kind of body type and skill set where you can build upon that, and he can get better as he goes along. He's in the right system right now, man. Having Wink Martindale be your defensive coordinator, I don't think gets no better for a pass rusher in the NFL right now. So, you know, I think Kayvon Thibodeau is going to be just fine. He's doing okay out there, man, and he's still a rookie. He's not, you know, he's not flashing quite like the Montez Sweats or the Chase Youngs did in their rookie seasons, but you know, a lot of people will just look at the stats and be like, oh, Kayvon's not doing that much damage. I think he only had 2 tackles in this game. But, you know, he's doing a good job getting after the quarterback. And I just, you know, I just hope he's just a player that, you know, can kind of fall in line with how Andrew Thomas was. The rookie year wasn't all that great. But hopefully, you know, he can elevate this going into next year and finish out this year strong. I think that's a very important thing. And, yeah, Chris Peace, you brought up a good point there, too. You can't forget about the injury, man. The injury probably set him back, you know, and probably was a knock on his confidence as well, too, man. He came in, you know, out of the draft and coming into the New York Giants locker room, he was extremely confident. Seems like the injury kind of set him back down. But when I saw him in the preseason, I did say to myself, like, he don't got that what's my man, Trayvon Walker. He don't got that, like, where you just see it, like, whoa. You know, like, I see why Walker went number 1. I do see that. You know, so I do think that, you know, Kayvon Thibodeau, he's still a really good player, and he's out there for a reason. Wink Martindale ain't going to have no rookie out here. I don't care if first round or not. If you're not playing well, he ain't going to have you out there. And Kayvon Thibodeau's doing everything in his power, man, to try to get better, man. So, yeah, and I agree with you right here, Aidenism. The coach is definitely molding him. He's going to get better. You'll see it. He's going to ramp it up. He'll get better. By the end of the year, you'll start to see him probably in more of his true form of what we can expect to see from Kayvon Thibodeau going into 2023, man. I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be awesome. And yeah, the beard is confirming on this too. No, it just takes a little time to get more moves from that DM position. Yeah, that's true, man. Yeah, and this is true as well too, man. He don't jump off the page. He doesn't. That's facts. You just don't see that. We always talk about tenacity, and the guy that me and the beard talked about all last season, who wasn't on either one of our teams, Randy Gregory, man. That dude, when he was with the Cowboys, man, he was getting hurt a lot too. But that dude was ferocious getting after the quarterback. Like, you could see it with your eyes. You could see it. And I forget the dude's name that the Cowboys filled him in, that filled in for Randy Gregory when y'all let him go. That dude too, man, he a beast as well. And you already know Micah Parsons. As soon as you saw Micah Parsons get on the field, it jumped off the screen. Dude's an absolute monster. And hopefully, you know, Kayvon Thibodeau will get to that kind of level. You know, he's doing a good job so far holding it down. Help around him wouldn't hurt either. You know, if we had some better linebackers out there, I'm sure that would make Kayvon Thibodeau look a lot better. And definitely wanted to get Stephen Arce's response on that, too, because that was his question. He says, I still believe in him, but when watching him, he gets stopped trying to do his moves. It's like he just tries to beat with speed only, not with his hands and manpower. Yeah, you saw that from Chase Young a little bit, too, in his first year as well. But Chase Young seemed to be just finding ways to get after the quarterback. But I'm definitely with you on that. It does seem a bit like a one-trick pony a little bit, but sometimes that's all you need. You know, there were pass rushers like, you know, Dwight Freeney, who really, that spin that he had, he made a living off of that. But in this day and age in the NFL, you do got to find ways to have multiple moves and things like that, man. And I think Kayvon Thibodeau is going to turn the corner. Yeah, and Gregory is saying that Sam Williams is coming on of late as well, too. Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that, too. Aidenism says, I could see Tibbs turning a corner like Thomas. Yep, that's what we can hope for. You know, I'm always saying this, too, like, I hate trying to compare, like, players to past players, like, because Giants fans love doing that. They're like, Daniel Jones will be the next Eli Manning. You know, people were saying Andrew Thomas is going to be a bust like Eric Flowers. But then also people were saying Evan Neal will turn the corner just like Andrew Thomas did. You know, Saquon Barkley's going to come back off the knee injury like Adrian Peterson. You know, you gotta have some balance there at the same time, too. So I'm looking forward to it, man. I hope that, you know, Thibodeau can just find a way to just, you know, keep ramping his game up. And I know he's working. I don't doubt nobody, especially when you're already in the NFL. I don't doubt players, man. I don't doubt no men, for real. I just don't doubt people. I don't doubt women either. I don't doubt nobody. That doubting stuff is for the birds, man. Like, yo, these dudes is in there in the locker room putting in that work every week, man. They're grinding, trying to get better. Shout out to Dominic Palmer one time in the building. I know you got here a little bit late. You got three, almost 4 hours to go back, man, and check out of a bunch of Giants rants, bunch of great conversation between me and the fam in the chat, man. This show was like, yeah, this was like we getting to know each other kind of vibe. And I ain't expect to go about 4 hours today, but the vibes was up, man. The vibes was up. So that's what we going to do. Y'all know what it is, man. Awthentik in the beard. Every time, man, we trying to raise that bar. That's what it is. Look how slouched I'm getting in this chair right now. I've been chilling, man. But it's definitely been a vibe today, man. Dominic, I hope you get well, man. You say got a nasty virus and just woke up. I feel like I'm kind of coming down with a little something, too. Maybe that walk I took after the Giants finished out the third quarter and I knew that game was pretty much over. I went for a walk outside, and maybe that walk, it was definitely cold out here in the city, man. We were looking at like 35-degree weather. Maybe I got a little under the weather with that walk, but I'm hoping I ain't got nothing either, man. I'm trying to stay as healthy as possible out here, man, and avoid anything as far as getting sick. Since I've been living in D.C., man, I rarely get like a common cold and get sick. So, like, I'm just hoping to keep them vibes up. It's wild. When I lived in Silver Spring, Maryland, though, like, man, I was sick like at least 4 or 5 times a year. But it's definitely been a different case here in D.C. So, Dominic, man, get well, man. John Kim says I should invest in a standing desk. I thought about it, man, because, like, the way my tabletop is set up here, I do have the room to be able to do it. I did think about that. And at times I do stand up, like, so it's a L-shaped workstation that I have here. And my main desk, I'm gonna show y'all this next episode. I'm gonna just hook up another camera so y'all can see the whole setup. But to my right here is where I have like all my keyboard stands. And when I feel like I need to stand up, there's another screen right here. So I'll just take my keyboard and my mouse and just set it up on top of this desk right here, on top of this keyboard stand, and I'll just kind of work this way. But I'm very used to being in the chair. I do a lot of stretching. I definitely got to get up a couple times during this stream. But yeah, y'all, I definitely appreciate y'all looking out for the backyatomy, if you know the reference from Half Baked one time. Definitely not trying to blow out my lower lumbar, as my man the Beard always talking about his lower. He's like, my lower lumbar, man. He's always talking about that. But yeah, it's been a good vibe, man. It's definitely been a really good vibe on this show, man. I definitely appreciate all of y'all. Like, a lot of y'all were here from the beginning, man. And this stream motivated me to at least, maybe I'll start off with some Bad Dog vibes and do a 12-hour stream with the Beard one time before we try to ramp it up and do a 24-hour stream, because I know that's treacherous right there. That would be, if I did do a 24-hour stream, I would start it at like 6 a.m. I think that would be the best time for me, because I'm good at staying up late. I could do like 6 a.m. to like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. would be extremely easy for me. And then those late hours would probably be tough. But we're going to work on that, man. We definitely going to work on that. Shout out to Barry one time in the building, man. He said, what's up, man? Just got into the stream. Let's get that rebound, G, man. In the house one time. That's what's up, man. Shout out to you, Barry, man. New face in the building, man. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. You got about a good 4 hours. You could go back, check out this show. This was just a whole vibe, bro. And if you're not familiar with the Giant Overreaction, what we do is we take statements from like Twitter, from YouTube, and clips from the media, and we go over those clips and we react on them, and we determine if what the person is saying in the clip or on the Twitter tweet or the statement is an overreaction, or if not. And it was just a cool vibe today, man. A lot of interaction between the chat. Definitely a good show. If you got time and you chilling in the crib or whatever, and you got a lot of time, you could throw this on in the background, man. It was a really good vibe, and I got to thank y'all, because although I told y'all, like, I was pretty comfortable with this loss, and I kind of expected us to lose this game against the Detroit Lions, my spirits is way up right now. I'm probably about to cook up some beats. I'm going to definitely stand up, stretch, and I'm going to think about that late night vibe y'all was talking about, like that after hours thing. That might be a good vibe to do something, man. It might not be tonight, but we definitely been talking about, trying to do a late night vibe on the show, and give y'all some more content. I do want to do some stuff where I let people from the fam and people from the chat and the fam in the chat and whatnot call in and voice y'all opinions as well too. But y'all know, like on YouTube, these stalker dudes be wild, man, be doing crazy stuff. So I would definitely have to turn the camera off and bring y'all in on some audio vibes, because I can handle some audio. You could pull up, say whatever the hell you want. I don't care. It don't matter to me. It ain't gonna do nothing to me either way. But shout out to Barry, man, and for all of y'all that are new to this channel, man. If y'all digging the vibes, definitely hit that subscribe button on the way out, man. We could definitely use the support. Shout out to everybody who sent in super chats during this show too, man. That goes a long way for this channel, to upgrade and do things that we want to do to try to bring y'all better content. And again, man, like I said, man, this whole show was just a whole vibe. Definitely feeling a lot better, man. Salute to all of y'all, man. Y'all know what it is, win or loss. Giants Nation is always in the building, man. And yeah, I agree with you, Dominic. I always hate to lose, man, but I'm just enjoying the season, man. Win or loss for sure. This beat goes out to the Beard one time, man. This is his vibe for his Commanders. They move above 500. I had that wrong. They're sitting at 6-5, man. Shout out to him, man. That's a big win for them. Make sure y'all tune in tomorrow. We're going to be doing a 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time stream, recapping all the NFC East games, man. It's going to be a great show. We'll get to go a little bit more deep into the numbers, into the Beard's roadmap for victory for the Commanders. I know a couple little things went left. I know he didn't expect that offense to do what they did in that game, but definitely a vibe for the Commanders. We'll be talking a little bit more in depth about this New York Giants loss to the Detroit Lions. Also got to talk about the Cowboys' W over the Vikings, and we got to talk about that comeback victory that the Philadelphia Eagles had over the Colts, man. Jeff Saturday, like, bro, you messing up my reputation here one time, bro. He's about to go to 2-0 after never coaching an NFL game in his entire life. But a big shout out to the rest of the teams in the NFC East, man, that got the W's this past weekend. Our Giants got a lot of work to do before Thursday, and that's exactly what we're going to do, man. We're going to get back on that horse, try to get, back in that W column, man, and try to get to our 8th win of the season. Again, big salute to the nation. One time we end every show over here saying this. Go ahead, raise that bar. Keep living those dreams, because the universe flows in Technicolor and surround sound. Rest in peace to the GOAT of this podcasting game, Combat Jack. Y'all know what it is. It's been a great show. I appreciate y'all. I got a lot of love for all of y'all in this chat, man, that have been supporting this channel throughout the years, man. Big salute to y'all. We'll see y'all tomorrow night at 7 p.m., man. Y'all be good. Enjoy the rest of y'all day. Head up, man. These Giants are on the up and up. We're going to get back right. Y'all be good. Peace.